Hello and welcome back to the Divine Deception. Tonight we're going to be loading up once again and we're going to be continuing the story from, yeah. Last time we continued breaking a few locks and we seemed to finish Mercury's story, and it seems he is in fact the fake Thane in this story. So with that in mind, I decided to break this lock and continue on. Chapter 4, Blame the Shooter. The city was dark, clouds covered the sky. The only lighting that was provided by the dim, reasonably spaced out lamps scattered across Panthea's Central Park. The air was cool but not cold. I heard insects chirping. Everything was still. It would have been peaceful had it not been for one man. So, what do you make of the upcoming elections, Thane? To be clear, he still talked in somewhat of a hushed voice. Considering we were hiding out, if he spoke out in his usual loud, abrasive tone, he'd be doing a pretty shit job. I could say a lot about Yi, but he did his job. Still, even quiet, he found a way to annoy me. Maybe I was just upset with my position. A few days passed since the Milo situation. Annoyingly, that scene in the restaurant had stuck with me. And even more annoyingly, I wasn't able to come up with a solution. In the intervening days I had, I was still stuck with the role of Thane. It wasn't quite right. I didn't have to be doing this. I could run away. I mean, sure, maybe they'd track me down. Or maybe not, honestly. Considering everything, maybe I could quit and be fine. The more I thought of it, the more I figure that it would actually be pretty difficult anyway I sliced it for the Duats to pin Thane's disappearance on me. If it really was choosing the safest play, I should quit while I was ahead, but I couldn't be sure. I guessed I'd be safe, but I couldn't be sure, and I couldn't risk the possibility I was wrong. Besides, dark as it may be, playing Thane might just have some upsides, assuming I play my cards right. Because that I was back, sitting with Yi, waiting to do another job. Yo, Earth to Thane, I know it's late, but you're not nodding off in there, are you? Actually, shit, that's a good idea. You could totally sleep through one of the old bastard's lectures on that mask and nobody be the wiser. I'm awake, Yi. Right, I guess I should have been careful. These are going to be posted on YouTube eventually, and they don't like heavy any kind of cursing within the first 10 minutes or so. Or is it 20? Something like that. You're asking about the election, right? Exactly. We want to hear your 2 cents on it. I don't know. I don't have anything interesting to say about that. Looks like I'm just probably going to win, which is fine. Oh, of course, I'm just gonna win. That's not the election I'm talking about. I'm talking about the presidential election. Our big, beautiful nation's gonna be on a new leader before long. Isn't that exciting? I guess. To be honest, I haven't really been keeping up with that race. Not really into the national politics. Shocker, that. Anyways, on a personal note, I'm sad to see the last guy go. His policies or not, he's a pretty respectable dude. I like him. I get the feeling Yi was not that interested in national politics either. Well, when your time's up, it's up. He served his 3 terms well, now it's on to the next eager go-getter. Still, these 5 years passed in a blink of an eye. How time flies. I always thought 5 years was a little long for a term limit. Doesn't let things change with the times fast enough. Thane, you're missing the point. Since there's a lot of time between the elections, the president doesn't have to worry about re-election. They can just focus on getting stuff done. Besides, what would you have the term lengths be? 4, 3, 2? No, you cut it any shorter, then what's the point of electing someone in the first place? I guess you're right. I like that an awkward silence passed between the two of us. Figured Thane would be bad at maintaining a conversation. However, Yi didn't strike me as the type to usually let lulls like this stand. I had a feeling what this was about, and moments later Yi confirmed his situation. My suspicions. Say Thane, we're cool, right? Huh? Just the two of us? We're on the same team. We're good? He was probably still thrown off by our interaction at Milo's. Makes sense. It was an awkward situation. I had a feeling, given Yi's general disposition on some level, he was still a bit suspicious of my actions, but that disposition was far outweighed, I figured, by Yi's need to actually have Thane on his side. Thane actually was a strong asset for Yi, one that he couldn't exactly afford to lose, and not now at all times, so any suspicions were pushed to the back. Yi needed to make sure Thane was still cool. He needed to make sure I was still cool. Of course, we're cool. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Is there a reason we wouldn't be? Not at all, I just want to check in with you, is all. After the situation at Milo's, I waved my hand dismissively. Forgotten. Cool. Remember, what we're working towards doesn't matter which one of us gets who at Duat. What's important is to make sure that Lara is kept in check. No matter what, she can't rule the Duats. And we know for a fact that Yi is lying through his teeth here. Not just through the previous scenes we've had with him, but the story with Krish and Vels proves without a doubt Yi has absolutely no loyalties to anyone except for himself, and people who are, at best, he just tolerates people useful to him. Frankly, well, Well, he probably considers Thane one of the closest things to a friend. At the end of the day, he still wants to make sure that he wins the leadership of the Duats no matter what. Doesn't really... I highly doubt he's the kind of person who has true loyalties. But maybe I'm being too harsh, but I just don't trust him. She won't. Frankly, teaming up against her seems like overkill. Ah, don't underestimate her, Thane. She's sneaky, that's for damn sure. She might act sweet around the base, but she's just as cutthroat as us. We've proved that much, right? No, I know. Still, she's no match. Oh, that's for damn sure. He stretched out his arms, just saying there was somewhat uncomfortable. Anyways, you know, I keep thinking about old Milo. Me too, Yi, me too. Why is that? Oh, I don't know. Just as a character. Haven't seen his type in a while. Almost made me nostalgic, if you can believe it. I see I feel the same. That's fair, that's fair. Not saying he wasn't a squirrely little prick. Still, you have to admire the guts to take a swing at us no matter how self-destructive. Oh, that's not gutsy, it's stupid. I guess I can see that perspective. It's a little sad, though, knowing we drove him to force our hand like that. Every now and then I get an odd pang of guilt when I see his type. I make sure to squash it, of course. Those sentiments are just unhealthy in our line of work. We know it's good to feel those vestiges every now and then. Keeps us human. Still feel those vestiges, Thane? Rarely. Never change, Thane, never change. He took this opportunity to adjust how he sat and look over the bushes we were hiding in. Then he turned to me. You know what his problem was, Thane? Milos. He didn't know his place? Oh, no, 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 don't be so dark, Thane. No, his real problem was quite simple. He sought a justice tempered by mercy. Justice tempered by mercy? It's an old quote I find more and more applicable as life goes on. He was hampered by his quest for justice tempered by mercy. See, if he leaned one way or another, he would have been just fine. If he favored pure justice, it would just be a matter of killing us, as many of us Duat members as he could. Pretty extreme, I must say, but it's a clean way of fighting back. He's not exactly a fighter, sure, but if he just brought gun and ambushed us one by one, I reckon he could rack up a decent kill count. On the other hand, if he just favored mercy, if he wanted to live and let live, this wouldn't be an issue. He could mind his business, keep going along, living a sad little life. Maybe he'd be racked with guilt knowing that he's left injustice prosper or some shit, but he'd be living, and that's definitely his main takeaway. Unfortunately, at the end of the day, he just couldn't commit. He settled on the compromise most make, seeking a justice tempered by mercy, and in that pursuit he attained neither. That is certainly a way to view it. It's my opinion that most people have a lot more trouble in life they need because they simply cannot commit. If more people thoroughly dedicate themselves to a single ideal, well, they'd be a lot trickier to deal with. Casual reminder, we're talking about one of the leaders of a mafia slash yakuza type group here. The criminal underworld, that does make sense, but there's a lot of situations where nuance is important. I won't say he's entirely wrong, however. There are times when you do need to commit to something because there's a success or failure, or something has to be done. I think some people prefer that sort of thing as a what's it called? Time to shit or get off the pot? Something like that. Yeah, basically either you do or don't. Doesn't matter which, as long as you choose. But yeah, I think he's boiling it down more. But yeah, I see his point. I just think he's boiling it down because, well, as a mob boss, he kind of has to do things in absolutes a lot more than most average people would. But since we as humans like to waffle about, we're rife with conflict. Way of looking at things. Say ye, you have any limits? The whole enforcing dual justice? Limits? Oh, of course I have limits. You have to have limits to stay sane. For me, it's children. Children, really. Yes, in my opinion, it's impossible for a child to sin. They're just not capable of it. They don't have the proper understanding. Even if a child does some really shitty stuff. Well, yeah, it's not the child's fault. That's the person who raised the child's fault. If you have a really messed up kid, then more than likely that's the fault of some really messed up parents. I assume he's referring to the cycle of abuse that it's usually referred to. Fair enough. What about this? Say there's a middle schooler who really hates the Duats, hates everything they stand for. Somehow they got their hands on Daddy's gun. And as an act of pure spite, the middle schooler goes and shoots two Duat officers making the rounds. Do you enforce justice? Well, they never said there were cases where justice wouldn't be served. Queen's justice must be ironclad in order for our system to work. What would you do then? Simple. The children are innocent. I'd kill the kid's parents instead. Good reminder that I was, in fact, dealing with a complete psychopath. Nice to keep that in mind. Say, Thane. Yes, see? I've got to ask, why do you keep that mask on all the time? I didn't like the direction this conversation was going. I really, really didn't like it. What do you mean? It's my job. I'm the Shadow of Panthea. Oh, yeah, I get that much, but we're not always on duty, you know? Plenty of times we're just shooting the shit, like back at base. We've all seen your face, you know, so I just don't see the point of hiding it like that. Feels more annoying than anything. I was on full alert. To Yi, this might be a casual conversation, but as far as I was concerned, I was already on the job. If this conversation went down the wrong path, I could be totally screwed. Luckily, I did have something of an advantage. By the sound of it, this didn't seem to be a new, recent thing. Thane before me must have also hidden his face most of the time. This gave me a decent bit of leverage. I just keep the mask on. Why do you care? Because we're pals, Thane. I want to make sure you're doing alright. Look, we all know Marduk was incredibly out of line for him to do that to you. Everybody's perception of him changed after that day. But I mean, it really wasn't that bad. Not talking about the pain, of course. Probably hurt like a bitch and all. I'm just saying if you're worried about the in so many but words, I had a rough idea of what happened. Marduk and Thane had gotten into a fight. This fight ended up scarring, burning, or just generally messing up Thane's face in some noticeable way. Was that perhaps somehow related how Thane got stuck with this job? Whatever, going off topic. Point is, the natural arc of the conversation was that Thane shouldn't feel like he needs to hide his face. That's the path to moving forward. The conversation could very well end with Yi asking me to remove it, just temporarily, as a stint of self-acceptance or some shit. And if that's the moral Yi was gearing up towards, I had to replace that with a moral of my own. One where keeping the mask was the correct course of action. Thane. Well, I like it. You know how you were talking about those vestiges of guilt? That mask helps with that. I know I come across as robotic and shit, but that's intentional. I put myself in that state. And you know how I do it? I remind myself that I'm not me. I'm the Shadow of Panthea. When I'm out in the mask, I can be my authentic self. In the mask, I'm Thane, the fearless agent of the Dwats. Wearing the mask, I feel mentally it helps keep things separate. Helps me stay sane. I don't know, though. Maybe that line of thinking is itself a sign of madness. Oh, no, I get it, Thane. When you explain what you explain makes sense to me. It does. How to put it? In psychology, they say every human has something called a persona. Cheesy, I know. But humans are quite unique in this aspect. All other animals stay true to their natural selves, but humans, we have a tendency to form identities. However, you know what's funny? This persona concept, it doesn't come natural to humans. If you're too young, or impaired in some way mentally, or utterly devoid of autonomy, there are plenty of cases where we don't have a strong sense of identity. They say there's basically 4 reasons for this identity we end up getting. You have to understand your individuality, the fact you're separate from others. You have to feel a sense of ownership over yourself, that you control your actions. You need a sense of uniformity, that your identity matches those actions. And finally, responsibility, the knowledge of those actions and consequences from them and connect back to the identity, back to you. They briefly discussed this concept in Persona 4 and I believe Persona 3 as well. I'd be highly surprised if Persona 5 didn't also discuss it to an extent. So yeah, it's something the Persona games have gone through quite a bit. I think 1 and 2 also cover it, but it's been a while. So those ones take the whole Persona summoning thing as a bit more given. Alright, I'm too far off topic, let's get back here. Now, those are some basic-ass requirements, which is why most people end up developing a Persona. Still, I think understanding the requirements helps to understand the next point. That's that most people don't have just a Persona. At this point, it's customary to have a dozen. Yeah, this goes into the concept that we all wear many masks for situations. Your personal persona, that's the identity of how you understand yourself, but public personas are a different type of mask. Masks for all sorts of situations. Mask of a son, mask of a father, of a boyfriend, of a teacher. I have the feeling he uses those because he's worn all 4. One person can cycle through dozens of these masks each day. I mean, this is some high-concept shit meant to explain a pretty simple concept. You act differently depending on who you're talking with, basically. Right. That's just human. People have dozens of masks, each with strengths and weaknesses. Some are braver, some are more cowardly, some are better liars, some are more charismatic, some are more reasonable sounding, and they all stem from a personal identity, that personal mask you wear when no one else is around. What's the quote? There's a good quote for this. Right, remember you are an actor in this play called The World. You have just one duty, to act the role given to you well. Epictetus. That man may have more questionable views, but I like that quote in particular. Anyways, what role you must act is a question you have to decide for yourself, and often it'll change at the drop of a dime. Only trick is, sometimes, if you get too sucked into one of the masks, you forget the other ones. You get the most important one, your personal identity. So in that end, I actually think tapping into that physical mask to help differentiate things isn't a bad idea. When people's public personas are too different from their personal persona, some rough shit can begin to happen. That's why celebrities always seem to be one breath away from breakdown. And if you buy too heavily into separating your personas, also some not good shit can happen. Made her about this guy who suppressed all of his sins into one physical mask. I'd say got out of hand fast. Despite that, being able to cleanly section off your personas with a physical reminder like that is a decent idea. I mean, it's not like there isn't a risk of backfire and some serious psychological damage, but then again, I kind of feel like there's no way to avoid that in our line of work, you think? Right. Honestly, I didn't give a shit. I'm just happy it looked like I'd gone through the conversation without my identity getting exposed. Aw man, I wish I'd brought some smokes with me. Why didn't you? I don't know, man. Guess just thought. I don't know what I thought, okay? I just chose not to, and it was a bad choice. This was a pretty casual conversation, which felt odd since we were lying in wait to perform, an assassination. I don't know, I guess I was always pictured this sort of thing being conducted with a bit more gravitas, importance. It was a pretty serious situation. I imagine it was when they first started, but it gradually got easier and easier. But Yi here, he wasn't taking it serious at all, and given his reaction, I had to assume Thane wouldn't either, which is why I did my best to blend in, but didn't mean I had to be happy about it. Didn't have to be comfortable with it. So, got something to say? Talk a bit more about the job. Oh, Thane, oh, it's such a buzzkill. Still got a good bit of time. I don't like dwelling on those specifics until we got it. Puts a real damper on things. I'm just trying to be professional. Yeah, you always are, huh? Okay, fine, we can talk about it. Not much to say, though. Obviously, this is to recap the situation for the player's benefit. I mean, you could probably guess the long and short of it. Judging by our placement, what was lying between the two of us, yeah, I could. To make a long story short, this is a straightforward hit. Your forte. Well, not quite your forte. This one's supposed to be a bit more subtle. Here we are in Panthea's Central Park. No real cameras, plenty of trees, rocks, bushes. Not like the ones we're hiding in right now, I mean. Perfect place for a little ambush, especially at a time like this when absolutely no one should be around. Unfortunately, somebody is coming around very shortly. Then we gotta give them a little pop to the back of the head. Sizzle things cleanly. A couple minutes from now, there's gonna be a poor guy in a gray hoodie walking over a set of benches. That's the guy you gotta shoot, presumably with the sniper rifle. Yep. It's clean. No ballistics will lead back to you. Good. Gotta just shoot this guy in the back of the head. We don't want to make him disappear. The client didn't specify that, so I'm assuming not. Besides, this isn't the sort of person whose death will make waves. Just a simple gunshot will do fine. Client clears a client. Oh, did I not tell you? This one's coming from Art Deisma himself. Huh. Art Deisma's calling this one in. How does that make any sense? Luckily, the mask blocked my look of confusion. Art, huh? Yep. It's been a minute since that dude has actually contacted us for direct work. Probably hurts his pride. I get the feeling he doesn't like to consort with people like us. Yeah, I get that vibe from him. Still, he was the one who reached to me in the first place all those years back. One of his guys must have pegged me as one of the Duat's more negotiation-friendly members. Our first meeting, he made no efforts to hide his contempt, but then again, he was the one who decided it was worth it to agree to regular payments to keep us in check. Make sure the Duats never have their interests aligned against Olimpo. The man must have thought himself pretty slick drafting up an agreement like that. Poor prick didn't know Marduk had already told the rest of us. It was probably smart to not directly piss off Olimpo, so the agreement was entirely unnecessary. Yeah, well, I didn't feel the need to tell him that. He's been a pretty reliable stream of income ever since, and once in a blue moon, he'll shell out extra to have us settle something he deems beneath himself. Like this hit. Yep. Although, full transparency, according to him, he's not actually the person who requested this hit. He's like acting as an intermediary or something. Is that right? Yeah, well, don't know if I actually buy any of that bullshit. He likes having plausible deniability on every damn thing. Yeah, that's usually how it works. It's a nervous tick or something, I'm telling you. It really gets on my nerves. Anyways, intermediary or not, a job's a job. Yeah, but I don't know how to phrase my next thought. I didn't know if I even wanted to vocalize it. Screw it. If I double-guessed every single thing I wanted to ask, I'd probably appear more stilted than usual and less more suspicious. I should just ask things. Assassinations, really? Is that really what the Duats are? I mean, I'm not saying it's beneath us or anything, it's just... I don't picture the Duats as a cheap organization you can just pay off to handle anything you want. Oh, I see. No, I feel that. Can't say I particularly enjoy arrangements like this either, but what can you do? Art's a pretty damn good source of free money. This job's worth a bit. We're here to make money. And more than that, we're here to keep our connections nice and happy. Sure, we could tell Art to go and screw himself, but what would that accomplish? Just piss him off, really. I'd rather keep him happy. So even if we don't love it, we're gonna have to do our job. I suppose. Hey, why are you complaining? This is super easy stuff, Thane. Hardest part of the job is getting up at an hour like this. I suppose you're already more used to staying up late, huh? Well, he wasn't wrong about that. I also didn't have anything else to say on the topic. It seemed like the assassination attempt was going to go through one way or another. I just need to wait some. Just rest easy. It'll be time soon enough. Look. He got up slightly, look around to the bushes, then immediately ducked back down. Oh shit, what the hell? What is it? Over by the bushes. Governor Ija's right there. Governor Ija. I also looked up slightly, poking my head out. It was super dark where we were, unlikely she'd see anything. Sure enough, over by the dimly lit park benches, Governor Ija was sitting down. She had her eyes closed and it looked like she was taking deep breaths. Was she trying to calm down? She also had headphones in. Listening to music, perhaps, or something else? I ducked back down. That's Governor Ija. Yeah, that's what I said. What is she doing? Is she the target? Thane, buddy, the target's a guy in a gray hoodie. If you're going to try and assassinate the governor, be a bit more involved than this. So then what's she doing here? Hell if I know. I mean, the governor's building is right by the park, and I've heard she works pretty late nights. What are the odds she'd just be here by coincidence? I guess it's possible. The other possibility is her appearance is somehow connected to the fact our target's going to be appearing soon. If that's the case, though, it would have been nice if Art could have told us that. That seems a bit more likely. What should we do then? He took a moment to think. No need to change plans. Accident or on purpose. Ija's presence doesn't matter jack shit. We'll snipe the target when they appear and leave. Plain simple. Wow, you make murder sound so easy. Ah! Ah! He and I both let out small yelps at the unexpected sound of a new visitor. How the hell had Lara gotten the drop on both of us? The embarrassment was quickly replaced with paranoia. He and I both looked out over the bushes. Had Ija heard anything? No, thank goodness. Her headphones came in clutch. Phew. What the hell, Lara? Wow, the big bad doo-wop boy, scared by a girl like me? What does our organization come to? Oh, bite me. You gotta be better prepared than that. I expect this from Yi, but Thane, you're usually more on guard. Yeah, the hell, Thane? Shh. Everybody slips up now and then. Point of order, how'd you find us? Well, I knew the intercept point. You'd be hiding around here somewhere. Okay, but how'd you know about the intercept point in the first place? Bardic told me. And why would he do that? Wanted me to watch over you two as you did the job. Guess he didn't trust you or something. But with the editorialization, where I see it, he probably sent you here to get to know what it's like doing actual bit of dirty work yourself. I've done plenty of dirty work, I'll have you know. And whatever, bottom line is, you're gonna have to tolerate me for a little bit. Sorry about that. It's fine. Right, Thane? Sure. Just don't mess up the plan. Duh, I'm not stupid. Speaking of things that might mess up the plan, what's with Governor Ija there? Hey, hell if I know. She's just there. Think she'll mess things up? It's probably fine. You'd probably. She's probably why the target's visiting here. You figure. Yeah, I mean, I don't think she usually carries around conspicuous leather suitcases on like that on a day-to-day basis. Especially not for a dead-of-night walk like this one would hypothetically be. Leather suitcase? You popped up and looked over again. Huh, you're right. Yeah, that probably seals it. I just probably meeting with the target, but the poor sap is about to be offed. Art's thinking about it. It's a mystery. Yeah, insert the ghost emote. Actually, that does strike me. He has the kind of nonchalant thing for Thane to do. To both be a dick and also just do his usual dry thing. Or rather, probably... Well, I don't know. It might just be more because our character here is... I don't know. Lara moved closer and sat down between Yi and myself. You know, you don't actually have to be here. You could just say you watched over us. It'd be better for all of us involved. You really don't want me to be here, huh? Obviously, you're not meant for this sort of work. Then again, what work are you good for? I'm a valuable part of this organization. Could have fooled me. Clearly, Marduk agrees with me. I'm the same rank as you. Are you questioning his decision? Pretty clearly, yes. Wow. For the record, there's a lot more to this operation than money-making schemes and enforcement. Maybe too been so focused on your jobs you've forgotten about that. But for an operation like ours to be successful, you have to manage smaller-scale stuff. Make negotiations, keep everybody happy, delegating responsibilities, keeping morale up, all sorts of things. You might not notice while I'm here, but if I wasn't around, you'd surely take notice pretty soon after that. The disdain in Yi's voice was barely hidden. He clearly was not interested at all in anything Lara had to say. You know what really is your problem with me? Why are I so hostile? I don't know what you're talking about. We're private now, okay? Just the three of us? Could we not bullshit each other? Oh, look at that thing. Seems like Lara's taking off her friendly optimist mask about now. Glad to see it. I asked you a question. I really don't give a shit, Lara. By that I mean I don't give enough of a shit about you to dislike you. That's a load of bullshit and you know it. What, are you afraid of me? Scared Marduk likes me more? Ha! As if. I mean, that looks like what it is. I just don't like people like you. People like me? The hell does that mean? Oh, you know how you got where you were. Work should matter. I don't wanna. Enough. I spoke in a low, gravelly voice, but it was enough to bring both to attention. You know, this mask of mine did have some advantages. This infighting is unproductive. Lara, you know as well as I, the two of us have had our differences. Yi, you made your disdain for Lara quite apparent, but we are on a job right now. What's more, we are all Marduk's chosen. We should be professional enough to put personal emotions aside and focus on the task directly ahead of us. Right now, the two of you look like children. My words lingered in the air. For a moment, it looked like neither knew how to respond. Then Yi broke the tension. Oh, sheesh, Thane. Decided to shove a particularly large stick up your ass tonight? I know, right? I mean, sheesh, who does he think he is? Our dad? Sure, sounds like it. Maybe Marduk put him into parental control mode. His central processors must have been overruled with the nanny protocol. Ha, maybe. Think there's a switch on the back of his head that does it? I wouldn't doubt it. Alright, now this is bullying. I don't appreciate this and I don't like this. At this, they both had a light laugh. So long as they quit making snipes at each other, I'd rather be the common butt of a joke, if that's what it took. You know, maybe you're right. This feud is beneath us. Oh, don't be like that. Either way, you're right. We have more in common than not, and I mean between the three of us. We're all Duat senior officers. We're all pretty fed up with Marduk. If I had a drink, I'd toast you on that. You know, I didn't break up that fight for us just to slack off in a different way. I'm saying we need to focus on our job. Anyone tell you you're no fun, Thane? Yes. Yeah. He's got you there. You two are really alike, you know? Thane, we're focused enough. We're not going to miss the target. We're just looking to kill some time. I didn't have anything to respond to. So, either of you have any ideas, more ideas on how to kill time? I like playing games when I got free time. I actually keep a deck of cards in my pocket sometimes for that reason. Kidding. Yeah. Try playing around with something. Maybe I could teach you star alignment. Oh nah, card games have never been for me. Oh. Yeah, for whatever reason, smart as I may be, I was always rubbish at games like that. I've got a nasty personality, so I don't like doing things I'm bad at. I can see it. I'll be called a truce. Sorry. I think we should focus on the task. You proposed playing a game of cards. How exactly does that follow? I shrugged. Shame gotta kill this target. He's a gambler, right? I would have liked to play a game against him. Yep. Oh, did not tell you, Thane? Our mask is this guy named Locke. Apparently a 2-bit con artist. Wears garish suits. Likes to hang out around Nahoy's nest. He's the one to show up wearing a gray hoodie. The one we're going to kill? Yep. Really have to wonder what Art's thinking ordering a hit on a guy like that. It's weird. Art doesn't like contacting us for pretty much anything. If it felt like this Locke guy is a big enough problem to actually pay for our services, this man must have had something on him. But that's weird. Art lives a neurotically controlled life, all centered around eliminating anything he considers a weakness. I can't think of how a lowlife like Locke could possibly pull it as a threat. For that matter, why is Locke going after Art of all people? I mean, a grifter going after Daisma, I get it, but you'd think Polly would be the one at risk. I was the first one to notice, but Yi and Lara saw him right after me. From a vantage point, it was impossible he could see us, but we could see him just fine. Man wearing gray hoodie walking down the stone path. Based on the direction, he was approaching the bench that Aija was sitting on. Yeah, this guy's totally meeting up with Aija, for whatever it's worth. Lara didn't respond. Good idea, considering the mark was actually walking by now. What are you doing, Thane? It's time. Grab the rifle, take the shot. Oh, right. A cold shiver went down my spine. I had to ignore that impulse. I turned around. Sure enough, there was the sniper rifle. One thing to do, I guess. Reached down, grabbed it, went in the proper firing position, and didn't have an excuse this time. I mean, I had several. I could say that was the only choice, but it wasn't. I could say it was necessary, but it wasn't. I could say Yi and Lara would kill me if I didn't follow through, but they wouldn't. I could say they'd finish the job in my place if they hesitated, but they wouldn't. I mean, don't get me wrong. Not killing this guy would be a pain in the ass. A major, major pain in the ass. A lot of things could and would backfire. My position would become untenable very quickly. Saving this man would unquestionably increase the chances I ended up dead into the bottom of the ocean. It would absolutely be the smartest move for me to just fire and be done with it. However, to do so means killing someone I didn't have to, and this wasn't the Milo situation. This wasn't self-defense. This was premeditated murder. It's a crime to the highest degree. Sure, the person on the other hand of the gun might not be clean. In some ways, he might have brought this on himself based on the sort of actions he's been doing. But fundamentally speaking, he was an innocent man. I couldn't in good conscience say he deserved this. To move onwards, I'd have to kill someone to deserve it. Right, or play a character here. Well, he killed Thane, but as we've learned in the other story, that was 100% into self-defense because the guy had been hanging out for like 6 hours or whatever outside, waiting to ambush him because he was just the Terminator, basically. So if he didn't kill him, Thane would have killed him first. And likewise, Milo was only innocent on technicality, but he did try and sell us out the first chance he got, which means it's a lot easier to justify it. But here, before I'd have to become a murderer. If I did this, would I have no excuse left? Would I just be as bad as anyone else? Would I practically be a Duat member? Would I lose any sense of moral justification I'd clung to before this point? And if that's the cost, was it worth it? Whatever gains I get from shooting this gun outweigh the cost of selling my soul. No, I was thinking about this all wrong. This wasn't an innocent man. Maybe he didn't deserve the death penalty, but this wasn't the same as shooting an innocent. This was killing somebody in the game. I was wrong. There is a difference. When you enter the game, you assume a certain amount of liability. Work with the sharks, deserve it or not, you can't complain when you eventually get your arm bitten off. Sorry about this, I truly am. Milo stuck with me. Shit, so will this, but there was never a choice. Question, what if there's no right answers? Answer? Don't answer. Word to the wise. Skip to the action minigame. Yeah. Lined up the scope just right. Easy, no itchy trigger fingers here. I haven't actually fired a gun like this, so I hoped it wouldn't be that hard. It wasn't. Still, I need to make sure I didn't miss. Just then, man seemed to slow down. Nothing. I did nothing. Consequently, nothing happened. The slightest pause, just that. I kept aiming the gun a little lower. Left. Clear head shot. Held my breath. Muscles stiffened. And then, when I was barely moving at all, there was a bit of resistance. I pulled it back. But I kept pulling. At that point, I crossed the threshold. Time slowed. A small explosion occurred in the metal pipe in my hands, and as a result, a tiny chunk of metal began flying out in front of it. Slowly, it made its way through the air. At a certain point, the man in the hoodie could do nothing about this fact. Their fate was sealed, and in the half second they had left to live, nothing could change the fact they would die momentarily. Bullet through the air, and eventually it struck skin, then blood, muscles, bone, and then with a single horrific stroke, Bullet entered and exited the man's skull through a course of a single moment, and like that it was done. I had killed him. Took a second for the man's body to flop to the floor, and that was that. Time resumed. Breathed out heavily. Killed a man. It was sort of in a state of shock. That state was soon interrupted by the sound of a shriek. I looked over and Governor Ija jumped up shouting. Then looked around nervously, probably searching for the gunman. However, perhaps wisely, she decided not to stick around. She began power walking away from the body, away from the whole scene, just in general, and before too long she was out of sight. The only witness to the death fled. I didn't know how to feel about that. Then I felt something touch me behind. I almost jumped in a fighting stance for it. Realized it was just Yi giving me a pound on the back. Oh, nice work, Thane. Nicely going. Good stuff all around. Job well done. Yeah, super job at murder. Really ended a man's life with that style. Where's my Lara? Oh, you know it's clever. Lara, why do you have to be this derisive toward Thane? What do you do to deserve it? I'm not being derisive towards Thane. I'm being derisive towards you. What did I do to deserve it? I don't know. Let's start with giving somebody a pat on the back for murder. A little messed up, don't you think? Oh, come now, Lara. That's the job. It was a Duat-assigned job. You're going to complain about that? I'm not complaining about the job. I'm just saying, even if it's a job, we don't have to celebrate murder. I'm not celebrating the murder. I'm celebrating a job well done. There is a difference. I guess I don't see it. And that sounds like a you problem. I'm going to check the body. Okay, Thane, do you think that's best? I stood up. Okay, sure. Go ahead and do your thing. Walked out of the cover bushes, left my sniper rifle with the other two. It was closer to morning than night at this point. No cameras, likely no witnesses. This should be fine. Now, since I shot him in the back of the head, normally the victim would be lying dead face down. However, in this case, he sort of skidded and tumbled because of the momentum of the bullet. Ended up lying on his side. I walked over and bent down. I looked at a familiar face, then I stood up. I looked back towards you. At this point, we're also cover. Look at the victim's face one more time. Laura said the target was supposed to be a gambler named Locke. Yeah? By any chance, is Locke another name for Secretary Grani? Because if not, I think we got the wrong guy. Killed the wrong guy, huh? Can you say awkward? Hate to see it happen, though it does happen quite a bit. Humans are more like us than any of us care to admit. This is it's quite easy to fail to differentiate them. Oh, but I suppose I don't need to tell you that. There's a lot I could tell you about this scene. Yi brought up how Lara's been acting the whole scenario. It's been an interesting scene. So that was the last one. The one before that? Wait a second. 3 scenes. Oh yeah, you know what that means. Time to check the bet. As far as I've seen, nobody else is quite put together who's currently donning the mask. So you win. Oh, lame. My fault, really. Obviously our pal Thane wasn't going to get caught that easily. Bad bet on my part. I can own up to that. Alright, let's run it back. You won 2 easily. Need to take some more of your chips. So that's same. Does hate other identity for 3 more? Yes or no? Will Thane be discovered in 3 scenes? Believing in Thane, huh? Sticking your guns? Well, it's gotten you this far. Alright, can only wish you luck. Anyways, the bet is made. Now we just have to haggle over the specifics. Okie dokie, bet taken. Betting more this time? Feeling a bit more confident with more chips in your pocket, huh? Want to keep the streak going? Well, whatever you're thinking, it's out of your hands now. All you have to do is sit back and watch. Enjoy. Though the last one isn't compulsory. I'll take your chips all the same. Yeah, I figured Locke wasn't going to be taken out that easily, but that still raises some questions. Likewise, I imagine our assassin buddy's going to find a reason not to go after Laverna yet. Although, now I am going to openly admit I'm not 100% sure if I'm doing the right order for all of these. Mostly just doing whatever, but then again, I'm pretty sure this is designed so you could take them in any order at any pace you wish. It would be rather odd if they limited it in some fashion when in reality it needed to be in a specific order. Although I imagine some, like the ones closest to the player character, ones furthest to the left are likely to be chosen first. I think this one might have been planned for first just because top left, but then again, I don't know. If anyone would have statistics for which is chosen first most often, probably be the developer. In which case, I wonder, would they choose top left first, bottom left? Top right, bottom right? Maybe dead center? Hard to say. But let's stick with the fake Thane here. Strike second. It's never exactly comfortable when you're standing over a dead body, even less so when you've killed said dead body. When the person killed wasn't the person you were supposed to kill? Yeah, that's pretty awkward. Luckily, I was the one who was most composed. Oh. Oh shit, this ain't good. This is really not great, oh no. He stood from his hiding position in the bushes and was now making his way to the corpse. A little risky, staying out in the open by a dead body, but no one was around. If they were, they would have said something before this point, that's for sure. You're telling me, you're saying that we just shot some civilian? Because, yeah, that's not great. We did this under the assumption Locke was some gambling lowlife. People like that disappear easily. The police don't give a shit about a case like that. But are you telling me we just shot a completely normal person? No, not a normal person. A government official. The employee of Governor Ija. That's not nothing. That's not something we can just be handled. Okay, calm down, everyone. No need to freak out yet. Nobody's been freaking out. Shut up. Look, we're jumping to conclusions. Oh, that right. Pray tell, what conclusions are we jumping to? Kinda feels like this is a straightforward case. Not exactly a lot of room for nuance. Well, we were tasked to kill Locke. Who's to say that's not Locke? What? I mean, what do we know about Locke? My description was very sparse. I mean, yeah, you wouldn't think a government secretary would be gambling, scam, or anything, but you know, it's possible. Maybe he has a double life. Maybe he wears a wig and makeup. Goes out, spends his nights dressing up. It's possible. That's the angle you're going with, seriously. Ye, settle down, it's fine. We just got the wrong guy. It's not the end of the world. Settle down? Settle down? Uh-oh, maybe it's not time to pull the Thane card. Thane, I get logistics isn't your strong suit, but we just screwed the pooch majorly. It's not just a matter of an innocent person we killed, although to be clear, that's also quite bad. Sure, whatever. We also screwed up the hit Art put out. That's a big revenue hit. Not to mention possibly damaging our relationship. Of course. Of fucking course. What? No, nothing. Just makes perfect sense to me that your main concern from all this is that we might be losing some of our precious money. Oh, you know what? I don't see why you're talking at all, especially considering you're the reason we're in this mess. Excuse me? E, could you be cool for like a minute? If there's more in conflict, might as well be increase the chances my disguise somehow we find out. I have to do my best to temper things before they get out of hand. E. No, I'm serious. Thane and I were here taking things seriously. We actually were, you know, doing our jobs, and you came in and interrupt us for no reason at all. You came to what, to play cards? No wonder we went on our A game. Are you serious right now? Are you actually saying I think you're saying? Because if you are, you're more shit than I thought. Had absolutely nothing to do with shooting a random guy. And if you're going to be blaming anybody, blame your masked buddy over there, don't you? I mean, he's the one who actually shot the guy, you know? How's anybody's fault? But his boggles my mind. I take no blame in this. Shocker. Why should I? I just did what I was told. Followed orders exactly as they were given. He gave me the description. I followed it. You're blaming me? For saying you even encouraged the shot. I think assigning blame's a dumb practice, but if you're going to, I don't see how it's logical to blame how the blame lands in my lap. Ouch. I can't believe this is turning on me. If the shoe fits, what did I do wrong? I mean, we got the description. The guy matched it. How on earth should... No, you know what? That's a good point. Your own point that you haven't said? That's a good point. Oh, shut up for a second, would you? Yi began pacing around with a contemplative look on his face. I exchanged a brief look with Lara. Felt like we should interrupt him, but we also had no desire to. A few seconds later, Yi nodded. Yeah, there's no way this apple just happened to get shot. No shit, Yi, we shot him. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying there's no way it's a coincidence this dude ended up being where he was. At the exact time, more or less. Exact place, exact clothing. I mean, it all lines up too perfectly. If this dude just happened to walk by this park in time in that outfit, he must be the unluckiest son of a bitch that ever walked the earth. I agree. It's logical to assume this was not a case of chance. Oh good, I got Thane's approval, thank God. Alright, fine. Maybe this isn't a coincidence. What are you saying? I don't know what I'm saying. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it's any of our faults we shot this dude. Like I said. Yeah, you're right. So then, what happened? Think Art screwed us? Huh. I mean, think about it. He was the one to provide details for the hit. He told us the time, place, description. And if anybody could arrange to kill the wrong person to be him, all he'd have to do is change the who. Okay, but why? Why what? Why lie about it then? He already has us performing a hit. Why give us the wrong identity? Wouldn't that just make our job harder, possibly run into confusion? If he's placing a hit, I would think he'd just tell us straight up who the target is. It's not like there's any difference whether we're killing Locke or Secretary Ghani. I don't know about that. There is a difference between Secretary Ghani and Locke. The latter, like I said, has very few connections. The former is a somewhat respected member of society, and more importantly, works for Governor Ija. Hurting Ija is something that needs a little bit more deliberation. Not saying we wouldn't do it, but that's going to affect things like cost and the time put the hit into motion. Aha, see? Our probably needed Ghani killed, knew he'd be troublesome, fed us false info. Mystery solved. Ishuk said. Sorry, Lara, but I don't think that's it. I'm not just being vindictive here. Legitimately, I don't buy that explanation. Why not? A breach of contract like that. It's no laughing matter. I mean, misleading who we kill is a serious breach of trust. Could lead to serious damage on our end. If we've ever found out he intentionally misled us. Well, I know we like to avoid clashing swords directly with Olimpo for a number of reasons, but a direct insult like that trumps over everything else. We would have to make Art pay. It's a matter of pride. Maybe Art just thinks we wouldn't find out. It's not out of character for him to be a cocky son of a bitch. I don't see it. Not when there's a simple explanation. Oh yeah? And what's that? Secretary Ghani and Locke were in on it together. What do you suppose it is? Oh, F if I know. Although we were talking about that, thinking that Hoodie was meant to meet with Governor Ija, correct? Maybe there's gonna be a trade-off. Locke and Ija had some sort of deal. Art gets wise to the details, thinks Locke's gonna be willing meeting with Ija, puts the hit out. Turns out this Ghani asshole's Locke's partner and goes to meet with Ija in Locke's place. And just like that, miscommunication created, we've got a dead secretary. I guess it's possible. Shook my head. I don't think so. Thane, you know you're being a real pain in the ass tonight. Okay, what is it? There's a shady meeting happening. Why would Ghani be the one sent to meet with Ija? Why not Locke? How should I know? I'll put it another way. It makes more sense for Locke to go as opposed to Lonnie. After all, Ghani works for Ija, correct? then Aija would definitely recognize him. So, maybe Aija knew who she was meeting. Alright, and if that's the case, why have the meeting here? Why have it now? Don't they work in the same building? I feel like if there was a deal between the two, one where Aija knew who she'd be dealing with, they'd just do it there. Alright, I'll buy it. So then, what's your theory? If you're gonna be poking holes in mine, you gotta have one to replace it with, right thing? I just sighed. I didn't mean fine. What if Art was just wrong? Huh? We know very little about what's happened. That includes how Art got his information in the first place. Laura suggests Art misinformed us, but why put the burden on Art? Maybe he was misinformed either accidentally or on purpose. Simple as that. I don't like it. Shocker. Hey, tell me what sort of misinformation caused you to get 90% of the details right, but the identity person's wrong. That makes no sense to me. If you know as much as Art did, you don't just happen to get the most important part wrong. I can't think of a situation where that happens. Seems to me like you're not very creative then. Excuse me? Look, we know too little. I'm not saying I'm right, but it's possible. Anything's possible, I suppose. Thane's right. We know too little, and it's just speculating like this isn't getting us anywhere. Right now, and no matter how we get in the situation, the fact is we're standing in front of a dead body. The wrong dead body, and we have to deal with that. Do we, though? Can't we just run off? Oh, we can, if we want to be sloppy and idiotic. Let me rephrase. Can't I just run off? You can't be serious. Are you seriously suggesting you just ditch us now? Now of all times? I mean, I didn't think I was going to help much. Like you said, I don't belong here. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, screw off. You had your chance to pull that card and you got offended when I suggest you do. Now that we're in shit, you're standing here useless or not. Fine, if it'll make you happy. You know, it will. It really will. He shook his head, scowl not leaving his face. Oh, sheesh. The nerve of this girl. I mean, seriously, can you believe this, Thane? I just shrugged, not starting this up again. Alright, Mr. Yi, we're dealing with a dead body now. So what do we do? How do we go about this? Well, I guess the question is whether or not the hits is called off. Seriously, isn't it too late for that? Not too late until we decide it's too late. Who knows, maybe any minute the real Locke will come in with his grey hoodie. We're the one who said this guy walking here this time wasn't a mistake. Well, that was the theory. It could be wrong. That's rare, coming from you. At this point, if the real Locke was coming, we'd have seen him, I think. Safe to say he won't be here. Alright, fine. Locke isn't coming here. It's too soon to call off the hit. No. Look, when the Duats are contracted to do a job, we need to finish the job. If we don't, our names become cheap. Even if we're fed faulty info, even when it's not our fault. Yeah, I admire the spirit, but how exactly do you intend to kill the real Locke? I don't know. He paced a bit more inside. Fine, maybe I'm being a little irrational right now. Plain enough, I'm a bit thrown off my game, but at the very least, we should get in touch with our employer. Let them know what happened. See if they have any suggestions what to do. You mean Art. Exactly. Then Yi took out his phone. Alright, let's get this over with. Probably not going to be a pleasant conversation, but, well, it's gotta happen. A few seconds later, a call was made. The phone rang for a bit, and then click. Hello? Hey, Art. What's up? How's life treating you? I'm fine. I'm fine. Good to hear, good to hear. I'm not in a chatty mood. The business handled? Business handled? Why so clinical about it, Art? Just answer. Look, the answer is kind of. Kind of. This conversation's gonna be a real pain in the ass if you refuse to address things head on. Look, you're not being recorded. Give it to rest. I heard a sound on the other side of the phone. Fine. What does kind of mean? About that. Here's that Art Deisma. Wow, Mr. Fan. Who's that? That's one of my coworkers. One of your coworkers. I put you on speaker. You put me on speaker? What on earth made you think that? Art, friend, take it easy. Think of your blood pressure. The only people on this call are people you can trust. Totally. I mean, I'm just honored to be talking with you. Alright, that's enough of that. I'm also here. Very good, Thane, you are here. That's not patronizing. Perceptive. Wait, did you say Thane as in the shadow? No, as in the defunct rock band member Thane. Of course that Thane. Who do you think you're talking to? He precisely. Who am I talking to? What's my life become? Hey now, it's a little rude to say that on the phone, don't you think? Care to be a little more respectful? I prefer not to. That's a real feisty tone for someone who's apparently only kind of did their job. What does kind of even mean in this context? I was getting to it. Sarah, how'd you get the info for this job? I don't see that was any of your concern. It is, because we killed the wrong person. You what? Okay, see, this is why speakerphone is a mistake. I would deliver the news smoother. Sorry. How did you deliver the news like this smoothly? Hold on, what did you morons do? Hey, it's not our fault. See, we followed your information on the hit. The man showed up dressed as you described, at the time you described, at the place you described. It's not our fault the person matching the description wasn't Locke. It wasn't? Wasn't. Your secretary Grani, if you could believe it. What? I know, crazy, right? I truly do apologize for this news, but as my associate so bluntly put it, we were following the directions you gave. You were certain Locke would be the target, correct? I was, I did, Give me a second to think. The other side of the line went silent for a moment. Okay, I don't know what's going on. All I can presume is I was misled. Hey, that's okay, that happens to the best of us. I can do without the theatrics, Miss Lara. Sorry. You know, that's what I like about you, Art. You get down to the brass tacks. I respect that in a man. Don't you start, Yi. You sound awfully jovial for someone who just screwed up a job. Hey, we were doing precisely what we were told. I told you to kill Locke. Locke may not have shown up at the time and place I described. That's my fault. However, you wanted to kill a totally uninvolved individual without confirming their identity. They matched the clothing description. Does that sound like I care? I don't know how you do business with Yi, Mr. Deisma, but that... Hey, whoa now. I apologize, Art. I really do. I want to make it up to you. What can I do then? How do I make it up? What's our next move? Again, the line went silent. Give me a minute. The line suddenly went dead. Did he just hang up? Very good, Lara. That's what you know what the sound of a phone hanging up sounds like. You know, you've always been a tool, Yi, but you're usually cooler about it. Oh, I'm sorry, just frustrated is all. Bit of a perfectionist. When things go off track like this, it gets under my skin. We're all annoyed, Yi. Get over yourself. You flash a nasty grimace at me. Whoops. Might have been going a bit far there. Back to being the silent type. So what now? He said he'd be a minute. We'll give him one. He'll call back soon. Okay, then. Just like that, a wave of silence flushed over the three of us. It was far from the first time we were all staring at each other quietly. This time it felt noticeably more awkward. So, anybody know any good jokes? Really, Laura? I don't. I mean, I've heard some, but I can only ever remember the setups, never the punchline. That right? Yeah, it's a real problem. Tried asking a comedian friend of mine for help, and he had weird advice. Ah, it's Art. Really back on the phone call, coming in time, huh? Yep. You pick up the phone. Yi speaking? I know you're speaking. I called your phone. Someone else could have had my phone. Yi. Look, don't just run on me. Saying you're speaking when you pick up is a very common practice, and you're an asshole making a thing of it. Okay, fine, whatever. Here's the deal. The hitch for lock, it's still on. Sure thing. Got any leads for us? No. Awesome. We've also gathered information on Locke. I'll be sending you what I have. Besides, Duats are supposedly resourceful. Locke is a two-bit con man. He operates in your circles. Hey, he wants to find the guy. We can find him. I'm just saying, this guy's apparently pretty elusive. I hope you're not expecting a quick turnaround then. I'd hope you'd prioritize it, but yes, I do not expect immediate results. I think the need for them is dissipated. As for your incorrect kill, you won't be penalized. I would sure hope not. Don't push me, Yi. Fine. Oh, benevolent Art. You are welcome, that is all. Wait, that's it? Miss Laura, as an outsider, perhaps you don't understand the specifics of the arrangement. I would like as little contact with your posse as possible. Frankly, I've already made 2 more phone calls with you people than I wanted to today. And the dead body? Deal with it. You're a bunch of murderers, right? Surely you have protocols for this. Erase evidence tying you to the crime, make it look like an accident, dump the body. I don't care, just don't get arrested. Or do, just don't testify against me. That isn't my problem anymore. Never change, Art. I don't intend to. And with that, Art hung up. Well, isn't he just a bundle of fun? Sometimes you have to work with assholes, Laura. I'm surprised you haven't learned that by now. Oh, trust me, I have. Very funny. Would please start the cleanup and be done with it. I don't know about you two, but this isn't exactly how I like to handle my nights. At this point, it's almost morning. That it is. Okay, well, I don't think there's much we need to do. In cases like this that are custom built for our police contact, I'm gonna hit him up now. Isn't it pretty late? Aren't they likely asleep? Oh, nah, I had them on call. Well, for this in case things went south. You just had them wake up at this hour just in case? Yep. Damn, you're brutal. Just picking up on that now, he chuckled to himself. Anyways, the last call taught me not to put calls on speakerphone in front of you animals. I'll handle this myself. He started messing with his phone, walking away from the corpse, leaving me alone with Laura. Well, this is awkward. I've been trying to avoid one-on-one situations with Laura, but there's no natural way to get around at this point, so I stayed silent and hope Laura would follow suit. Don't think I forgot about everything. Shit. Oh. Don't owe me. Playing coy is bad luck for you. I wasn't playing coy, I just don't care if you remember. I'll do it, you know. You know you won't. I will. I'm serious. Okay, then. Laura continued to just stare at me. I tried to give nothing away. The mask helped with that quite a bit. Luckily, Laura was about to start speaking. Luckily, you walked back. Saved by the bell. Yeah, now that we know our protagonist from this story is Mercury from the last one, this also means he knows Laura, and by extension, what Thane should know about her, and thus that they have some bad blood. Alright, well, cavalry will be here soon enough, so we just have to wait for now? Pretty much. Okay then. Like that, Laura began to walk away. I sensed some frustration. Oh sheesh, can never be in a good mood, can she? A bit hypocritical there? Is it? For some reason, I was having a bit of trouble staying character as Thane. My personal feelings are particularly feisty tonight. You know, we're gonna have to deal with her soon enough. I know. I mean, we've managed to stomp out all the fires before they've started so far. But I mean, imagine if we let some of them slip through the cracks. We'd be... I know. Yi shook his head. Aw, man, you know, the mere existence of them in my mind is grounds enough. Think so? I mean, obviously I think so, but that's not really what matters. Right. No, I really thought last time you'd get something good. Sure you didn't? If I did, when I tell you? Who knows? Maybe you're holding out on me. Let me rephrase then. If I did, would I really be doing nothing? Okay, you've got me there. Next time, then. I just nodded. He patted me on the back again to walk away himself. Guess everybody need their own space. Well, good enough for me. Less conversation I had to go through where I only half knew what I was talking about, the better. Man, why was this role so stressful? Who knows? Just the fact I knew nothing about myself. Oh, and the psychotic murderers surrounding me. That doesn't help. Anyways, I checked my pocket. Yep, still had it. That disguise trip to the V-Hall the other day ended up being worth the risks. Evil creatures of habit after all, and there was time to use it. Just surviving was hollow in motivation. Learning information, barely above that. It was never my motivation, and it shouldn't be mine now. Thane's mask was a curse, but also a blessing. A perfect opportunity, the more I thought about it. So then, if I wanted to start destroying the Duats from the inside, why not try now? There's this thought that was interrupted by faint noise. Then I snapped to attention. It was Yi and Laura acting similarly. Like that, we all made for cover. Laura dove behind some bushes. Yi also Bushes approached a lot more casual. For my part, I just took a few steps and put my back against a tree. None of us were overly frantic. Pretty obvious who was coming after all. Still, couldn't be too safe. Always the chance was just a passerby, but no. Coming to vision, I could see our trusty police making his way here. Seth Johnson. Ugh, this is sick. You guys are sick. You guys are around, right? You didn't just call me here to leave me with a dead body? Oh, come on. Watch the tone, Seth. Ah. Seth jumped a foot in the air as I spoke up. Guess I can't blame him. I did move from my spot, just sneak up right behind him. Guess I could say I did that to better emulate Thane, but being honest, I did it because I thought it'd be fun. I was right, it was. He came out in stitches, even Lars chuckling a bit. Classic, absolutely classic. Thane, man, don't let me give you shit again. You really are a legend. Noted. I don't see how it's funny to be joking on with an active crime scene, especially out in public. Oh, come off it, Seth. Some would say this mood is exactly why a joke like that lands. No, I think you would have laughed if I got scared by Thane in any context. True enough. Am I the only one weirded out by the fact Thane apparently gets more comedic when he's around a dead body? Kinda weird. I don't get more comedic. I'm just unaffected. Huh. That's better, I guess. Oh, right. You must be Seth, our police contact, right? Yes. Cool. I'm Lara. Nice to meet you. Lara stuck out her hand. Seth hesitantly accepted the handshake. Nice to meet you, too. Another Duas senior officer, I'm guessing? Yep. In fact, you got the luxury of be dealing with all three, Officer Seth. Oh, goody. Lucky me. You know, I just wanted to thank you for everything you've been doing. I know you might not love the arrangement, but it's because of work like yours we can do what we do. So earnestly, thank you. You're welcome. She doesn't mean it, Seth. This is just her shtick. Huh? Hey, could we please not get off track this quickly? Again, I want to get home. Yes, thank you. Alright. You two raise a good point. Time's passing rather quickly. Before we know it, those freaks who like to run at break of dawn might start waking up soon. We do have something of a timeline for this cover-up. So then, what exactly are we looking at? To put it bluntly, this is a government official we accidentally killed. You accidentally? No, okay, forget it. Details. What happened exactly? What evidence is there? Not a whole lot. The three of us were hanging in those bushes, shot him in the back with an unmarked sniper rifle. In our defense, we didn't know it was him. You didn't know it was him. What are you talking about? Are you just shooting random people for fun now? Of course not, Seth, buddy. It's more nuanced than that. See, we thought it was somebody else, and it turned out to not be somebody else. That's not... Again, Seth trailed off. He decided. You people have to murder so much. Look, I don't like this any better than you, and trust me, if we killed the person I thought we were killing, you wouldn't have any problem with any of this. I find that hard to believe. Alright, maybe you'd have a teensy tiny problem, but I chalk it up more as a you thing than anything else. You know, I'm getting real sick of cleaning after your messes. I know, I'm sorry, Seth, but you know, if you actually decided to refuse our help, you know you'd end up with your head on a pike back at HQ, right? Seth nervously joined in the chuckle. Slapped Seth on the back twice with a bit of force. I kid. You'd actually just disappear at the bottom of the ocean. Right. I mean, head on this. It wasn't even resistance, just doing standard grumbling. I need to keep up with the threats. Oh, bah. Always a buzzkill, Lara. Always a buzzkill. Guys, time. Okay, then let's think. How do we want to cover up this murder? Lara, you've just been coasting here. I want to hear your actual idea on this. My idea? On the spot, but okay. We could contact some of our people, have them bring over a truck. We load the body up, transport it away, dump in the ocean. That's like the murder didn't even happen. Simple. Wow, what a garbage answer. Seriously? Yes, seriously, you become a senior officer with that sense? I'm just being mean. Are you? You look over at Seth. Oh, whatever. Anyways, no bad idea. There's a ton of blood and shit here. I just saw the man die. It's just a lot of work. There's an easier way, and that is simple arson. What? We just burned down the park and this guy with it. Now he's doing too much work. It's actually pretty easy to start a fire. Besides, this actually cleans stuff up. All the forensic evidence of us being there, clear cause of death for this guy, motive in the first place, all burns away. Yeah, well, I don't hate it, but maybe not that. Not that, huh? I hadn't considered it. We don't need to harm the park. You guys are putting much too much thought into this. Agreed. Look, I'm a cop. You brought me in to help with stuff like this. You want to know what your best course of action is? Me. Just a botched robbery. You remove this guy's face mask. He's easily recognizable. Also makes him look less sketchy. Take this wallet out of his pocket, steal all valuables from him. Remove the bullet from his head. Disguise the fact he was killed by a sniper. Like comp forensics? Yeah, by that point, they'll have forgotten about this case. Seriously? That works? Messed up, right? What about the forensics? Proof that we were here? I'll be one of the officers first on the scene. I'll make sure to remove any forensic evidence that ties directly to you. You be sure you do that. I don't need to tell you what happens if any of us end in jail, do I? No, you do not. You let us smile on. Alright, that sounds reasonable enough. Thane, want to do what the man said? I didn't, but I nodded and bent down, looked over the corpse. Aw, man, I felt pretty bad about what I did this guy, but well, enough waffling about. I made a decision. I just have to live with it. For now, I had work to do. As instructed, I removed the face mask, then I retrieved the bullet. Ew. Okay, hated that, but whatever. Now for the wallet, rifled around the guy's pockets, eventually I found it. Damn, not even much in here. Oh well. Not the point. I also found his phone in the pocket. Good measure, I gave it a good stomp. There. Back in the pocket it goes, and that was everything I had to do, but the others weren't really watching me right now. This time to use a secret weapon. This could backfire in a lot of ways, and I wasn't sure if this was the right time, right tact. Wasn't sure about a lot of things. Frankly, I still didn't know enough Well, that was the point, wasn't it? If things stayed static, nothing would break up. There's no opportunities, no weaknesses. This, I think, would force moves. So then, quickly I looked back to make sure I wasn't being watched. Carefully, I took out of my pocket a cigarette. A stub, more like it. One that Yi had smoked. Very carefully, I pushed under Granny's arm at a hard spot. Then I walked right back to the others. You done now? Excellent. So are things handled? Pretty much, yeah. I guess I could send an anonymous tip for the body. Actually, be better if one of you did it. I have an early shift today. I'll partner up with Pandora, make sure we got incompetency on our side. Ooh. As the group continued to chat, I suddenly turned back the body. I took my phone out of my pocket, slid over the camera app, and very carefully, as quickly as I taken the photo, I slipped back in my pocket. Luckily, Yi and Seth were too busy discussing business notes. And that'll all work? I think. I mean, I hope. The verb hope there, ironically enough, doesn't inspire much of it. Well, immediately we all went silent for the same reason. We heard something. Someone approaching. Last time everybody stayed close, we pretty much knew who was approaching. This time, no clue, so instantly all four of us ducked behind the same set of bushes. Got as low as possible and held our breath. We wouldn't stay as quiet as possible. The person got closer, then I could see them getting right next to the body. Then, heard the light sound of weeping. Weeping? No surprise? That meant I thought I knew I'd see, and I was right. Grieving above was Governor Ija herself. Governor Ija doing back here? Shh. That's weird, right? Yes, Seth, it was just change. She's probably gonna call and report the body soon. Luckily, we all did what we needed to do. I can handle things from here. Better. So we can leave now? I think that would be for the best. And like that, we slowly crawled away until we had enough distance. And then, quite quickly, we all left Panthea's park. That was quite the experience, I thought to myself, but I couldn't get content yet. Work had just begun. Hey, here's an idea. You know how you sometimes get a situation where one person's about to kill another, but then the would-be victim's able to talk would-be killer out of it? Not like threats or bribes, just a full-on no tricks, no talk, but to reversal, which gets them to change their minds. Wanna know why that works? It's because on some level, deep down, the person wants to believe they're good. Desire almost everyone on Earth has, no matter how evil they may seem. The unconscious mind can go to ludicrous lengths to justify itself in its actions. Yeah, that's really what our player character here was doing to justify his murderous actions. Convincing someone of their own flaws, their own evils, it's not an easy task, but it's quite possible. But only if on some level the person wants to be a good person. Not sure I want to break a gold lock yet. Bronze key. I only have one left of those. Alright, let's crack open this baby then. Cut anywhere you'd like. Now we're going to actually play as Locke, but before we do, I'm going to take a quick sip from my drink. Ah, it's a lot better. Cut anywhere you like. Another night, another hunt at Nahoi's nest. Only this time I'd move on to bigger and better targets. Well, maybe bigger and better was the wrong wording for it, but it was definitely the next step. Once again, I found myself nursing a drink by the bar. Who could blame me? The bar had a good view of the whole area, so it was pretty ideal for staking out like this. Been a few nights of stalking, I was yet to encounter my prey. Even though this was a relatively short amount of time, I was beginning to worry if, for whatever reason, they decided to stop coming here. They'd have incentive to. If they didn't show up, I'd have to come up with another plan. I doubt I'd come up with anything better than what I already had. Lucky for me, like my luck would finally come around tonight. Over by the roulette wheel, Polydizma looked like he was in good mood tonight. Fantastic. If you're looking for a dumb, rich rube, Polydizma is pretty much the best you're gonna get in Panthea. Finished up my drink and began to leave from my seat. Back to your usual tricks. Suddenly Elsa spoke up. It was odd of him to start a conversation. Just looking to have some fun in your establishment, Elsa. You should be happy with it. I don't think I approve of that little stunt you pulled with Bach. I don't care if you end up letting off the hook. The practice was messed up in the first place. Hey, I didn't care enough to say anything about it to Bach, though. Elsa didn't respond. Instead, he kept looking at me with a hard expression. I didn't waver and he held his gaze. You know the thing about luck, Locke? It runs out. That's why I make my own, Elsa. The way you're operating when your luck runs out, it isn't going to be pretty. Thanks for the tip, boss. I'll take it to heart. I just hope whatever you're getting out of all this is worth it. Like that, he turns attention away from me. What's his deal? Was he seriously going to try and lecture me? Wild. Luck only ran out for people who actually let their fate in chance's hands. I was smarter than every schlub who walked in these doors. No chance in hell I'd end up like them. Anyway, I picked up the suitcase by my side and made my way to the roulette table. Well, that's the thing. Judging by how this guy works, he seems to work based purely on going by if someone does what is perfectly expected of them. I think TV Tropes calls it Batman Gambit or something like that. Perfectly reasonable way to go about things, but it does mean that his entire plan will fall out the window if they, for any reason whatsoever, decide to do something else. or if perhaps he mistakes who they are, mixes them up with someone else. So there's plenty of ways he could have his luck ruined. And of course, there could also be someone who simply plays him. He does have ways to analyze people, of course, so it's unlikely any regular person could trick him, but you know what they say, there's always a bigger fish. And it's always a mistake to assume you're always at the top. Luckily, the player to Polly's right had won a particularly bad run of bets and had just left the table in shameful defeat. I plopped down right next to Polly and began to take some token bets. I played the first round standardly, grown when I lost. Next, I bet identically Polly. He was going to go hard in the first third, so was I. Ball ended a 4, I made sure to match Polly's level of celebration, whooping and hollering. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah, baby, hell yeah. What can I say? No, I was giving kind of surfer lingo. What can I say? First third never fails. First third never fails. Lands are more frequently than anyone else, I'm telling you. Well, thanks for the advice. I only bet that way because I was following your lead. Really? Yeah, I figured you seemed to know what you're doing. Guess you had good instincts on the roulette, and I had good instincts on gamblers. Ha! Well, you're welcome. Glad to have helped. Polly held out his hand. What's your name? Locke. And yours? Polly. Polly. Wait, like Polly Dysma? He sighed a bit, perhaps somewhat hoping I wouldn't bring up his real identity. Guilty as charged. Whoa. Didn't know I was in the presence of royalty. Oh, fuck off. Am I wrong? Look, man, I'm just like a dude. Look at Hagen getting treated differently because of my last name. I feel that, You know your family's a bunch of assholes, right? Ha! You're telling me I'm the one who has to live with them? Well, I think they get a bit too much hate in the public eye. They're not like bad people or anything. I just got mixed the wrong way around. Oh, money will do that to you. Oh, you would know? Just fell into a small fortune. No kidding. Dead relative. We weren't very close, but they weren't very close with anybody. Wow, you don't say. Hey, congratulations. No, there's nothing to congratulate here. I was just doing just fine before this. Got a high-end job. I'm happy enough without it. Not many people casually brush off a small fortune. Disregarding it seems a little privilege, I think. Really? You're gonna talk to me about privilege? Alright. Glass houses and all, very fair. So what are you looking to do with all the cash? Honestly, just looking to have some fun with it. As a habitual gambling junkie, that means gambling it away until it's either gone or I have more money than I know what to do with. Fair enough, I guess. If you're already well off, there's no point in hoarding your wealth. The problem is how to really gamble it. To be honest, roulette wheels and blackjack tables don't feel like real gambling. I can see that. They're good to kill time, but as a real gamble, they're pretty flaccid. I like to bet on a big personalized gamble, and the problem is, I held up my suitcase up the side of it. There's 500 white chips in this thing, and there's not exactly a line of people with capital to match a bet like that. No kidding. Even to a prodigal son like Polly, this amount made him double take with a bit of surprise. He couldn't believe I just casually bring out an amount to a place like this. And just well he shouldn't. The suitcase is mostly filled with phonies. I landed the top with legit cash for inspections and the like. Generally speaking, it was stuffed to the brim with low-rate counterfeit, the type you get a lot for cheap. It's like everything else about this approach was a setup. I already had the perfect rig gamble in my back pocket. Just a matter of leading Polly to the bait. I'd take him for all he's worth and get a bunch of cash. Well, a reasonable amount, enough to work as a stepping stone for the next phase of the plan. Mind if I take a look at the suitcase? Good, he was buying in. Be my guest. Held it up and Polly opened the suitcase. He looked over it and was quickly impressed. For someone like Polly, I bet only placing real bills at the very top and stuffing the rest of the printing paper would have worked. So really, I can just gamble it all away. As he drew back, I closed the suitcase and pushed it back to my side. Well, I mean, if you're looking for a high roller play against, I could do it. Really? Yeah, I mean, I'm not Arthur Odin, so the sum isn't something I could just sneeze at. I could just as likely win it as I am to lose that amount. Not with that attitude, you're not. Ah! In a slightly inebriated state, Polly almost fell right off his seat. He was taken completely unawares. Well, I couldn't blame him. I didn't notice the old man sneak up until he spoke up. Dying right next to me. Odin Dysma. Gotta be honest, this is a curveball. Odin! What are you doing here? My son is to be... If my son is to be wasting so many days in an underground pit, I figure it's worth saying just how pitiful the pit is. As expected, the pit is fittingly pitiful. A pit full of pity. Odin spoke in a pleasant tone, clearly pleased himself with his attempts at wordplay. This did not settle Polly's nerves. Look, it's really not that bad. Oh? Is that right? Polly just gulped. Oh, what a waste, what a waste. Oh, dang, that's a new expression. I already knew of your proclivity for being useless, but still a disgrace to witness firsthand. Roulette? You're betting on roulette? Suddenly, Odin reached forwards and began yanking Polly's hair. Letting your fortune be dictated by spinning of a metal ball is fitting for the most worthless, beggars and fools. To claim fortune by dominating over another's wits is one thing, but this mindless addiction is truly as worthless as you. Hey, get off me. Besides, weren't you the one going on about how we got or something, old man? As ever, you fail to comprehend the most basic of concepts. The fortune of the Dysmas was not given to those who fail to grasp fortune for themselves. An idiot like yourself could never truly make the most of your blood. Of all my children, you are my greatest disappointment. Potential. You potential, but the ambition and demeanor of a oh dang. Again, I'm thinking that's something YouTube wouldn't be too happy about. Useless to the company, useless to the press, useless in gambling, useless in life. Granting you the same floor as Art is a mistake. He actually made good on his potential and knew how to follow the Daisma way. And here you are, ready to be conned into giving away what is, by all rights, mine. Odin let that last statement linger. Polly just stood there, anger in his face but unable to vocalize anything. Finally, Odin sighed, pointing the stairs. Get out before you further disgrace the Daisma legacy. You don't get to tell me what to do. You may own everyone else, but you don't own me. Despite saying that, Polly began to storm away in the direction of the exit. Just like that, my golden goose wandered away. Just my luck. Finally, the moment where I got to wail on a hook and the old coot had to come in and Weck's shop. Oh, damn it. I assumed that because he had completely failed to address me, Odin had no intention of interacting. However, with Polly exiting, the man now turned to me. No, that leaves the two of us. I'm sorry, I didn't want to get in the middle of all that. It seemed like family drama. You think me harsh? A little, yeah. Good. Maybe that will make one of my lessons finally drill into that thick skull of his. We're no longer talking about that failure. We are discussing you. Say you fell into a good deal of fortune recently. Seriously? How long has this guy been listening in? Yeah, pretty much. I see. Apologies for the passing of your relative. Well, we weren't incredibly close or anything. I would think anyone who leaves you that sum of money is someone that matters to you, retroactively or not. I suppose. Not gonna care much about the money, though. Oh, I think you do. Excuse me. You weren't attempting to rid yourself of that cash just now. You were hoping to double it by scamming my foolish son now, weren't you? What? No, I like that. Huh? Looking for a target, you couldn't find anyone more suited to be duped than that lumbering waste of my sperm. Seek him out takes tenacity. Put your fortune on the line. Guts. It's good to know there are still young people with a drive to take fortune into their own hands like that. I respect those with such will. Thank you. I've taken an interest in you. Oh? It isn't a rare occurrence. I often have a whim to closer inspect those with potential, those like yourself. I can very much enjoy testing you, see how much truth you truly possess. What? Excuse me? If you wish to grasp the fortune with your own two hands, well, I look favorably upon those who are able to follow through with such ambition. Why, had I not acted exactly in that way in my youth, Olympia would certainly not be the titan it is now. I've taken away your gambling partner, then shall I substitute in? If that idiot Polly lost a small fortune, bluster as he might, it would actually quite harm him dearly. As much as that might be warranted, there's no need for such harsh discipline yet. However, I have much more wealth than I know what to do with. At this point in my life, throwing a chunk of it away to witness your true potential, that should keep me entertained for the night. I bit my tongue. What should I do? On one hand, this was completely uncharted grounds. I had not predicted the Odin factor whatsoever, and I didn't exactly hate to have the capital to pay out my debts if I lost. However, the fact of the matter is, if I want to move forwards, I need to get my hands on a serious amount of cash, more than what I had on me. Without it, Box campaign would be dead in the water, and so would whatever I hoped to do with it. The Poly option pretty much just completely wiped away. Been completely wiped away. Without that on the table, I don't have any other easy options. Grasp hold of your fortune with your own two hands, huh? You know, as messed up as this old man was, I could see where he's coming from. Make the most of opportunities presented is the way you get ahead in life. The only way is through. And if this is the way through, then I'd have to go for it. You're on. You're saying that if I prove my value, I get your cash. By all means, I'm up for your challenge. Odin let out a hard laugh. With a mere moment's consideration, you charge forwards. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now, is this unerring confidence or a fool's rashness? Truth lies in the victor, let us determine it. If I understand this place's system properly, there is a more dignified location duel. You'd be looking for the VIP private room, but excellent. Without another word, Odin turned from me and went over to Asa. The two had a brief exchange, which seemingly caught Asa off guard. Asa, in turn, called over and talked to a nearby staff member, who he positioned working at the bar. Then he led Odin to the other side of the room. Sheepishly, I followed the two. When we entered the VIP private room, it looked like the most private of rooms, although in there the lighting was still pretty messed up. Good for me. Before you begin, let me state perfectly clearly what my role in all this is. I abandoned my role at the bar because for a gamble with stakes this high, Osa looked at Odin. Frankly, any gamble with Odin Daisma involved, I feel the need to oversee personally. Oh, Osa, how you flatter me. I'm not going to take sides, I'm not going to take judgment, I'm simply here to observe and moderate. Let me be clear. Osa was looking more at me than he was at Odin. I see any cheating, I see any rule breaks, I see anyone trying to weasel out of paying what they're owed, there are going to be consequences, serious consequences. Osa looked back at Odin. This goes for both of you. Mr. Daisma, I know you're a big shot and all, but from day one, my mission statement in Nahoi's Nest was a place of true fairness. I wouldn't have it any other way. Odin's smug grin was really irritating, but I had to keep my head on straight. The gamble hadn't even started. I couldn't let him psych me out. Osa made it clear. Sleight of hand tricks were too risky here. The only thing I could count on was my skill. The gamble will begin when both players agree to a clearly specified set of rules. Once the rules are laid, they're final, so be sure to get any clarifications you want out of the way. Sounds good to me. You're bringing me in here, Odin. You got an idea of what you want to play? Naturally. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a special set of cards. There were only 13, and they had constellations on them. Did you just happen to bring these? We shall play with these. Mind if I check these out? Make sure they're not gimmicked? Oh, be my guest. I reached over and started inspecting. Meanwhile, Odin continued his explanation. The game we'll be playing is a custom creation of mine. I believe it's the best way to get to know someone. If I care enough about a person, I'll often trade standard introductions for a round of this game. So you're saying you played this game a lot before? Doesn't that put me at a pretty severe disadvantage? Having me as your opponent in any context is a severe disadvantage. Relax, this is very easy to pick up. This isn't one like chess or mahjong where rote memorization is necessary. A child can reach the highest level of play in minutes if they possess the mind for it. Besides, I'm the one offering you a chance to rise above your station. It's natural you'd be on the back foot. I guess that makes sense. So then, people are born with a certain lot in life. Either they are ruler or dreamer. In most cases, the ruler shall walk as a ruler, while the dreamer shall walk as a dreamer. There are rarest of cases where a dreamer can overtake the ruler. If the stars align perfectly, that is the name of the game. Star alignment. It is. Oh yeah, this is the game that Lara was trying to play. It is the dreamer's job to align the stars. They may rise above their station, seize power for themselves. A ruler's job, however, is not simply laze about in complacency. That's the job of a fool looking to be dethroned. A competent ruler will devote their time and resources to making sure the stars don't align, and the new dreamers will be able to prosper. That they may remain on the throne. Is there a point to this? Listen well, I'm explaining the rules of the game with you as we speak. As you've seen, the star deck is 13 cards, deck of 13 cards, ranging from 1 star to 13. At the start of each round, both players are dealt 6. The 13th is placed on the side. Each round, a player acts as the ruler, the other as a dreamer. The winner of the previous round gets to choose which role they wish to be. Then, starting with the ruler, each player takes turns playing their card in a line across the table. After all 12 is placed, the 13th is flipped and placed at the end of the line. Then the round ends. At the end of the round, if there's a star alignment, the dreamer wins. If not, the ruler wins. So what is a star alignment? It is a set of 3 cards in a row where the difference between the first and second card equals the difference between the second and third. So 1, 2, 3 would be a star alignment. 1 is added between each card. 13, 11, 9 would also be a star alignment, is subtracted between each other. 3, 7, 11 would be a star alignment, as 4 is added between each card. Get the picture. It seems a little complicated. Trust me, when you're in the game, it'll be painstakingly obvious. There's a second aspect of the game to be aware of. Each player also gets 5 chips each round. Also, fetch us 10 chips. The table you're at has chips in the drawers. Odin then opened some and eventually found some chips. Took out 5 white ones which you gave me and kept 5 white ones. On your turn, you place any amount of your chips on a card. Once the chips are placed, they cannot be moved. And on your turn, you can put as many chips as you have, but they must be on a single card per turn. A chip placed on a face-up card adds 1 to their value, so if there's a run of 2, 5, 6, and 2 chips are placed on it, on the 6, it will be treated as 2, 5, 8. Winning a round scores you 1 point. Additionally, every chip you keep in your hand, that is every chip you don't place down, it gives you an additional point if you win. If you want to truly succeed, you must win while being frugal with your chips. The winner of this gamble will be the person who first reaches a total of 13 points. Do you understand? Yeah, I think I do. It's a little weird, but I think I get the hang of it. Oh, good. In that case, because this is a special case, I'll also add a final rule I sometimes introduce to keep things interesting. Dude, this is my first time playing. No need to break out the advanced rule set. And this is the way to truly taste your worth. Whenever someone wins a round, they may make a single, simple change to the rules. What? How on earth does that work? I assure you. I assume you wish to clarify what counts as simple, correct? Very well. This is a serious match for you, so it makes sense you'd want to check the eventualities. A rule change must not reference either person's name or be obviously directed towards a single person. It must be a single sentence without any conjunctions that relates to the core rule set of the game already put out. Oh, and to prevent one side immediately capitalizing on a rule by changing it to favor the ruler or dreamer and then giving themselves the rule will only go into effect after the following round. Oh, what a headache. I find the rule quite poetic. The rulers and winners in life write the rules. It's just the most literized version of that truth. Well, I can't say I love it, but I'm pretty sure I don't get a say in this. Be a quick learner. Alright. Well, while we're ironing things out, I want to settle on the stakes of this gamble. Your reward, right? A suitcase of yours filled with cash equivalent to 500 white trips, right? Right. Then I bet 1,500. What? I was slightly taken aback by this. 1,500? That's quite a ludicrous amount. I was speechless. Odin, sir, I know I have wealth to my name, but I can't bet that high. You're tripling what I want to bet with. Indeed I am. These days I'm numb to much in the world. It takes extreme stakes to make me truly excited. 15,100 white trips. I shan't play for a penny lower. Oh, and I won't be degrading myself by putting more at stake than you. You're saying I need to cough up another 1,000. That's not happening. Wasting my time saying you want to bet against me and then make me bet more than I can even afford. Not cool. Oh, you can't afford this gamble. I can't. What do you think the value of a human finger is? Let's say the pinky. If you ask me, I put the value at, say, 500. And what do you know? You have 2 pinkies right there. What? The hell are you saying? I'm saying you bet the contents of your case, and for every 500 worth of cash you are short, I get to make a clean cut with a knife. Those 2 cuts will be your left and right pinky. What sort of psychopath are you? What value do you get out of my cutting my fingers? It's not what I gain, it's what you lose that gives it value. I am offering up a life-changing amount of money, Locke. If I offered to pay someone 500 white chips worth of cash to cut off their pinky, many men would take the trade. So then, how is this any different? You claim victory and defeat me. 1,500 white chips worth of cash will be deposited within any bank account of your choice within a minute. Also here will ensure it. So then, do you accept betting my fingers? That's insane. But 1,500 white chips worth of cash with that amount, not just the Bach campaign, the options I'd have. I was already in this deep. All I had to do was beat this old man's simple game of cards. I was great at this. The game described as a psych game, and that was my specialty. I could beat Odin. I had to beat Odin. And worst comes to worst, I could just talk my way out of things. There's no way I'd actually lose my fingers, not with how I set things up. The person I was facing, he was suggesting serious body mutilation just for fun, a bit of sports on a random night. This man was a monster, but alright, I accept those terms. Odin began almost so hard it transformed into a coughing fit by the end. Excellent! You truly are interesting, Locke. After all this build-up, you better not disappoint me. Locke's accepted the proposal, Asa. The games can continue undeterred. Alright, who's gonna be ruler first? We haven't played a previous round. We can flip a coin, or rather a chip. Odin took one of his white chips and held it up. Call it midair, crown or not. Odin flipped it. No crown. He slapped the table on the coin on the table and revealed it. It begins. The gamble has only started, and already my ruler's like it's flowing in my blood. Single coin flip, man. Don't get over dramatic. I shall be ruler then. Ruler deals. Odin reached over and grabbed the small deck. With so few cards, it's easier than normal to try something, so I kept a close eye on Odin's movements. It was all legit, though. By the time he began dealing me my 6 cards, I didn't see any moves. Alright, what was I working with? 2, 6, 8, 10, and 13. Pretty high scoring hand, this one. I suppose that was good. Using reverse logic, I could deduce Odin had a 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9, and a 12, except he was missing one of those. That little bit of randomness kept me from being able to completely strategize. As a dreamer, I had to create strings of equal distance. However, at least one of the cards would be one that Odin provided. The simplest way for him to block off my opportunities is to simply play smaller cards when I make a positive set, and larger ones when I'm trying to make a negative one. In that case, Odin being limited to lower value cards was probably good for me. Before I could think more on this, Odin placed the first card. 5. Odin was never going to deal a set to me. In that case, I placed 11. By going this high, I was forcing him to play something extremely low. Also, I could make a negative string by playing a 6 and modifying the numbers with 6 chips. In response, he put down a 3. I countered with an 8. I didn't want to use my 2 or my 6. Looking while he had, he was likely to be useful in those were likely to be useful in building a set. Then Odin did something surprise me. He placed a 9. He must have known I had a 10, or at least thought it was quite likely. Still had to make the obvious move. Placed down 10. Odin smirked and placed 4. Okay, that's the current line. If things stayed the course, I had to run 8, 9, and 10. He's probably going to use chips to mess that up, however. He was just holding off, trying to make a move at the last possible minute. I'd have to think one step ahead then. I placed down 6. Should force Odin's hands. As expected, he played 1 in response. However, to my surprise, he plays a single chip on 8. It's 1, 9. At this point, I had 2 chances to place chips. He only had 1. I had a 2 and 13 left. 7 and 12 would be played after this. If I placed 4 chips on 4, that would make 8 and 8, 6. To avoid that, he was likely going to mess up 10 with his chips. If he made it 10 to 14, there's nothing I could do to alter consensual aligned stars. It was this late in the game I was starting to learn a fatal but important lesson about aligned stars. It's important to keep in mind the odd, even state of things. If the first digit set is odd and the last one is even, or vice versa, it's possible to line them up with the second digit. I could try and set up a line where I put chips to 3 and make something like... couldn't quite imagine anything like that because of the chip on 8. Damn it. This bastard was a lot more clever than let on, huh? Kept running permutations the next few moves. Whatever chips I placed down, there was something Odin could do next turn to prevent me from getting a set in a single turn. However, I did see a single out. If he had a 7 in his hand, he had to place it. So I placed my 2 and confidently passed. If he had a 7, this was check and mate. Typical weakness, excuse me. When you see a chance for surefire victory, you leap and pray. It should be obvious I had a 7 in my hand. No, I could leave myself vulnerable. Shit. It's not like you're a god. You could have been focused on survival and not have thought ahead far enough. And now that underestimation rears its ugly head. I'm a ruler and a god. You should have kept looking for a line of play. Instead, you prayed and answered those prayers with a resounding no. I placed down a 12. I had to play the 13. The final card would be a 7. Shit, there was nothing. Being able to make the last chip placements, it seemed like I could be afforded a lot of power in how the round was decided. And yet, everywhere I looked, nothing lined up. Ejected, I placed down my 13. Very well, let the fate deal the final card. Yep, sure enough, it was a 7. Let's see. 7, do you see any aligned stars? No, I do not. Alright, again, no need to rub it in. Odin cackled himself. This means as the winner, I get 1 point. I keep 3 of my chips, which means my score is actually 4. Damn, that was a rough start. Just getting a feel for things. This is more complicated than it looks. A child couldn't pick this up in a few minutes, huh? Gonna call BS on that. Oh, trust me, I spoke the truth. In other words, he's referring to how Lar was able to learn it. Art gave a worthy showing at an age of 12. He lost, of course, but it was a noble effort. His 12-year-old son gave a noble effort. Okay, then. Made a critical mistake, Locke. Yeah, I know, I should have thought more moves ahead. Odin shook his head. Your hope of victory blinded you. Because you wanted that sweet alignment of 1-7, you lost bigger picture. I was able to foil your plans with a single chip the next turn. Had you looked at the big picture, you could have forced my hand and made me spend all my chips. I'd have a quarter of the points I currently possess. Alright, I don't care how many points you have right now. I intend for this to be the last time you win at all. Such a mouth on this one. As you'll soon find, Locke, winning with the spare chips is a rarity. Every point is precious. Allow me to steal 3 away like this is a mistake you'll soon come to regret. Yeah, you don't have to have some rule change implement or something? Indeed. As the winner, I decree the ruler shall choose which cards the dreamer's dealt. So I say it shall be done. Whoa, that's insanely powerful. Enough to pretty much guarantee games won. It's a rule change. Being the ruler basically gives you the round, and winning the round lets you choose to be ruler next as well. Think about it, this next round will decide the fate of the game. Alright, let's get to the next round then. Let me guess, you want to be ruler again? I suspect if I don't give you the chance now, you'll never get to see it again. Therefore, I shall let you wear the mantle of ruler for the coming round. Which for me, this means ideal, right? Indeed. I just give a solemn nod, pick up the cards, and began to shuffle them. I had to fight some pretty strong instincts not to try forcing anything. Osa was still watching this, as if he caught it, and if he caught anything, the bones in my hand would likely be forfeit. I dealt Odin 6, myself 6, and placed a dud in the center of the table. What I was working with. 2, 3, 5, 10, 13, okay. This is a varied hand. Odin had some combination. I learned a couple things from last game. The more extreme the card, more critical it could be. On one hand, extremely high or low value cards are pretty much impossible to be used as a middle card in the set. So placing them down, they can act as a wall. However, they give the opponent a lot of flexibility to put an ideal middle card to force a later set. So I had to trick Odin's book and start in the middle. Place down a 5. Without missing a beat, Odin put a 1. Then I could afford to get as low... I could afford to get as low as 10 this one, faced with an extreme of 1. I was expecting something like an 8 or 7, but my surprise, Odin went the other way and put down 11. Well, fuck me, I guess. I guess the extreme cards weren't so critical. After all, Odin just played either the end of his hypothetical hand. I could try and get cheeky and place a 12, hoping to mess around with my chips late in the game, but I learned last game that even though I messed it up, the Dreamer really got its power from being able to place the last chip. I didn't feel confident in my star alignment skills to properly handle tricky endgame. Instead, I went for a 3. Odin responded with a 6, so the current line was 5, 1, 10, 11, 3, 6. I still had 2, 12, 13, meanwhile Odin might have a 4, 7, 8, or 9. Placing a 12 or a 13 like this was asking for trouble. I'd stalled long enough. Placed down a 2, which acted as something as a trump card. Odin responded with an 8. This was crunch time. 5, 1, 10, 11, 3, 6, 2, 8. Shit, Odin is 5 on 2 to make it 6, 7, 8. What if he still had a 9, though? If that was the case, he could threaten my placing by putting between my 12 and 13. Last turn, he put make it a 14. Alternatively, if I placed my 13 first, he could just make a 9 to an 11 with far less effort. That loses. Shit, what the hell? It was like the same situation me last time, but this time instead of having no way to win, it feels like no way I could prevent myself from losing. I try to keep a poker face, but like a shark, Odin can smell my fear. Say, Locke, what? I wonder, does that suitcase of yours really contain 500 chips worth of cash? All you're trying to imply? Oh, nothing, just my son doesn't always properly vet things, but I do. I've been scammed one too many times, ever not thoroughly inspect my winnings. What were the rules again? Oh yes, for every 500 white chips short you are, I get a free cut with your knife. First two would be pinkies, but you know I never specified where a hypothetical third cut would go. He reverted to his typical deranged cackling. Focus, trying to throw you off your game. He was never going to get a chance to check that suitcase. Actually, the best specified for every 500 short was you'd get a cut. That means if I have cash equivalent every single white chip in my suitcase, the dev 500 be reduced by 1. $14.99 is only 2 short installments. $14.99 is only 2 short installments of 500 chips, then an additional $4.99. Oh, it appears you're right. So then if you have even one chip over 500, I only get to collect a single pinky. That's a shame. Let's hope you didn't think of packing any extra in there. Play 13, place a single chip on the 6. I just had to pray Odin didn't have a 9. Of course, like clockwork, place down the 9, and no other chips. Hold on a second. How many chips do I get out of this round? Can I win this round at all? Well, to figure that, I need to figure out how many I need. Is there a way Odin creates star alignment? There's already an issue I need to fix. Currently he hasn't, but the round's not over. I start by fixing the 10, 11, 3 situation. Two 8 13s. Place chips on. We both only have one more card. Hold on a minute. How can I make an align with this? He's one turn left. Just made a mistake. We just placed a single chip on 13. We got 2 8 14 alignment. We both only have one more card. That's no good. That's no good at all. He has one turn left. It's important to prevent him from winning next turn. He can alter his 0 card values now until the 8 rounds end. On the other hand, I wanted to keep many chips to myself as possible. On the card next turn, he's likely prepared to do whatever it takes to win, so I should respond. Can you all take that card? He doesn't have the power of options left. He's likely prepared to do whatever it takes, so I should respond. The little power left is a huge threat. I don't need to spend any chips to guarantee the win. He's got to place the last chips. I don't need to spend any chips to guarantee the win. He's got to place the last chips. If I just place 2 on 13, he'll be unable to star alignment. If there are 2 opportunities to make an alignment, he can choose either. I haven't spent any, so I'll be left with 3 in that case. I can only defend one this turn. Obviously, making out with 5 chips wouldn't be a deal. There is another potential alignment. 5, 1, 10. That was a pipe dream, one unlikely. All in all, 3 chips to make a round wins more left to win. How's this alignment again? Shit. That was a pipe dream. Oh shit. That was a pipe dream. That was obviously making out with 5 chips ideal. There's another potential alignment, but that is a pipe dream. One incredibly unlikely to happen. Odin can only attempt 1 alignment, and I can block it, which means the round's mine. Yeah, I know there wasn't a single way I could align 3 cards in a row with a single turn of placing chips. I knew it. I knew that I was better at this game. Block hadn't covered all my bases, but I was worried about some unknown fear, some unknown move he'd make with the second last turn. But no, Odin was all Buster, no bite. His first victory was because it's easier to play as the ruler. Now I'll be ruler for the rest of the game. In fact, I'll be getting tidy 2 extra points with 2 chips complete and focused. Nice try, Odin, but scare attacks won't work at me. Place my 12 confidently and then place 2 chips across 13. Odin just flashing to the grin. You asshole, he placed his final card on the table. 7. Then he placed a single chip. Huh? Well, time to flip Fate's final card. Bill 4. Let us see. Stars have aligned. Minus 4 is 4. Pace instantly flush. I completely missed that possibility. What the hell? Could I have prevented this? No, even if I placed all 4 of my remaining chips on 12, it would have just put 2 more chips on 8 to make it 10, and I'd still be boned. Hell. Oh, and as I have 4 leftover points, brings my score to 9. I'm mere 4 points away from victory, lucky me. No, this is obvious bullshit. Sprout out the cards began squinting. It's got this damn constellation thing. There must be some marking or something. I piled them up like the cards in the movies. Still nothing. Very cheating. Ah, you're starting to unravel. The show is truly beginning. How the show? What are you doing? Easy, Locke. He's cheating. Like this, there's no way you can make the moves you made unless you are. Then how do you figure that? The last round, at first glance from my perspective, it looks like a clever plan. However, the only way I can strategize around that is if you knew the last card would be a 4. But at the very end, that card could have been in my hand. No, I ruled that possibility down when you put the 2. What are you talking about? Simply put, there's a world of difference between the 2 of us. I command an exceptionally powerful company. You spend your time drinking in an underground casino. I thought there might be more to you, but no, you don't have what it takes. Instead, I'll enjoy watching you squirm as I slowly corner you. I felt physically nauseous. I knew this might be hard, but what was I up against? From this round out, the ruler would get to pick the cards. Odin would choose to be ruler. It was over. No, it was over when I said it was. Nervously, I pushed down my belt. I sat up straight. Odin wasn't going to get the chance to open up the suitcase or cut my fingers off. I said that when I began this, and that was because it was true. Well then, let's introduce a new rule. As the winner, I decree. By default, winning as the ruler scores 3 points, so I say shall be done. Odin's intent was painfully obvious. He'd win this round because he dealt the cards and win a point. Then he'd be ruler again, win that round, win another 3. He'd have 13, I'd be dead in the water. I guess you want to be ruler now? I was merciful once, Locke. Never expect such courtesy twice. Fine, get to dealing. Odin happily complied with this order. However, instead of shuffling, he spread the cards out and gleefully looked them over. There's a symbolism here a bit too on the nose. Well, it's not like the game has been one for subtle metaphors. Before I could question what he meant, he passed me my cards and I got the point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Huh. I got all the lowest cards and he got all the highest ones. Different statures and stuff. Arrogant piece of shit. Not only was this meant to be an insult, it actually trapped me pretty badly in terms of the game. Chips were useful to manipulate the cards, make sets. When the base cards are high-low or high-low or low-high-low, it's very difficult to straighten them out with into anything sensible. Trying to get any alignment with the cards was fluctuating from high to low seemed nigh impossible. However, I wasn't exactly content to throw in the towel for the round just yet. I had 5 chips to work with in the last... Say, my cards, like the 5 and 6, could easily jump up to values in 10 or 11, which would complete sets if Odin wasn't careful. There was one other spark of hope I had based on what Odin just said. He began the game with a thunderous motion. He slammed an 8 onto the table. In theory, that was a perfect opportunity for me. I should push my 6, maybe my 5 to force him to use a big one, but that would be a standard play. That would be what he's trying to trick me into doing. Odin spoke about things being metaphoric. Could be then a haphazard moment of tripping his own ego. He'd carelessly given me the bottom 6 cards and himself the top 6. It would be amusing to him, and a decent strategy, but if he did, he would have opened himself in a way that might not expect, because that would mean a 7 would be the final card placed. And the 7 would be low enough that if I combine it with a 6 and some chips, it would be the low end of the set. Something like 11, 6 plus 3, and 7. In that case, I couldn't waste my 6 on the trick this 8 threatened. Instead, I responded with a strong 1. The first time I heard something I hadn't expected. I heard a sigh. Even till the end, you couldn't reach the truth, and very simply, placed a 7. His earlier statement was the trap. If I played something even as moderate as a 4 or 5, he probably would have been too scared to play a 7. He put it down later, and it'd be exposed, even easier to try and win with a 6 plus chips. However, with this 1, he was able to put down Nate as 7 without any fear. Final Linkar was probably a 10. The final card he'd play would be a 9. I have nothing to respond with. Even if I put down 6 now, Odin responded with a 13, I'd lose Dwarf altering specific values of chips. It was done. I could maybe force Odin to use all of his chips. There was no longer a path to victory this round. Luckily, I placed it down. He began looking through his cards. However, before anything else could happen, Casino Dealer burst in the room. Such impotence! You're interrupting a very important time, the climax on which this game turns. Upon ignoring this, the workers whispered something to Osa. Osa looked the worker back at his side. Sorry, but this match is postponed. What? What? A flash of pure wrath covered Odin's face. You little shit! Who exactly do you think you're talking to? Very sorry, Mr. Diamond. Both of you need to leave right now. Wait, why? I'm mounting a comeback right now. Odin, who understood the game state, shot me a dirty look like this. Long story short, the cops are going to be raiding Nahoi's Nest any minute. Everybody needs to evacuate, ASAP. My workers are disposing of the evidence. The hell? What's this about? Why now? I think I know. The cops have probably suspected our operation for a long time. However, they let us operate in peace. They knew it was more trouble than it's worth to try and bust a place like this. So if they decide they're busting in here, there's a big reason for it. Hold on, how do you even know about the bust? I have my ways. Anyways, it won't be good luck if anyone's found here when the cops arrive, especially you, Mr. Daizma. Are you saying I have to flee this place running around like a little girl? Actually, there's a quick way for you two. This is the VIP private gambling room. So, without answering, Osa walked over the corner of the room. He picked up a long, thin metal rod I haven't even noticed. Then he began using it to poke the ceiling. With a bit of effort, he pushed away the tile and down fell a wooden ladder. Secret escape hatch. Sick? I suppose that's preferable to fleeing on foot. Not much to it, just go up, and if you excuse me, as you would imagine, I have a lot to deal with right now. And without another word, Osa left the room, likely about to start putting out any number of fires that have just popped up for him. Well, he didn't need to tell me twice. I just grabbed the metal suitcase and made way to move over the ladder. Figured it'd be best if I went up first, since there was likely to be another hatch at the top of our ascent. If a man as old as Odin even climb a ladder, yeah, this guy could probably do it. Upwards and upwards I climbed. As I expected, there was a wooden hatch at the top of the ladder, where I had to give a solid push to open. Top ladder, I found myself in a super dark, very cramped room. The only thing I could see was a single door. Obviously, I grabbed the handle and pushed it open. All of a sudden, I found myself in the middle of an empty alley, not far from Nahoi's Nest. I looked back. The door literally went nowhere. Well, it's probably locked from the other side. If I saw it passing by, I wouldn't give a second thought. It only took a couple moments for Odin to catch up to me. Yep, this guy was surviving on pure energy at this point. So the weird part of me respected. Odin, meanwhile, looked none too happy to walk out in the alley. Utterly disrespectful. Truly an insult. You won't see me showing up at that establishment again. I mean, it's not like their fault. Odin shot me in... Well, anyways, that sucks. Unfortunately, it looks like we won't get to finish that game, and we have no way of knowing who would have won. So, bets off. Odin's not letting that fly, which is frankly to be expected. No way of knowing. Boy, I had you on your knees. It would have taken but minutes to lop your head off. Well, what do you know? That's your interpretation. Well, you know, that's your interpretation of the facts. Interpretation. Anyone witnessing the game would view it the same way. Even the dumbest of my sons would have assessed as much. Gambling's a complicated beast. Anything can happen. Impudence. If you truly believe that, then let us resume our bet post-haste. I wish I could. Unfortunately, our place has been lost. Who had the cards? Which had been placed? I remember all of that. So do I, but who's to say our memories concede? Without proof, such memories would just be he said, she said situation. I don't even accurately recall a score between what the two of us was. Osa bore witness, you could testify. Odin, my good sir, I believe you overestimate Osa. You might have been watching, but I doubt he was paying that much attention to our gamble. If you could remember the details, I'd be surprised, especially after dealing with the police, whatever comes of that. And that's the thing, the bet he made at Nahoi's Nest was made in Nahoi's Nest, but it remains unclear if the nest will even remain by the end of the night. Who's to say how long it'll take to reopen after this? Basically, there's no way we can fairly continue with and enforce the bet, so it will have to be called off permanently. Odin's brow furrowed. Anger turned to skepticism and suspicion. It was you who called the police, wasn't it? It was your attempt to weasel your way out of things. What? Dude, what are you talking about? You knew you couldn't win, so the only way to escape my snare was to burn down the whole building. Okay, after the game, I thought you still had your wits about you at your age, but I must have been mistaken. The two of us were in the same room the whole time, right? How exactly could I have called the police? You yourself? No, you didn't. That simply means you had an accomplice who did the deed for you. An accomplice? Why, you think I was somebody manning the phones 24/7 where I call the cops at a moment's notice? Hell, I didn't even know I was going to be gambling with you until earlier tonight. Before then, as you so accurately deduced, I was planned to scam your son. Why would I have had a friend ready to call the police? And how would they know to? I mean, if I was winning and the police showed up, that would be a major blow, don't you think? You're inside a private VIP room, one that needed keys to enter. Or what, you think Osa was in on it? Is my man on the inside? Oh, so then your explanation? Why the cops showed up? I don't know, man. Guess I lucked out. Slowly the anger present on Odin dissipated, and then he gave a slight smirk. Interesting indeed. I was initially disappointed in myself that I'd become such a poor judge of character, but perhaps there's a glimmer of potential in you yet. Sir, I don't buy that hogwash about this being a happy coincidence for a moment. The only true luck that exists in the world is the type one makes for themselves. This was done by your hands, plain and simple. Understandable, respectable, unorthodox perhaps, but you know what? I never shied away from the unexpected path. Why, in my young days, many called my methods crazy, and look upon what I've created. Odin chuckled himself, clearly lost in the comment, then immediately sobered up once more. However, I'll leave you with a warning, young man. Go ahead. I've gotten as far as I have in life, partly by my ability to judge my measure of a man in an instant. This confrontation has given me more than I needed for you. I suspect that you wish to dominate the entire city of Panthea. That is the air of ambition you give off. You're not the first I've meant to have this ambition, and not the second either, and I have this to tell you. As you are, your best course of action is to give up. The hell? Aren't you going on about a man grasping your own destiny? Of course, this is the most admirable thing one can strive for, the power to control one's fate. However, right now, your ambitions overshadow your talents. You don't have it in you to face down Panthea. And if the best you can manage is to flee from me, if the best you can manage to flee from me, I'm an old man, Locke, past my prime. There was a time, perhaps, that I was the best of the best, but that time has come and gone. Now I am but the baseline you have to overcome if you wish to conquer Panthea. Beating me is a requirement. I make anybody I back. Anyone you back? You're a familiar character, Locke. I feel as though I've met you before. However, the past you defeated me. You could not. If you strive for power, all you will find is woe. With this lapsed cryptic message, Odin turned away and began to walk down the alley. Hell, in a fit of uncharacteristic irritation, I shouted at him. Oh yeah, what the hell do you know? Odin paused, turned around, and said a few simple words. Prove me wrong. And like that, he continued his exit. Annoyed, I turned around and left in the opposite direction. He was right, of course. My belt was custom built from an online niche tech site. When I pushed down on it, pressed a button that gave an alert elsewhere. Back home, I instructed Bach to have an alert nearby. If it went off, it was his job to place an anonymous call to the police informing them of a fake murder. Oh, so this is the Laverna case. Cops wouldn't let that slide. The plan from the start was risky, even when it was conning Polly. This was a sensible backup plan if things really went south, but I never thought I'd have to use it. Odin had beaten me. I tended to rely on surefire methods, like tricks and cons, but I always thought at my core I would come out on top, and yet this old man completely and thoroughly trashed me at a game that should have been right up my alley. I escaped with my life, sure, but I walked away with a briefcase stuffed of nothing but lies. I didn't have the capital needed to fund Bach's campaign. I didn't have any other ideas how to make that much in a short period of time. As I walked away, I simply left. So that explains Odin's reducing of Bach's threat level to dealt with. Aimless. Well, that could have gone better, eh? Real swinging a whiff there from old Locke, huh? To be honest, after the shit he pulled on the last scene, I find it a little satisfying. Just a little. The gold classic comeuppance, but I can't gloat too much. You can't really blame Locke for how things took out. His attempt on Polly's fortune was blocked by a completely unforeseen circumstance. He had a good enough exit plan lined up from the start. Why not take a swing at their near impossible task? And going in on a custom gamble against a genius like Odin, that's as near impossible as it gets. Yeah, in fact, I even did remember him mentioning that he had adjusted his belt at one point. I mean, Locke should know better than anyone, don't you think? Say what you will about the old man, Odin dies but did not get in his position through life but dumb luck. Sin and sacrifice, sure, but skill as well. Though that has led to some cockiness on his part, to put it lightly. He made a big stink about Locke's lack of intelligence then there, but it's not exactly like they were on even playing fields, you know? Forewarned is forearmed. Let's just say at the end of the scene, time rewound. Locke found himself at the start of the match with Odin with his memories intact, and now live experience, he's now familiar. The outcome be the same? Would Locke still lose? Well, actually, I know the answer to that question. Want to bet on it? Or is it for a gamble, huh? Love it. Okay, how are you betting? So you have faith in Locke, huh? Often a mistake in your bet, then? Okay, then. You know, we as a society love to idealize intelligence. We all have that idea that there are these natural-born geniuses that can make their way out of any situation as long as it's reasonably possible. And sure, talented individuals can overcome situations that most would falter and certainly exist. You're speaking with one now, after all. Well, the way we conceptualize it is all wrong. The use of case against these so-called geniuses comes in the ability to make informed decisions in split-second scenarios, to always be angling to keep them in favorable positions out of battles. They can't hope to face down years of practice. In contrast to natural genius, the strength potential of long-form practice is often downplayed in societies, except by those who are acutely aware of what such practice can do. No natural genius would be able to hold a candle to an experienced chess player, or in a game of chess, a natural genius would find themselves having to play against the chess player in the first place. Similarly, Locke's mistake in this scene was not a particular blunder. It was underestimating just how much Odin played the star alignment. As it happens, Odin played star alignment for many years against many players. You'd have to play a couple dozen times before standing a chance. I highly doubt Locke would have been able to beat after 5 attempts, much as 4, 3, certainly not 2. Sorry, that's a loss for you. Seems a bit cruel of me to propose a bet only to instantly take your chips. That's how it goes. You shouldn't have taken the bet. Now you know. Well, I do appreciate having a few losses under my belt. Mostly for the sake that, I was wondering if maybe I was affecting the outcome here, because like I said, I hadn't lost any at first, so either A, I was guessing the tropes correctly, and to figure out how so to speak, to figure out how the story would going. 2, it was changing based on my actions in some fashion, which I guess, to be fair, it could. It could simply be opposite, but... However... I guess there's also technically a part, C, where it chooses... Because one thing Zero Escape 3 Zero Time Limit Dilemma did was that when you made an option, it would give an RNG reaction to determine if something would succeed or not, and while you could select and win or select and lose, it was based off that. I don't think this game has anything like that. It's a game about gambling, sure, but we're using a fixed story, and as Ez showed us here, everything's pretty much fixed. Theoretically, things are likely to be really just fixed since we're seeing how they play out. This last green one's interesting. The Jade Lock is the one I don't have. Oh, no. Well, let's continue with our buddy Locke here. Martingale. I double-checked the address. Yep, this is definitely the place. Okay, I mean, fair enough. Not like I was living it up lavishly. Still, this place? Really? I guess it didn't feel particularly gubernatorial. I think that's a word for governor-related things. I'm like 80% sure. I mean, considering Bach's current financial state, I really wouldn't be surprised. Frankly, if he was lounging in a pretty nice place, to be a little miffed. Here? It looked honestly unsafe, and in Panthea, that was saying something. Still no better place to me than Bach's apartment. Being in a Hoy's nest was off limits for some time. Whoops, looks like I had to pull the ripcord somehow. They'd be back on their feet soon enough, probably. No, not probably, definitely. They'd definitely be fine, but for now, they're laying low and rebuilding after the whole police raid false murder scene. Really, for my purposes, it didn't super matter. Not like meeting in an underground casino was a great idea for a political election campaign meeting. I checked my imitation watch. I'm on time right now, probably better still wait a minute or two. I stretched out my arms and started leaning against one of the brick walls in the alleyway next to the building. Aimlessly, my eyes wandered up, looking at the graffiti and fire escapes all over the place. The scenery, it was familiar. What was I doing thinking about this? This wasn't a good period of my life. No happy memories here, but I guess it was pretty formative. They say the points where you're close to death are points where you decide how you're going to live. In my case, I was pretty literal. Living on the streets was rough. I didn't have a resume to up with a job, didn't have a shot at getting any sort of higher education for my position. Any sort of higher education in my position. I didn't have the first clue how to fend for myself. I just lived off the generosity of strangers, and I learned pretty quickly there wasn't a lot of that to spread around. There's a cutthroat world. If you want to get anything, you had to earn it. In game theory, there's a zero-sum game, which means a system where any gains from one person inevitably come from the cost of somebody else. It's overly simplistic to consider life a zero-sum game. That's the sort of thinking that leads to the dumbest policies or lifestyles. Plenty of things in life can simply make things better for everyone. That could be grand scientific policies achieved through working together, or shared positive emotions through humorous stories. There's a darker side of that as well. It also means there's times where people's losses are smaller than the gains others could receive through those. Anyone who claims money's value is constant is a moron. A $100 bill in the hands of a poor man is worth dozens more than that same bill in the hands of a rich man. It's all relative. To maximize total global happiness, the trick was to make sure resources were in the hands of those who appreciate them most. To survive, I need to start making some real money. My mind went straight up theft or pickpocketing, but I couldn't stomach that. Just too high risk. A little too mean-spirited, but it's not like I had any actual talents that could be marketed on the streets. I wasn't a dancer, musician, artist, or anything like that. Well, I'd always been a bit sharper than the next kid. Why not take advantage of that? I started performing on the bottom of the barrel, 3-card Monty. Took a bit to get over my more justice-based objections. Luckily, hunger pangs do a lot towards squashing moral arguments. 3-card Monty racket I started wasn't particularly refined or profitable, but it got the job done. Started making a bit of cash. And I used to invest in myself, of course. Started researching more scam methods throughout history. Human psychology. Bought props. Started coming up with original routines. More elaborate ways to get money from any given passerby. I didn't really feel bad for anyone. Putting money down on a street-side bet, you're pretty much just giving it a chair in reality. All the while I was learning more types of cheats. Refining my sleight of hand. Cheating working on a con man's vocabulary. Eventually, I had enough funds to move up in the world to the next step. Underground gambling. Run the circles I did long enough, and you learn where to find them. I've been saving some capital for my scams, and eventually I had decent enough seed money. I still remember to absolute terror which I first entered the casino. If things went wrong, if I blew my starting amount, I'd be real fucked. Things didn't go wrong. I studied enough, I practiced enough. Like always, I thought I was sharper than most guys in a given room, and I knew how to put money to better use than any other drunken bum throwing their salary on roulette. People refer to gambling as a luck-based skill, but not really. Not when you're willing to cheat. Then it's a mix of luck, intelligence, and performance. I made money, then more money, and more money after that. The fun thing about gambling is you can really start to compound your winnings if you want. Of course, winning so much in the same place at the same time was too suspicious. I knew to play the long game. I switched between the few casinos in the city, got into some habits of wearing different disguises when I went to the same place twice. Disguise was actually quite fun. Got me in the habit of character work early on, but it couldn't hold forever. Eventually, all this shit would catch up with me. That whole scene got wise to my game. The night they decided to make their move, had I not been particularly on edge, I likely would have been shot then and there. Once again, I was smarter than the next guy and was able to get out alive. At this point, I knew when to cash out. I took my winnings and hightailed out of there, went straight to Aurea. It was close by, felt like a good place to stretch my wings. Using my winnings, I got a cheap-ass apartment. Began planning my next move. Small-time scams were kind of risky and didn't pay off in major ways. However, I could survive just by going after little fish after little fish. And were random upper-class dudes really the best target? If I was gonna live risky, why not go bigger? I spent time getting to know Aurea better. See, a city always has two sides. The national side, the one the people outside the city think of, the one the visitors see. And the real side, the hard facts and knowledge the locals knew. There's that side I needed to be taken advantage of. I spent some time fishing around Aurea, looking for ways to get my main target. Even then, I found an inn. I planned carefully and got all into the job. My savings were spent making sure it went off without a hitch. Put my disguise talents to good use, playing multiple characters, set things up the way I wanted. Finally, I struck. Operation Drachma. With perfect precision, I carried out a completely bloodless heist of Aurea's central bank. It was a combination of confusion, misdirection, well-crafted lies that got multiple trusted individuals start dancing at my pace. In the end, it was the bank managers themselves that loaded an empty, unmarked car next to the bank with the cash himself. And then he went back in to grab the last bag. I simply entered the car and made off with the well-prepared escape route. Several carefully crafted red herrings to throw people off the scent, and a scheme to quickly exchange the dirty money with clean bills, I was able to make completely clean getaway. Heist was a real talk of the town. People still talk about it. They call me the auto larcenist. Dumb title, but it's cool to know I had a title. With the payoff on that job, I had a real money to my name, and I had made it. I was so impressed with myself, how proud of how I came. You know, I was excited when I ended up telling all this to an old friend from way back then. Went out of my way to get in contact with him too, but instead of the excitement, I was met with nothing more than disappointment. I think that'd be the right word for it. Look at what have you become. Seriously? Seriously? Oh, I'm sorry, I carried out a bloodless, victimless crime. The bank was insured. People who used the bank didn't lose out, and the blank didn't lose out. The only people lost were so abstracted and so high up, this loss is a minor inconvenience. To me, this is life-changing money. Was I really supposed to feel, what, bad, guilty? Oh, fuck that. People have narrow views of morality because of what society reinforces. It makes sense society reinforces narrow views. If everyone saw things straight, there'd be a lot more auto-licentionists. Or break out of the narrowly conditioned box, you get a much better view of things. A thief really isn't that immoral, or at the very least not significantly less immoral than a number of jobs that are perfectly legal as things stand. The only real distinction is that getting taxes from a thief's a lot harder. No, I slept on my auto-larcenist laurels quite nicely, but it really wasn't that big of a score, all things considered. I mean, when you factored in all the costs and how much I lost making measures to throw people off the scent, there's a lot, don't get me wrong, but not enough to just live off indefinitely. Panthea. Panthea hid untold riches. If things went well, I wouldn't have to work another day of my life, which was when I was through with the city. So then, time to make my way up. I entered the apartment complex and quickly began climbing the stairs. I made my way to the number I was given. Pretty high up, all things considered, though not the top floor or anything like that. Took a bit to find the right door. Damn numbering system, took all sense. Eventually, though, I found Bach's apartment. Knocked at the door. Seconds later, I was greeted with a familiar face. Oh, Locke, you're here. For a second there, I thought something had happened or something. Gonna need a drink here. Alright, there we are. Yeah, sorry about that. Got a little mixed up on the way here. Hope I didn't keep you waiting that long. No, of course not. Anyways, you are here. Make yourself at home. Thank you, my dear friend. I think I'll do just that. I walk into Bach's apartment. It wasn't particularly spacious. Right next to the apartment door, I saw a set of doors I imagined to be the closet. Walking further in was a bit of a main area. Bed to the side, window out the alley wall, table in the middle of the room. Over the left, I spotted another door. Probably went to the bathroom if I had to guess. Man, what was With my obsession with mapping out every damn room I enter in such detail. I mean, in theory, it could be useful at some point, but I highly doubt I'd ever need to be familiar with the layout of box apartment from all places. Guess I just wanted to show my general paranoia. Not the worst trait in this line of work. Sorry, I've been holding up, Bach. How's life been treating you? It's been, alcohol prices keep dropping, so that's nice. Pro tip, Bach, that's not a good answer when someone asks you how your life has been going. I don't know if that's true. Let you fill the blanks some. Yeah, blanks that don't need filling in. Hey, I'm just being honest. You're a politician now, Bach. Honest is the last thing you need to be. Well, that isn't exactly an antidote I'd give if I was on the campaign trail. Every citizen of Penthe has a potential voter. Well, forgive me if I'm arrogant for thinking I have your vote fairly locked in. Hey, you don't know me. I'm undecided. Surely you jest. Note number 2, don't use words like jest. They make you sound elitist and douchey. Wait, why? Because the elites use words like jest. I use the word jest, though, and I'm sure shit's not elite. Perception, Bach. It's all perception. I can imagine this is the most productive use of our time. Right, you are. Should we just get down the brass tacks? Sooner the better. You're making me think you don't like hanging out with me, Bach. You wound me. You truly wound me. Now who's talking like a jackass? Fair enough. To business we go. I settled in my chair. I wasn't exactly eager to get to the point of business, but it had to be done. So, how about our first major funding attempt? Yeah, about that. No way around things. I screwed the pooch. I didn't pan out. My defense, how exactly the fuck was I supposed to plan around Odin coming to chew out Polly the same night I planned to spring this shit on him? Horrible coincidence, that. Sometimes that's how the die rolls. Sometimes you roll a 1. You just kind of have to move forward as best I can. Honestly, at this point, I should have just packed up and left, but I had an out with Odin, and I bungled that as well. His old bastard was a bit more perceptive than I gave him credit for. Bach looked down. Was it my fault? What? No, you did just right. Okay, good. I was really worried when that alarm went off, because, you said it was sort of a last resort you weren't expecting to have to use. Well, I didn't expect it, but that's why you always create at least 3 escape plans, and you came free. Granted, a simple, hey, I saw a guy got killed, his location would have done, but you got the job done. That's all I can ask of you. Bach sighed out a little bit. Kool-Aid was still minding his presence around me. Didn't want to get on my bad side. That's a little sad. No, the blame's on me. That doesn't seem fair. I mean, like you said, you were screwed by random chance. Who would think Odin Daismo would show up at a place like Onohoi's Nest? I sure wouldn't. But if I won his game, wasn't it a custom game he designed? You can't be expected to win something like that on your first try. I mean, you saw what happened with me. You tricked me into that blackjack battle game and screwed me over. It's the same thing. No, it's not, because if I were in your shoes, I sure as hell wouldn't have fallen for a stupid trick like Battle Blackjack. Because unlike Blackjack, Aligned Stars was a fair game. Odin gave me an out, several even, but I failed to grasp a single one of them. Words he left me with rung in the back of my head. I suspect you wish to dominate the entire city. That is the air ambition you give off. Right now, your ambitions overshadow your talents. You don't have it in you. The best you can manage is to flee from me. There's a crazy mutterings for a near senile old fool, and yet I couldn't help but feel in some way he was right. The sharpness he carried me so far wasn't enough. That I was far from the smartest person in the city. Well, funny that I was bringing that up, and then Locke immediately ended up learning the hard way that there are in fact bigger fish. I could have been killed. I managed to avoid that, so that's a glass half full. You what? You fucking what? You what, mate? Oh, did I not mention that? Yeah, some crazy dude tried to shoot me when I was leaving the casino. Some sort of assassination attempt. You're kidding. Why didn't you tell me that before now? Didn't ask. I'm glad you find this a funny situation. Gotta laugh, Bach, because is that or crying? Well, what happened? What happens that Lady Luck was paying me back for the Odin shitstorm she sent my way earlier that night. Luck am I typically my paranoia. It turns out checking your 6 in the reflections of windows actually can help out now and then. Had I not seen that, and after catching sight of the creep, I put some distance on him. May not be a fighter. But damn if I'm not a good sprinter. You outran the assassin? Sorta, but damn, I had to throw away a perfectly good suitcase and a ton of nice counterfeit bills to rid myself of the psycho. Oh, yeah, I chucked it down the sewers trying to get him off my trail. Worst part, I'm pretty sure he didn't even go for it. Well, I guess it's some dedication. Where do you find a killer that focused? Bet the dude plays top dollar. Although maybe not if a schlock like me was able to dodge death's noose just by running away. You know who did this to you? Did you get a good look? I mean, not really. God, got a decent glance of his general build, and I heard him shout out, so kinda got his voice down, but it was the dark, he was obscuring his face, and I was kinda busy trying not to get shot in the back. Yeah, no, I doubt I could pull him out of a lineup. Damn, are assassins usual in your line of work? Nope, have to say, this is my first one, mon frere. Kinda feels nice. Finally worth trying to be killed. Gives you a sense of value, you know? Fox stayed silent for a moment as a forlorn look. Lily was thinking of something. Was he worried about his own safety? I'm sorry, guess not. I'm really sorry. I mean, it's because of me, isn't it? Because of all this? That's why they tried to kill you. Oh, doesn't someone have a high opinion of himself? Huh? The assassin could have come for any number of reasons. Oh, even if the assassin wasn't because of this, you're really going to try and get me elected. You're going to run into trouble. Trust me, it's going to be dangerous. You really should. Oh, Bach, you're really still trying to weasel your way out of this, huh? Huh? Scaring me out of a bunch of spooky stories of Governor I just so worried about low-life campaign manager that she's gonna start making my life hell. No, you're gonna win this election, pal of mine, and you're gonna do it with the help of yours truly. Well, okay. On that front, let's move to the next point of discussion. I slapped my hand on the table for effect. The election looms closer and closer. We need to fortify our position in every way possible. Our main financing operation might have been a bust. Fine. Okay. Campaigns run into snags all the time. We'll circle back around that soon enough. But it's not like that's all I've been doing. It isn't. No, I've been a very busy bee, Bach. Not really having a job, either got a lot of time to help your campaign in any number of different ways. I know we need to make big swings at IJA if we want to win the election. But big swings only work if there's groundwork and a follow-through. We need to have a solid push for your governorship already going before we bring out the big guns. Well, that makes sense to me. What does that mean in practical terms, however? Glad you asked. Elections are wars. You rally your troops, secure weaponry, charge into several battlefields across the city. A skilled general, like a skilled gambler, has many outs. Wait, if you're the general, who am I in this scenario? Why the president, of course. Answer you, after all. I'm already the president. Right. You don't think that's a little confusing, considering in reality this is an election? It feels like we're mixing language at this point. Yeah, well, I didn't actually think through the metaphor in much detail, and I didn't think you were going to get into the nitty-gritty. Oh, but you answered with such confidence. Yeah, Bach, that's what I do. I spout bullshit with confidence. Thought you knew that by now. Now, can I make my point? Sure, sorry. Good. So, alright, so I'm in general of your campaign, and right now I'm launching a three-pronged offensive. First branch is the simplest, the frontal assault. This is your standard stuff, community outreach. You've already identified your niche, a man of the people. You just need to lean into that more. A lot of the communities in Panthea are very tight-knit, which is why I've been going around spreading your praise on foot. You have? Yep. You don't think word-of-mouth campaign's a little small-scale? I'm shocked you have the gall to actually say that aloud with your own mouth. But yes, going to every single person in Panthea is a waste of time and also impossible. Visit some key community leaders and talks more in depth. The hope is I'm spreading the gospel those who can spread it further. But of course, just me talking ain't gonna really do shit. I hope your schedule's clear, because you've signed up for a bunch of events in the coming week. Seriously, you're just telling me this now? Exactly, I'm telling you this now so you can prepare. Trust me, this is the perfect way to get the ball rolling. Need to be seen in person by as many people as possible, not even necessarily in the political sense. So these events aren't even speeches? You've been doing enough speeches. No comes to your speeches, people interested in your politics. We need to reach the people who aren't interested in your politics. I suppose, but I don't think just being seen around is going to get people to vote for me. You underestimate how stupidly people choose to vote, but you're right, just being seen isn't enough on its own. What it represents is visibility. Like I said, to win, you need to make larger swings. For them to land, you need a large foundation of visibility, which leads us to the second prong of my offensive, aerial support. Aerial support? How does that work? Again, sort of coming up with a metaphor on the fly, not a one-to-one translation. I'm talking about your internet presence. Oh, I know about that. I've got a account I've been managing, a site that accepts donations. I know, I love it. One issue, it's all kind of garbage. Seriously? Hey, don't worry, IJ's internet presence sucks shit as well. Sucks shit seems rather harsh. Okay, maybe it's a bit of an overstatement, but the point is neither of you are properly harnessing the net. It's actually a front IJ's vulnerable on. When she first campaigned, the internet was barely a thing to consider. She hasn't properly adapted the times, which gives you an opening. Fact of the matter is, young people love the internet. They're big fans. Young people are also way more open to change, to shaking up the status quo. They don't give a shit about IJA having been governor for as long as she has. As far as they're concerned, that's a negative. Really, young people they should be your core demographic, hence aerial support. I've been whipping up a bit of an internet brigade on your behalf. I mean, some people already knew about you before, but it's hardly a movement. But I've been spreading my influence, posting a bit of Pyrim, a bit of Kimappa, generally starting the masses to more codified block. Took me some doing, some alts, bots, and like, and once the ball started rolling, kind of managed itself. I have seen more online donations recently. Now that I think about it, more people have been interacting with my Pyrim updates. Say, aerial support's already in effect. Oh. Well, to be honest, I feel like some of what you talked about has gone over my head, but if it works, I'm thankful for it. So what's the third prong of attack? Ah, yes, the third prong. This is the one I'm most proud of. I feel like this might be the thing that really sets us to take the lead, the rear attack. The rear attack? Yeah, the rear attack. It's pretty simple. All I've been doing is putting up a bunch of campaign posters and flyers for Governor Aja's campaign. Governor Aja's, but why? Because people need to hear the word. Bach Underwood stands for under the ruling of Melia versus the state. He's gone on record supporting how that case was settled. Can you really trust him to handle similar decisions? Oh, but I do. Obviously, that case was settled correctly. Exactly, which gets people thinking. Does IJA not support that ruling? See, describing those pro-IJA posters aren't doing them justice. They're more accurately described as anti-Bach propaganda. Carefully distributed anti-Bach propaganda, mind you. Some pamphlets distributed nearby Duat turf talk about how you've expressed pro-Duat sympathies. Posters on the streets leading to Olimpo building advertise our unqualified mere ex-Olimpo employee. Propaganda all through the streets question qualifications. Are you even born in Panthea? Your privilege seems questionable. Hey, what the hell? That's way over the line. Exactly. What the hell is IJA's campaign thinking? They really need to stoop to hateful rhetoric like this. Is this even legal? Hey, none of this propaganda is billed as officially endorsed by Aija. As far as anyone else is concerned, this is all the work of Aija fans. But the thing is, like it or not, your fans are inevitably going to reflect back on you, and if Aija goes out to publicly criticize these, well, she might just be losing the approval of people who actually like these posters. There isn't a clean way for her to get around it. However you slice it, she's gonna get mud on her thanks to this tactic. It prevents her from staying on the defensive, and that's what we're counting on. Bach clearly had something he wanted to say. Something on your mind? That lattice strategy seems a little, I don't know, amoral, I think. Bach, I was never much of a Bible scholar, but I'm pretty sure lying is pretty bad in pretty much every creed. And you can argue about what it technically is, but that's not bullshit. It's definitely a type of lying. Yeah, right. That's not a problem for you. Bach, buddy, seriously, you remember how we met, right? In case you forgot, I still have a truly horrific photo of you stored on my phone. Let me rephrase, it's a problem for me. Oh, well, lucky you, that's what I'm here for. Oh, but you're doing it on my behalf. Correction, I'm doing it on my behalf. I just don't want to play dirty. Yeah, you and every other schmuck who runs for office. That's why you guys lose. That's exactly the reason. Tell me, do you really think Governor Aija has moral qualms about how she decides to run her campaigns? You think she's above the tactics I'm employing? Well, I haven't seen any evidence on that front either way. Oh, come off it, Bach. You're wiser than that. She keeps her power by sinking her poison fangs at any dumbass that tries to oppose her. Anyone who has their ear remotely close to the ground can tell you that much. She's a serpent, and that's exactly why you need me. Only way to win this damn thing is to play on her level. Need a snake to wrestle a snake. Do snakes wrestle? I don't know, but if they don't, someone should make them. I bet there's good money in that idea. I'd pay for it. Rough top again. My point, plain and simple, is that if you want to have any chance of winning, you can't pull your punches. You gotta use all the tools available to you. Me and my amoral methods are the best tools you got. Yeah, you're right. I don't love the idea, but you're right. This election cannot be won by fair means. If this is what you think is for the best, we shall do it. Awesome. I knew you'd see the light. That phrase doesn't feel appropriate given the context. You sure get hung up on improper metaphors, don't you? Well, I was an English major, and now you live in a shithole apartment like this. Makes sense. Oh, that's just a cheap shot, and I'm not above cheap shots. I figured that much out. Okay, moving on. I want to keep pushing your campaign forwards, but to do that, I need to know a bit more. A bit more about what? Are you? Me? What for? Look, I've looked into your politics, speeches, and the like, but that's only getting us so far. For better or for worse, humans are emotional creatures. We resonate more with stories. I want to hear yours. My story, your background, your history, personal motives. I just want to get a better feel for who you are as a person. It'll help with the campaign strategy. Well, I mean, sure, I guess. Ask away. Awesome. Let's just start from the beginning. Where were you born? What was super early life like? I don't think it's particularly interesting, but sure. I was born in Stag Bluff. Spent my early years there. I was an only child. I don't have any interesting stories from that time in my life. I barely remember Stag Bluff, honestly. I have more memories from my few trips back there than any from when I legitimately lived there. Sometime in elementary school, my dad had to move to Panthea for business reasons, so just like that, we moved here. We were never a particularly well-off family, middle class the best of times. It's just needless to say, we weren't living up in the nice part of Panthea, but still, I really liked Panthea. Despite everything that's happened since then, the city's core really hasn't changed over the years. It's not a flawless core, it has scratches and the like, but a genuine one, a shining one. And there's lots of people and so many different types. There's close-knit communities all across the city, so many different things to see, places to visit. Not even a particularly large city, it's just dense. And Pantheans, you know, we're not the nicest bunch. We have our differences, but they can also band together in some pretty spectacular ways. I don't know, maybe it's a worthless sentimentality. Undoubtedly I'm biased since I was from Stag Bluff. Compare this place to Panthea, and it looks like a complete ghost town. I definitely appreciated the change of scenery. Okay, cool. You moved to Panthea at an early age, appreciate the beauty. You're a big fan. Let's move along in the timeline a bit more. What about adult life? Again, nothing particularly special. Leaving college, I had some big ideas about what I wanted to be. Ideas were about really making mark, changing things. They didn't particularly pan out. Life's not fair. It was very fun. That's just a lesson you eventually learn. My story is perhaps relatable to a lot of people who've never left Panthea. I started working at Limpo because it was a job I could get. It was never my passion. Never what I picture as my end goal. I always thought of it more as a stopgap, you know? Help pay bills, give me more experience. I'd swing from that to something else, I don't know. I didn't really have a hard plan, and that was the rub, I guess. Life doesn't really give you clean points to stop and plan things out. It just goes. It's very easy to get lost in its flow if you're not mindful. So I stayed at Limpo for much longer than I expected. Moved up the ranks because I was decently talented. Before I knew it, I got a decently paying job. Paid well enough. I knew how to do it. It was easy. That was safe. I just fell into a groove, you know, and that was that. Have any hobbies? What's that? People like to relate over shared hobbies. You probably had some spare time. I mean, no family, no obligations, definitely spare time. How do you spend it? Oh, well, you know more than me, and know how his nest and... Sure, I was wondering if anything else you did in free time. Can't think of anything in particular. Really, just drinking and like gambling? We'll watch TV and books, that's kind of it. Okay, then you're kind of an office drone day and suddenly decide to run for office. Why? What changed? Why now? Why uproot your entire life like that? Bach was deep in thought. You okay? Yes, just getting my thoughts in order. Give me a moment. Sure, take all the time you need. As I said, I gave Bach another beat. It's hard to say. I guess I was just tired of the way things were going. Like I said, I always thought I wanted to be important, to do something, to make an impact. And it was becoming painfully clear that nothing I was doing was making any real difference. It was easy not... It was easy to not see that, to delude myself elsewise, but one night I left a bar a little drunk, and as I was stumbling out, I kind of walked right up the road. As a car zoomed right past my face, I stumbled a few more steps, he would have run me over, and that would have been curtains. Had I walked over a few more steps, he would have run me over, and it would be curtains, game over. That night, the encounter played in my head over and over. What would happen if I did die then and there? What would be my legacy? I don't know, it's not like I made up my mind then and there. You don't really come along to big decisions that quickly, not really. But if you ask me, I'd say that was the seed. A seed that wriggled and wriggled and combined with other events I was reading about, until eventually the idea to run for governor was truly born. Like I said, I don't actually hate Governor Ija. I don't think she's doing at all a bad job, but she's not... I don't know, maybe this is pedantic to say, but I'm not sure she's doing things fast enough. I think that because she's more concerned with not rocking the boat with personal reputation, because of that she slowly moves towards a better Panthea. But I don't think moving slowly is going to work. For every step of progress you make, the city will take another step back. Jawats have been around for decades, and that's not going to change unless you actively take swings at them. There have been legal loopholes just sitting around that have been open for years now. To really get change, you need a wrecking ball, and one not concerned about political gain or optics, and Ija doesn't have it in her. I just don't think we really have the same vision of Panthea. Ija seems to favor Olimpo. She wants them to become this behemoth, this titan of industry, and she wants to take up smaller jobs too, sure. If you create a $1 trillion company or city, that's a big accomplishment, that's a lot of leverage. That gives you power on national scale, international scale even. I think Ija almost sees Olimpo as a main facet of Panthea, as part of Panthea's DNA. She wouldn't be opposed to most everything commercial here. She wouldn't be opposed if most everything commercial here was some offshoot of Olimpo brand. I don't know if I agree with that mindset. The strength and centralization, sure. Trust me, as a higher up at Olimpo, I could tell you that for days. You get efficiency, you get order, you get single-minded focus. But to me, Panthea's real strength has always been in its diverse power. We're home to many different types of people, points of view. There are tons of aspiring artists or promising young entrepreneurs or simply good working citizens, all who have value. When I moved to Panthea, there were too many restaurants to even count. Everyone brought their own distinct flavor, their own special spark. They weren't all good, no, but they were all worthwhile. Nowadays, at least half the restaurants are Olimpo-owned, and it feels like the other half are soon to follow. My ideal Panthea would have security, stability, and prosperity, sure. All those things Ija wants as well. But it also focused on creativity and freedom, and be a place where people could choose where they wanted to go, to try and spread their wings and either plummet or soar based on their own merit. Freedom that actually favors the little guy, a careful freedom measured by the government. Not to the freedom Ija now totes, a wild freedom that favors the strongest, that favors Limpo. For a single moment I saw the appeal broad as a candidate. He was obscured by a dozen other things, but beneath the surface he was a strong idealist and decent speaker. It was certainly an uphill battle, and the Lord knows it was uphill, but he had potential for this. Fantastic. Truly great stuff, Bach. Absolutely loved it. This is what I need to work my magic. Thank you for sharing. Oh, no problem. I just sort of talked about myself. And that's all you needed to do. Pro tip, open yourself a little more like that going forwards. People love it. I'll try to, I guess. I don't know if it'll make a difference. Oh, I'm sure it will. Tell me, honestly speaking, how are we looking in the election? I guess you had your whole 3 prongs, and that's a setup or whatever, but right now, what are our odds? Dwelling on the negatives isn't good for the soul. Lock. Maybe 5% chance we win. Oxide. Which, mind you, is a 1 in 20 shot. That can happen, it can happen. Right, things are slightly better than if I put all my life savings on a single number in a roulette. Except wait, if I win, I don't even get 36 times my winnings back. Ah. Hey, buddy, chin up. Why? You said it yourself, we won't win without swings. And well, we don't have swings to take. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. You could just pack your bags and spend your time on a more fruitful prospect. Right now I feel like slapping to bring you to your senses. No, I'm not going to do that because it's probably a little more extreme and uncalled for, but I'm just verbalizing to show you what I'm at right now. I said we're in this together, so quit with the woe is me crap and help me think for a bit, right? Locke, if I could come with some way to win the election, I've done so by now. Yeah, well, before you didn't have me. With our brains combined, you can come up with an earth-shattering new strategy that will define Panthea election meta for years to come. Locke seems less than unenthused, but I trudged on forwards. Here's the problem, and I'm gonna loop back to an old metaphor. Right now in this war, we're the poor country going against the world's superpower. The main reason we're yet to be blown off the map is because said superpower isn't dedicating their forces to us. Our guerrilla tactics are useful, sure, but they're not going to win, or at least not really. That's not exact. Guerrilla tactics don't work when going on the attack, okay? Right now, we're the invaders. Don't. I saw your mouth open. Let the metaphor play. Now, as I was saying, we're only going to have a real shot winning if we get some high-grade weaponry of our own. A nuclear weapons source. To acquire that, we need a ton of cash, I think. We really could have just led with that. I'm an artist. I like painting pictures. Sue me. Look, I'd agree if we had a fraction of Ija's funding, we could capitalize off the groundwork you've been putting out. The problem is we don't. We had a chance with the idea to scam Polly, but that went south. It's not like we're going to be able to do the same thing twice. But Bach was absolutely right. The Deismans were now a dry well, and there weren't any other uber-rich families that exposed weak points. To get a huge score, it'd take a carefully crafted plan, a plan I didn't have time to create with the election looming so close. Shit. There's no way around it, we just need money. Money truly runs the world, and if we want to take down Ija, we need a ton of money. It's the only way. The only path is more money. Or a scandal. Or a... what? Or a scandal. A scandal. You're starting to freak me out a bit. It's Locke. Bach, you're so right. If something huge got out about Ija, we couldn't just make it go away with a snap of our fingers. It would really give you an opening, huh? Yeah, but I mean, come on. Ija's been very smart about this stuff. She has a carefully crafted life that's built to avoid scandal. We don't have anything on her. I mean, there isn't anything to have on her. That's right, I scanned my mind. Focus, focus. Think about everything I know about Panthea at this point. All its quirks. Is there anything at all that might lead to a weakness? I turned through with my head. And eventually, I might have something. Huh? The assassin. He is the assassin. What do you mean? I thought you said the assassin could have been after you for any number of reasons. No, that's wrong. I said that out of ignorance. Think out carefully. Nobody from past cities I've visited could possibly know where I am. I made sure of that, and I can say with 100% certainty. They were definitely after me for a wrong reason. They didn't take the suitcase bait. It had to be an assassin directly after me. Okay, and who would want me dead? Enough to send an assassin after me? Who hates Locke with such a burning passion? And now you're talking the heart. Okay, now you're talking third person. That's fun. My Daismacon failed. They had no reason to go after me. Plus, the assassin came right after the night at the casino. It's not enough time to hire an assassin in the best of circumstances. You don't know this doesn't have gotten here. I haven't actually done that much. Low-rate gambles at worst. No, there's exactly one thing of substance I've done that would make me a target. And that's become your campaign manager. Seriously? I know I sort of suggested earlier, but would Governor Ija really... I don't know, it seems a bit extreme, doesn't it? I mean, assassinating some random campaign manager, why not me directly? Because if her political rival got gunned down, that's a story. If no-name conman does, it's a non-entity. Depending on how good her info network is, she could have known I was making moves against her. While she knows she can deal with me, she recognizes a snake when she sees a snake. She recognizes a threat when she sees one. Takes one to know one, after all. Aware that I could come after her in ways that are unorthodox and dangerous, especially if she does have legitimate things to hide, she would want to wipe me out of this picture early on. Hence, assassination attempt. Okay then, but so what? So what? A governor sending assassins. Your response, so what? Look, no doubt the story is unbelievable, Locke. Definitely unbelievable. But assuming it's true, what does it do for us? The best we could do is our half measure of a story. It's nothing less than nothing. That's not a scandal. It's a half-baked theory. Right. On its own, doesn't mean anything. But the key is Ija has a man like that in the first place. Of that, we can make certain assumptions of how she'll react to given scenarios. The key is linking her to the mystery man, then the mystery man to assassination-y things. If we do that, we can have her. And again, how do you intend to do that? Oh, leave that to me. First things first, we gotta link Ija to the man. How to go about that? You know, this might be a good time as ever to put the kid to some use. Now I have someone in mind who could be of help. You do? I allowed a little laugh. Better put your war face on, Bach. I'm about to start the real battle. Politics, they exist. That's all I have to say about that subject matter. About people who say everything's political, I got a shitload to say about that. Everything's political in the same way everything is art or negotiation. It's just linguistic soup at some point. Might be more accurate to say everything could be made into something political, or everything could be made into a form of art or a form of negotiation. Maybe I'm just dumb. Big-scale things hurt my brain. And I only have enough room in it to contemplate a big-scale idea, and I've had one in the oven for a while now. It's taken up all the space. I prefer human interest stories. I like to get real personal with my friends for one. Like, you're my friend, right? Lady, I don't even understand who I am. I don't even know what that would mean in this context. I want to see your reaction to this. Whoa, it seems like you're dealing with some pretty heavy stuff. You know what you need in times of crisis? A friend. I guess. Thanks, bestie. You know who else I like? Bach. Bach's fun. A real punching bag. We all need a punching bag in our lives. Wish I ran to more Bachs. I run to precious few as it is, so yeah, Bach's great. Just wish you didn't have to keep that dark secret. Wait, what secret? Oh, you didn't know? Bach totally has some super dark secret. I mean, I don't know it, but like, it's obvious, right? He's too, I don't know, he's just not got on. Clearly there's gotta be something going on with a big twist with him. He's secretly gotta be working for some Satanist cult or something, right? You can just tell, right? If I have some confidence, I'm gonna make it a bet. Go on, claim some free chips. Bet on the fact he's hiding a deep secret from Locke. So obvious. Think about it, make it a bet. A bet can be checked at some point, like when the secret's revealed. What will the alternative be? Like, how do you reveal the fact he doesn't have a secret? What would that look like? Hampton's Raven it? Seems awful. No, for this is just free chips. Go on, bet. Does Bach have a secret, deep important secret he's hiding from Locke? No, seriously? You hate money? Okay, but bet low. What are you betting? Alrighty then, that's all I had. On to other scenes. Oh dang, we can still go into another one. Alright, so this is what leads into Vel's storyline. where he has Aija seem like she's being attacked, so she orders her quote-unquote assassin to meet up with her at some point. Sell the play. The late sky was electric. No, not the sky, the air. There was an energy emanating from the air. At least it felt like there was. It was a familiar, comforting feeling. Oddly comforting. I mean, on the surface, it shouldn't feel safe. It should actually feel dangerous. I mean, this was the energy in the air I felt when Akan was in full swing. When I was going to put moves in motion. And almost by definition, that meant I was assuming risk. I actually wasn't safe at all, but the actual matter of fact as to whether or not I was safe wasn't the point. The reason I got this feeling in the air was the familiarity of it all, and the excitement. Frankly speaking, I got an adrenaline rush from all this. Telling blatant lies, coming up with the new ones on the spot, pushing opponents to the edge, always being one step from the brink yourself. I had to be careful with this way of thinking. At times, I felt like I was dangerously close to becoming some sort of adrenaline junkie. It was important to remember the thrill of it wasn't why I did it. It was perhaps fourth on my list of motivation. Still, it was empowering, and I need empowerment at times like this. Times when I was willingly charging headfirst to Lion's Den. I got up from my seat on the bench. Alright, time to start this. I began leaving Penthea's Central Park, making my way over to the nearby governor's office. I lugged a small bag with my laptop with me. This was a tricky point I was about to reach. Honestly, when I came to Penthea, I never thought I'd have to make moves like this. But, well, you play with the cards you're dealt. At this point, I was close. I almost had enough pieces, but I was still missing some information. I was still missing some opportunity. Before I could start knocking over some serious domino pieces, I needed a bit more wiggle room to start with. It brought me to tonight's mission. Maybe I'd just be shot straight up. That seemed unlikely for a number of reasons. Anyway, I had some backup plans for such an eventuality. Always have a backup plan. That was the mantra I had been sticking to less as of late. I had frankly got myself in some situations that were far too close for comfort, but none of that mattered now. Right now I had the tempo. I'd use it. I walked across the street to where the governor's building was. I'd given some thought as to how to approach this night, or rather, who should approach this night. Alternate identities were almost certainly the greatest weapon I had under my belt. I'd utilized multiple personas to great effect back in Aurea, using them to basically turn a one-man army into a small armada, in some senses. I mean, it's difficult to balance to juggle, no doubt, but the results spoke for themselves, and I used them to similar effects. I've used them to similar effects so far in Panthea. I found out it was a lot easier to create false personas online. Still, I was no slouch with disguises and the voices in the real world, which meant as far as I came with Aija, I gave some serious consideration as to who to be for this. However, the more I thought about it, the more certain I became. This was a job for a slimy con man Locke, no question. There was a disadvantage. A lot of people knew me by this look, this name, and I need a drink. One moment, please. Dang, Locker's really waxing poetic right now. Was that really a disadvantage? I didn't think so. In fact, I thought that might be an advantage in disguise. I could use that. My looking to the past was interrupted as I began to actually enter the governor's office, or at least my attempt to. See, it turns out late hours like this, it's not actually open to the public, and I counted on that to some extent. What I didn't think about ahead of time was actually get in. Which, okay, maybe that's not a big thing to figure out, maybe that's a big thing to not figure out beforehand. Sue me. Still, I doubt if this would be that big of a deal. I went up to the glass double doors, started banging on them. I would shout, but I was pretty sure it wouldn't do much. I saw Secretary Ghani sitting inside. He saw me knock on the door. However, first he just looked at me in disgust, but I kept knocking. Eventually I saw a relenting look on his face. He reached down, pressed something, then I heard a click. Does that mean the doors are unlocked now? I tried to at least test the theory. Sure enough, it opened. Sick. Sometimes just blindly trying to barge in actually works. Who knew? Walked the lobby and up the front desk. As I approached, the look of annoyance on Secretary Ghani's face became more and more clear. Hey, look, man, I don't know what your angle is, but you can't be here. It's after hours. That means no visitors. Really? Sorry, I didn't know about that. Why is that, if you don't mind asking? Why? They're after hours? No, why? I can't be here. I don't know, man. Security issues. We don't like complete strangers wandering around. I getcha. Security must be a big thing with these enforced doors back there and everything. Exactly. Oh, you let me in just for knocking the door without a second thought. Doesn't that make you look pretty bad at your job? Glad people refuse. Oh, man, I shouldn't be needling him like this. I couldn't help it. Look, man, just get out of here, okay? I'm already in a bad mood. I'm not supposed to be stuck at this job. The guy who's supposed to be here just got real sick. Oh, man, that sucks. Never feels good taking night shifts you're not supposed to. No kidding. Anyways, you gotta go. Look, I'll be out of here real quick. I just need to meet Governor Aija. She's still here, right? Buddy, a lot of people want to meet with the governor. Usually they make appointments. You want to make an appointment? Look, this is urgent. The governor really needs to hear what I have to say. Shoot her an email. No, it has to be in person. Well, that's a shame for you, isn't it? Well, doesn't matter. There's a whole candidacy at stake. You need to let me see her. I'm saying this for your sake. If you don't, and she finds out you didn't let me in, you're gonna be in hot water. How scary, but I'll take my chances. This guy really was a jackass, huh? Fine then. I play things his way. Look, man, couldn't you just ask if Ija if it was alright? I could. Wait for 20 bucks? No way. 15, we can start talking. 25, 40, 30, 35, 30. Okay, fine. Alright. Stream it. What's that got to do with anything? I don't have the cash just lying on me. You've got Pluto U, right? Right. Won't do it like that. After a bit of grumbling, Gron accepted. He gave me his email and sent the cash. After he confirmed he received it, he reached out the phone on his desk. Hey, Ija, someone's here to see you. No, not him. It's some random person. He says, yes, I know it's not policy. Yeah, I'm sorry, but look, this guy really needs to talk to you. He said it's a matter of the whole election. I mean, it looks a little shady, but not dangerous or anything. I don't see why you wouldn't hear him out, just in case. Okay. Put the phone down. Wait 1 second. Gani reached down and opened one of the lower drawers in the cabinet. I couldn't tell what was going on. Why was he pulling around in there? It was unclear to me. Whatever, I would wait as I was told. After a few seconds, he straightened himself back up. Alright, Ija's office is down the left past the paintings, door with her name on it. You don't have a lot of time with her. And it's starting now, so best hurry. Thanks, man. Secretary Gani just struggled. Dick, he was almost certainly embroiled in Ija's dirty schemes. To what extent, I wasn't sure, but he was definitely dirty too. Oh well, bigger fish to fry. I walked down the hallway that Gani pointed to. As mentioned, there were some tacky-looking paintings on the side. Then further down the hall, saw the door I was looking for. Had the identifying plaque and everything. Cool. I hesitated, but as my hand reached the doorknob, pre-game jitters, I could never fully get rid of them. But those were energy. Use it. Direct it. With a sense of purpose, I opened the door handle, made my way into the office. Very quietly, struck me as very Ija. And not only because of the giant painting of Ija up on the back wall, although, holy shit, I mean really, the image of Ija sitting in front of a larger-than-life painting of herself was palatable to say the least. Anyways, this was far from the only thing that stuck out to me. The walls were littered with Ija's own achievements. The closest wall held a bookshelf that put across a false look of intellectualism. This whole office, it read more like a stage than an actual place somebody would work. But whatever, that's just confirmed what I already knew. I noticed the lamp on Ija's desk was lit. Seeing that, I turned over and flicked off the light switch. Excuse me? What are you doing? Lighting to more of my tastes. It's late, Miss Governor. Having lights fully on won't work. Better dim them. Still, just flipping the light switch off like that is rather rude. Also, it makes it harder to see you. Well, that's fine. You don't need to see me clearly. I must say, sir, this is a very bad foot to start on. You know, I'd feel bad if it weren't for the fact that I'm pretty sure I already blew my first impression. I mean, barging in this late at night, that's already a bad foot to start on. You're not wrong. Still, you can turn that around at any point. Trust me, I will. If I'm already on the wrong foot, might as well use that for a bit. That's an interesting way of thinking about things. That cheeky smile. A fun way, I like to think. I began to walk around them performatively. I took big swings with my head, emulate, look around speculatively. My oh my, so this is the governor's office. Swanky place you have here. It's got a real gubernatorial air. Is that the right word? It is. And thank you. Continue to walk to the bookshelf. I'm kind of envious. My place ain't half as good as pretty looking as the office here. Really built something special. Casually, I picked up a book with me in the library and opened it. Gee, I never would imagine I'd step foot in a high-class place like this. What are you doing? Why'd you just pick up a random book and open it? Oh, I don't know, I guess for dramatic effect. It looks stupid. Put that back. Oh, sorry. I placed the book back. Man, I didn't think Ija would be so mean so quick like that. Oh well. I had gotten what I wanted from the interaction. In other words, to gauge her character. That matter, correct your posture. You slouch more than anyone I've met. I did, Ija. It was smart of you to pick up on that. I decided to lean against the bookcase for the rest of the conversation. You're hurting my feelings here, Miss Governor. Show me some mercy. Apologies, you seem to have caught me in a bitter mood. Really sorry to hear that. What's wrong? Just a lot. If we're going to continue this conversation, would you mind if I got your name? Sure thing. The name's Locke. Pleasure to be of service to you. Instead of a look of surprise, a small smile came across Ija's lips. Ah, sharp this one. I thought I recognized you. Oh, you recognize little old me? How flattering. What can I say? If you're the campaign manager of my electoral opponent, I make it a mission to know you. That right. Honestly, I didn't think you'd know about me like that. You're hard to find information about, Locke, I will give you that. But I've got a very thorough campaign team of my own. I was making conversation, but this is actually a point that had been turning around my mind for a while. As many pieces as I might have collected about the city, one of my blind spots is Ija's knowledge of my help in Locke's campaign. At this point, it does make some sense. I had been acting in a more official capacity in a lot of ways, doing some campaigny things. But what's weird is the assassination attempt back at the same night I failed to swindle Polly. I mean, thinking about things, Ija's mystery man must have been stationed there before the con began. At this point, I hadn't done much of anything for Bach's campaign, so how did she know to come after me? Pretty much nobody knew about my agreement with Bach. The best answer I could come up with was Osa. He saw a lot of my first interaction with Bach, and even though a lot of the important points he missed, it's theoretically possible he could have put the pieces together himself and come to the conclusion. The question then is how the information got from Osa to Ija. I mean, being an underground casino, Nohoi's Nest by proxy, Osa probably held some difference to the Duats. I didn't yet know the extent of that. So then, did the information flow to the Duats and then to Aija? It's possible. But that suggests Aija and the Duats were closer than I gave them credit for. Anyway, I put it together, things feel weird. Whatever, I think about it later. Hey, look, I just have to say it. I respect the work you guys have been putting in. I think you've been doing a great job. I mean, not just the campaign. As a politician, I think I have any complaints against you. A little moderate for my taste, perhaps, but a few weird decisions here and there. But a solid resume all in all. Why, thank you. It's quite a generous thing to say. Well, there's a question, that being, you're such a fan, why exactly are you supporting my political rival? Oh, that? Well, everybody has their own angle, I'm sure you can understand. Plus, I might not have beef with you, but I still think Bach is better at all overall. Between the two, I prefer him. Really? I know, an election between who's better instead of who's less worse in this day and age? Crazy. I mean, you really think Bach would be a better politician? Someone with no prior experience in government, middling education, unclear policy plans? I shrugged. Maybe. No maybes about it. If Bach got into power, Penthea would chew him up and spit him out. Thatcher would swallow him whole. Maybe. That's a very important point, Locke. One I think deserves a lot more consideration than a maybe. Maybe it does. I just not amused. Oh, lighten up. Where's your sense of humor? Oh, wait, don't tell me. You left it with your pride and conscience a few years in office, right? Locke, what exactly do you want? Please do not tell me you popped in for a social meeting. I do have a point. I'm getting here. Before that, I have to ask, do you really think you're going to win the election? Best of all things, and produced an actual chuckle from Aija, however brief it may have been. Are you serious? Is that a real question? Of course. Are we looking at the same polling results? I mean, I know being a campaign manager is probably a new racket to you, but anyone with eyes can see the signs. It's not going to be close. That's your opinion, huh? It's not an opinion, it is fact. Honestly, this meeting giving your campaign more legitimacy than it's worth. That's rather harsh, Aija. But fair, perhaps. As it stands, the election is indeed favored for you. Perhaps not the extent you think it is, but still, you're winning. Though the heat of the elections brought about by all sorts of rumors. Indeed it has. Ridiculous, the lot of them. Some border on slander. Slander only refers to spoken statements. The rumors you're referring to would be libel. Huh. What? People spread rumors by speaking, Locke. That is slander. Well, that's how you get your rumors? Oh, how old-fashioned. The internet's a wonderful place, Aija. Is there some point to this little diversion? Well, not particularly. Anyways, these rumors, they're so wild. So ridiculous. They say the darndest things. I mean, I heard this one the other day, that you've been embezzling money from the government for years, an unfathomable amount of dirty cash hidden somewhere in this very office in case things goes out. Yes, that's a perfect example of a ridiculous rumor. Aija would be great at poker. Her face was perfectly controlled. Probably got it from all these years as a politician. Fortunately for her, she was dealing with a professional. You couldn't fool these eyes. Well, actually, you could, but she didn't this time. Her reaction, as restrained as it might have been, told me everything I needed to know, which means it was time to start cycling in for the kill. I'm gonna be honest with you, Locke. My patience is getting awfully thin, especially to start talking about complete wastes of time, like these ridiculous rumors, or entertaining the notion that Bach and I are on anything that resembles an even playing field. Looks like Aija wanted to get to the point as well. Alright then, I wouldn't deny her. I stood up straighter. You wanna talk shop? Okay, let's talk shop. I think you're the person I can talk shop with. I don't know what shop there is to talk. However, with you, if it means ending this sooner, then yes, let's be straight with it. I'm sure you've done your research into me, Miss Governor. I'm sure none of what I'm about to say is surprising, but I want you to make sure you understand where I'm coming from. The fact of the matter is, I don't really give a shit about who's Panthea's governor. I got preferences, sure. I'm only human, but I'm not staying in the city for long, and if the whole place burned down the moment I left, I wouldn't really care much, to be honest. How blunt. You think that's blunt? I'm just getting started. I became manager through trickery. That's only the way someone like me could become one, don't you think? The reason I want Bach to become governor is because I have ideas how to profit from his victory, but that just means to an end. All I care about is getting cash, not just getting paid. I want money. An obscene amount. Enough to live off the rest of my life. Am I clear? Painfully so. I'll give you this. You're certainly shameless. Shameless doesn't even begin to cover it. My point in saying all this is even though I'd like for Bach to win, I'm fine if you win, as long as I still get paid the big bucks. I think I get it. Aija cut in a self-assured look in her face. I see where this is going. You're about to offer to throw the election, right? Think you can squeeze me for some change by flipping sides, is that it? How dumb do you think I am? You and I are perfectly aware you have no grounds to stand on, much as you like to pretend. So before you even ask it no, your request is denied. Now get out before you embarrass yourself any further. For a moment I didn't say anything. Then I began to laugh. I couldn't help myself. It started out slight and grew in intensity. Before I knew it, I was almost keeling over from laughter. All the while, Aija watched with disturbed concern. Soon enough, I reeled myself back in. I pulled myself together. Oh, Aija. I wiped it clear from my eye. You've gravely misunderstood what's going on here. Miss Governor, your read of the situation couldn't be worse. You're trying to call the bluff of somebody who's sitting on a straight flush. I don't believe you. Believe what you want, I'll get... Before I could finish, I broke out a heavy coughing fit. My throat was killing me. In that burst of laughter, I pushed over. I really needed water, but I didn't have any, and the meeting was full in swing. I just have to push through it at this point. You okay? I'm fine. Throat's just a bit sore. Been doing a lot of talking lately, that's all. Nothing to worry about. Now then, where were we? You were blistering about me being wrong. Oh yes, that's what it was. I began reaching my pocket. Just so you know, Locke, I don't take the way you've been talking lightly. I was willing to wipe away this whole thing just moments ago, but if things continue, I'll have to... Found it. pulled out the photo I was looking for. Then I walked forward and slammed on Aja's desk. She took a second look at it. Then she reached forward and grabbed it despite a desperate look coming across her face. Now it started. Time to slowly increase the pressure. Took Aja to a boiling point. Interesting picture, right? How did you get your hands on this? Picture desperately clutched in Aja's hands is pretty simple. On a dark night, Aja was seen talking in private with a shady man in a gray hoodie. Innocuous on its own, but Aja knew what it meant. Before I get funny ideas, I have copies, obviously. You were the one who vandalized my home and harassed me. Harassment? Vandalism? What's all that about? I was just sent this photo by a fan of Box. No idea how it was taken. You little... Hey, now you're getting awfully worked up now. I just want to know how you know this guy. What's your connection? Is he your brother? A good friend? Did you know him? Do you not know him? Was he harassing you? This seems unlikely. You two seem pretty close in the photograph. So then maybe he's employed on your campaign's staff? Playing the silence card, huh? Pleading the fifth, as it were? Oh, I get it. He's your secret lover, new person you're sleeping around with, finally moved on from your husband? Fuck you. Hey, no need to get hostile, just trying to get the facts here. Get out of my office. Whoa, take it easy now. I hope I haven't offended you at all, but I really do think you want me to leave. That'd be bad for us both. This is nothing. That photograph, it's worthless. Is that why you're gripping at it so tightly? You're right, though. You're right. That photograph, total garbage. Luckily, I've got another pretty sweet pic to show you. Pulled out the second photograph I stored in my pocket. Again, I placed it on Aja's desk. And again, Aja gripped it. This time, she looked at it. Her eyes flashed with pure horror. She knew exactly what this meant. Not the best shot composition, but yeah, you get what you pay for, I suppose. How is this possible? Don't ask me. Honestly speaking, when this photograph fell in my lap, I was feeling pretty damn lucky. I mean, 2 shots of this mystery man. What are the odds, you know? Oh, back to silence, are you? That's no fun. I had a bunch of questions I wanted to ask you. Like that. See that there? Can you tell me what's that in his hand? Yeah, it's weird. To me, it looks like a weapon. Don't you think? And then there's the background. Where was this photo taken, you think? The background looks so familiar, you know? Well, maybe you've never been there, but I certainly have. And you know, the background looks awfully familiar. Looks exactly like a location a pretty violent crime occurred recently, wouldn't you say? Huh. So wait. We got this guy who's shown holding a dangerous weapon. And he was shown to be at a scene where a dangerous crime involving that weapon took place. Huh. Well, how about that? And he was also seen meeting with you. Gotta say, Miss Governor, this isn't a great look. As a campaign manager, I would urge you to get ahead of this story. This is the sort of thing that enemies can use against you. What do you want? Finally ready to play ball, Aja? What don't you understand? Sorry, I didn't hear what you asked. Bullshit, you heard me. Really didn't. What do you want, Locke? What do I want? I want a lot of things, Miss Governor. I want world peace. I want a loving girlfriend or boyfriend. I'm not picky. And what I want is that damn Tele song out of my head. I mean, I swear it's on loop or something. Locke? Aja was losing it. This is the state I needed her in. So long as I kept her like this, things were perfectly well. Let's put things a different way. What do you want, Miss Governor? You know what? I bet I could guess. I bet you want me to just drop dead right here and now. Sorry, not happening. Wouldn't actually help. Failing that, I bet you want to keep your position as governor. Want to keep working in this nice office of yours. You definitely don't want the media looking at the set of pictures. I mean, they're nothing on their own. I can see it. But come on, it's a bad look. Definitely ruins your ability to meet up with this guy anymore. Probably gets balked in this serious conversation. And through it all, I bet you also wouldn't want to give up your money. That seems unfair, unwarranted, and downright uncool. You like money. Money buys you stuff. So I'm certain you don't want not to part with any of it. But. If I had to guess what you don't want the most, I think I have decent odds of getting it right. Just between you and me. It all comes down to, you scum, an ugly attempt to get your mitts on some cash. Is that what this is? That's all? That's all? What bubble are you living in, Miss Governor? Newsflash, the world runs on money. Prisoners walk free for money. Countries go to war for money. Nations crumble for money. People will lie, cheat, and steal, and kill for money. I know that more than anyone. You little... And while I'm on the subject, everyone always criticizes the desire for money as greedy. People doing crazy things for as desperate, small-minded. I always found that unbelievably a privileged view. I mean, if you already have money, yes, getting a bunch more won't make your life better at all, but if you don't have money, food, shelter, health, every damn thing that matters in this country is either strict or in jeopardy. It's not shallow or materialistic to care an obsessive amount about money for some people. By the opposite, it's entirely rational. You know, I like to ask people what amount of money would be offered for them to take one shot at their own head in a game of Russian roulette. You wouldn't want to believe the amount of people to say no price. The amount of people who'd say that nobody would agree to something like that, no matter the context. One out of lack of perspective. Tell the person who just got their family evicted. I mean, are you saying you wouldn't risk your life to be able to get $1 billion at the very least, if only to give all that money to charity and save who knows how many lives? Total hypocrisy. What are you going on about? What the hell does any of that have to do with anything? You know, you bring up a good point. I sort of went on a personal tangent there. It doesn't have much to do with the situation. I already have enough money, and I'm making more by extension instead of being a meaningful member of society. Then again, the person I'm taking it from is a heartless empress with unknown millions smuggled away to her personal savings. Unknown millions? Ha! Where are you getting those figures? Here and there. But here is a fair enough point. It's completely possible the rumors aren't true, that you don't have a secret stash stored away here somewhere. For your sake, I hope you do, because that's really the only way you're going to be able to destroy these photos. What are your terms? Thank you for asking. I fished in my pocket again. This time I brought out a note. I placed it right in front of her desk. That's everything you need to know. The amount you need to bring. The date, the time, location. I try to be hospitable to you and you're welcome. I'll be meeting you there myself. I'll come dressed in a gray hoodie, maybe a face mask. Just a little inside joke between the two of us, you know? Like your guy wore when he almost killed me. Do you want me to apologize? No need, because I've already no desire for a false apology. Right now, I can't imagine that anything you'd say kind towards me would be genuine. Well, you got one thing right. I've gotten several things right, I believe. That's why we're in this situation. And as I believe I made the terms clear, I think our meeting tonight is over. I began to move from the room. However, Aija didn't want the conversation to be over quite yet. Hold on. I paused briefly. Yes. How can I trust you that if I do ask, these photos will disappear? That's a good question. I guess you can't. But just remember this. I'm a snake. I'm only looking out for myself in all this. I'm also pretty realistic in my expectations. I mean, relatively speaking. I still want a shitload of money, as is clear. But things like power, fame, legacy, I could leave all that shit. That all seems pretty hollow to me, though each their own. I also don't need an infinite supply of money forever. I've read the studies about how much money doesn't really improve your life at a certain point. I have two priorities, getting a lot of money and staying alive. With the capital you're going to give me, I can live more comfortably the rest of my life. I can investigate that treasure trove in safe stock photos and let the money make itself. And I know if I poke the bear any further than I already have, I'm going to get my arm chopped off. So tell me, what possible gain would I get out of showing these photos after you pay me off? That's not proof, you still won't do it. Again, you're right, it's impossible for me to present that proof, and you know as well as me. So I guess you're gonna have to take the risk. If you think the chance I expose myself to your wrath outweighs the value of the cash I'm in, then take your lumps and start working as a way to get ahead of the photos. But I think we both know you're not quite willing to lose the Ivy throne you've killed so many to sit upon. And you know that really you're only out here to pay me and hope I hold up my end of the bargain. Like I said, weigh the odds, make your own decision. I can only tell you the truth so many times, and now I could walk out of the room safely. I walked back to the hallway and eventually passed Secretary Guy's death. Thanks for letting me in. The governor and I just had the best chat. Don't care. He resumed looking at his phone, hardly checked out. Man, how'd a guy like this climb Aija's rank so high? Actually, it's probably because he climbed so high he can get away with acting like this. Still bad practice. He would really care quite a bit more about the events happening around him. Who knows when these would become extremely relevant to him. Whatever, I continued my exit, walking out of the building. Just like that, I was free. In and out without major incident. Good. That's good. I was safe now, relatively at least. I thought that went well, for my purposes at least. Still, the night wasn't quite done yet. I had something I wanted to do. In fact, I wanted to do it right after that. And so I made my way to the nearby diners, open 24 hours a day. Pretty much nobody was inside. That's great. Really, I shouldn't do this in a public place, but I couldn't be bothered. Nobody here knew anything. Nobody here would look for anything. I'd probably be fine. Probably. I ordered a drink and took a seat at the table in the back, wall directly behind me. Then I took out my laptop from the bag. Let's see here. God damn it, connection issues. What's the problem now? Let's see what I could do. We're gonna skip this one real quick. Aha, connected. Live and running. Like fish in a barrel. Aija was sloppy. She mirrored a paranoid ruler, or what with hiring assassins and whatnot, but what if she's really cut above? If she really was a cut above, little tricks like this wouldn't get around so much ground. Wouldn't get me so much. If she was really cut above, little tricks like this wouldn't get me so much ground. Anyway, I should appreciate gifts as they come. Of course, given access to the government office, I wasn't going to come in and chat. The way I worked was an all-encompassing swarm, having a single plan, a single play, a single intention. That was a recipe for disaster. That was opening yourself to having everything explode in your face. You throw 100 punches and lay a dozen traps, hire 3 hitmen just in case. When I was picking up that bucket, it wasn't just for dramatic effect. I was creating an opportunity to slip in a hidden camera in that highly secretive office. Now I could hear it distinctly from the horse's mouth. So then, why don't we just have this little look-see and see how Aija's been taking the news? This should be fun. Put up some headphones, open the feed, and look forward to the show beginning. As I opened the feed, it seemed as though Aija was pacing around nervous wreck. It seemed I had done some serious damage. I don't know, okay? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, I get it. Still, what the hell? Why that moron let this happen? I heard a somewhat unexpected voice come from the room. If I was not mistaken, I clocked that as the voice of the chief of the police, Ariane. At first I was confused. Where was she? The camera angle is bad, but the office wasn't particularly big. Was she right out of frame? However, as the conversation proceeded, I quickly caught on Aija actually had her rein on the speakerphone. I don't know. All I know is this is absolutely outrageous. This is unacceptable. I mean, screwing up a job, whatever. Unexpected circumstance, things are Ari, I get it. But this shows a complete lack of competence. Just stunningly stupid. Exactly. Aija collapsed on her desk. I'm just fucked, huh? You're jumping to conclusions. I am. Explain to me how I'm not. I agree, in most cases this would be fatal, but our intel pegs Locke as you described him, entirely self-interested. If he gets a big payday, he'll just go away. You're serious right now, Ariane? He's a complete opportunist. If he sees a weakness, he's gonna milk it for all it's worth. Not if he's smart. If he's smart, he'll get out while he's ahead. He's not smart. He's an idiot, a dangerous idiot. He'll remain a thorn in my side. That or he's leaving. He'll publish the photos as a parting middle finger. I just stood back up and began walking over the oversized portrait of her. Maybe the only way to save face is give him the money, hope for the best. She gripped the portrait's frame. Can you afford it? What he's demanding? Yeah. I mean, it'll hurt. It'll hurt a lot, but it's definitely well within my personal budget. So to just pay him off and pray? Is that the play? I don't know. It's tough to say. Tough to say? Really fucking helpful. Easy, Ija. I know this is stressful, but don't start lashing out at me. I'm just trying to help. You're right, you're right. You're right, I'm sorry. This just fucking sucks. Indeed. This is the risk, I guess. The risk? Wrestle with dogs or catch fleas, or however the saying goes. I'm not saying this is my fault. I think it's clear whose fault this is. I'm just saying, ever since you decided how you were going to actually act as governor, you opened you up to situations like that. It's something you'll have to deal with. Ugh. Again, I just seem to collapse. I'm really losing myself here. I do think I should try getting in contact with the Jinn. You might have some insight on how to deal with this. Are you serious? You're really thinking about trusting the Jinn with this? Jinn? The fuck's a Jinn? I mean, desperate times, right? The Jinn is on our side. They seem to know stuff. This is the perfect time to try and use them. Seriously? Ija, became clear to me the Jinn was not really on our side ever since the Maximilian Collins case. I mean, hijacking the Cock Robin killings like that? We don't know the Jinn did that. Who else, Ija? Who else could have known? Well, whatever. For everything the Jinn's done over the years, suddenly he throws a wrench in our plan without telling us one time we can't trust him. I've been saying we cannot trust him since the start. Anybody who sends a one-sided contract with you from an anonymous source and with a suspicious title is not someone we can trust. Frankly, I've been against him for a long time now. What's to be against? Sure, this whole anonymous angle is sketchy, but the Jinn has been nothing but supportive of my political career since the very beginning. They've consistently provided us with information that has kept us alive. In my case, literally. That attempt was dead in the water from the beginning. Hard to disagree. The Jinn has supported us in extremely helpful ways for years. Never asking for anything in return, always being on point. You never questioned why they would do any of this? Of course I have. You heard me question this many times, but even though the motivation's a mystery, it seems clear it stems from a place of being on our side. That's too convenient. At this point, the Jinn may have given you a ton of information, but they also have mountains of evidence on you. We're talking about liabilities. I'd say the Jinn is a bigger risk than anyone else. It's extremely important information I just stolen. These words I overheard was worth their weight in gold. Forget the words are weightless. The Jinn. What was this bit? Missing another player in all this, or an existing player by an unfamiliar name? Someone's been supplying Ija with useful information, whatever that meant. The most curious part is, as Ariane pointed out, is the why. Why protect her like this? I'd get it if it was an extortion racket. I mean, duh. Obviously, I'd get an extortion motivation, but no, apparently no payments have been made to them. So seemingly, there's been no direct demands or threats made yet. If none had come after this many years, then either someone was really playing the long game or this wasn't the angle. So then why the support? And why do it this weird method? Did somebody secretly benefit from Ija in that position? Or I often fell in the trap of assuming everyone else operated on cost-benefit analysis principles. Was there perhaps a different motivation here that I wasn't seeing? As interesting as this was, it was missing important conversation. I tuned back in. We can handle things ourselves. Okay then, how should we handle things? It seemed clear to me. How do we usually handle conflict? Locke seems like a pretty guilt-free target. You have a date, time, and location, a physical description. Things don't often get this easy. But he knows about our main weapon. You think he's gonna maybe factor that in? There are other options, we just get creative. So that's how it is. They finally land on this option. Gonna whack me instead of handling me the briefcase of cash. Damn, that's a shame. I would have quite liked that money. But getting that briefcase was always something of a pipe dream. I never really expected it to happen. That was never the point anyways. I mean, a mere briefcase of cash? What low sights do you think I have, Ija? My plan's a lot bigger than that. No, the point of my little meeting was to start threatening Ija from various angles, force her to show her hand by exposing her, making her make suboptimal moves. Plenty more opportunities were opening up to me. So you want to kill me, huh? I could work with that. After all, it's not like Ija was the only one I need to start putting on tilt. If I was clever, I could start applying pressure to a number of different positions. Sorry about what was going to happen to you, Miss Ija. It almost feels cruel, but I plan on winning my game. That's I need to start taking enemy pieces. This is the only way to get a direct shot at the person I was playing against. Ija, sweet, sweet Ija, what are you doing? My girl. Well, not really. To be honest, I likely couldn't stand her for more than 15 minutes. In a lot of ways, she embodies exactly what I hate. So true, I hate her, as I suspect many others might, but I hope those who throw spears at Ija do it for the right reasons, not the wrong ones. Because there's a lot of stupid reasons why people might hate her. Like saying her whole corruption scheme is taking away people's freedom. Ha. Freedom, at least the way people currently understand it, is a myth. There's no true freedom. After all, if you give everyone true freedom, then the cunning and ambitious would use it to restrict the freedom of others. And they would. They do. No, by its very nature, this idea of freedom for everyone can't exist. It's just a matter of who has the power of freedom in what ways. Please don't misunderstand me. You won't find a bigger proponent for freedom than me. Trust me on that, at the very least. I just see freedom for what it truly is. How it could be. Probably save it here, then. So we now have the truth behind how the Our buddies here got involved. The Duats. And how it ended up going wrong. I figured Locke had set it up someone else to take the fall for him, and I knew Art was taking orders from someone else. So, and of course, this does prove that the four are in bed together. Now, I'm not sure if we can trust the devil in the sense that there truly is a normal person commanding all the heads of state, but hard to say. Looks like we're finally getting some amount of keys, but we don't have any green ones yet. Let's see here. Actually, this is a gold lock. Yeah. I'm gonna have to do... I believe this is the Jinn, if I had to guess. It seems he can't end up succeeding because we have a lot more of these, but I'm genuinely curious how Laverna and Eris's stories go. But I have 2 silver locks I can use to open it, which is good for me. Oh dang, and we already have another one. No locks for Locke, it seems. Alright, one more. Playing the con. Things are going well in the whole Bach campaign front, at least if you measure that via the Kamappa statement. Which, you know, an undoubtedly biased way of judging it, but still was a good sign of things. I was trolling the site, specifically searching for all posts related to Bach. Felt as good a way as any to keep a pulse on things. Ooh, there's an interesting one. Bach announces intended legislation at latest rally meant to aid Panthea's homeless. That one went over quite well, the comments agreed. Met Bach lately, super chill guy, actually understands the reality of the situation. Used to support Ija, but her promises turned out empty. Ready for change. Just hoping Bach winds up different. Bach or bust. Bach's the change we need. We have a chance to really make the difference this election. We can't be discouraged by the current numbers. We need to support Bach with all of our might. Theory, I'd like to back Bach with the amount of enthusiasm this thread seems to have. However, I have some reservations. Frankly, I'm surprised that so few people pay attention to the lack of qualifications Bach has for a job like this. On its own, this isn't damning of anything. Politicians have to start somewhere. Why not here? However, I've also noticed a trend of Bach being unable to deliver actual policy intentions, just vague promises. This announcement, for example, talks a good game, but read the actual article. The promised legislation is loose at best, and even in a bit revealed, raises some questions regards practicality. Unfortunately, when compared... Boring. I move on. Alright, so not universal, but the point was Bach was getting some good press now. More importantly, Ija's getting bad press. I mean, there's a ton of posts like this. Here's a compiled list of Ija's campaign promises, and here's how many she's actually gotten done. We surprised Ija's like every career politician, and entirely in it for herself. Full of talking points. Honestly, I'm surprised more people haven't seen through her shtick at this point. Reminds me, how is she still in office? I was willing to give Ija the benefit of the doubt for a while. Optics are important, governments move slowly, yada yada. She's made token gestures towards her promises, but she's had long enough. She's not what she promised to be. I don't think I can deny that anymore. Walk or bust, get Ija out of office. Enact real change, of course. Posts on their own had limited use. Word of mouth, marketing, that was all well and good. What really showed the changing tides were actions, and actions seemed to be lining up. I noticed multiple posts plugging Bach's donation site. I had been getting community funding for the campaign, and that donation money has grown rapidly. People can post all they want, but it takes real passion to put their money where their mouth is. If people were actually willing to donate like this, it meant Bach had tapped into something real. It meant I tapped into something real. Well, I still have to give Bach quite a bit of credit. It was his voice, his messaging pushing things through. Still, without me, he'd probably still be floundering around. What else? Oh, what's this? It was good. It was really good. Apparently, Kane made an offhand statement earlier today. He said he was willing to run some actual coverage on Bach. At this point, the race warranted fair enough treatment to both sides, and would you look at that? Alrighty, there's a piece that acknowledges Bach on the Oracle. Off piece, no doubt, one that doesn't go into much depth, just mentioning him in context of the larger story, but still, that's progress. From the looks of it, the coverage wasn't instantly biased. Remind yourself, definitely reach out to Kane. Try and set up an interview between Bach and Kane. Reaching out to the Oracle's readership could be a big win. On all things, we're on an upswing. Oh, this is good. This is really good, Bach. What? You're doing quite well on the internet. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. You don't sound that excited? Oh, yes, well, I kind of would prefer to do well on the polls. Oh, bah, the polls are skewed. They take from a limited sample size. And the internet's representative? Okay, fair point. There's still a narrative around you now. That's a good thing. Uh-huh. Didn't sound like Bach really agreed with me. Well, look, Locke, again, I have to thank you for everything you're doing for me. It all seems very good. Things are looking bright, right? But, Bach looked around awkwardly. What is it, Bach? You can share it with me. Do you really have to be doing this at my apartment? Is this totally necessary? I gasped in mock shock. Oh my, Bach, do you not appreciate my presence? Not really. Oh wow, going straight at me like that. I get it, I can respect it. I don't mean to be rude. I'm just saying, you know, I like to relax. You're always relaxing when hanging out with friends, Bach. No. Also, again, I don't mean to be rude, but we're not exactly friends. You're right, we should change that by hanging out more. See, this is the sort of thing I'm talking about. Having an argument with you is exhausting. Well, there's your problem, pal. Just don't argue. Things will be all peachy. Bach thought of a response. He just sighed. He defeated. Hi, Bach. I know I'm not a joy to have around, but I really do. Do I really warrant this level of dejection? It's just. Do we know if you're, Bach had trouble broaching the topic. Not gonna be hunted down by assassins and murdered? Something like that, yes. Bach, you care about me? Aw. Well, I care about me. Criminals operate on a no witnesses policy. I feel like any second my door is gonna be caved in. I'm gonna get a shotgun blast to the chest. Well, there's no need to worry about that. No assassin worth their salt's gonna go for a shotgun in a situation like this. I mean, unless I just going really cheap. Look, we're safe. Aija might have a stranglehold in this place, but there are certain lines she just doesn't have the capital to cross. Her political opponent being gunned down this close to the election, that's one of those lines. Especially when she doesn't know the possible loose ends I've hidden around, possible accomplices I've had. Honestly, that's half the reason I'm here right now. I know she's not gonna make a move while I'm here. I guess. I haven't said much on Ariane lately since she was present before. Now, obviously, we know she's corrupt. Honestly, it's pretty clear. It was pretty clear from the start. Everyone in Panthea was pretty corrupt to some level. Well, and given she had someone working under her with the Duats, because remember, she had Aija went through art to get the Duats to perform the assassination. She didn't do it herself. It's entirely either Ariane doesn't realize Seth is with the Duats, or she's intentionally overlooking it. Either way, yeah. I'm gonna be very harsh, but I'm going to say I'm not sure Ariane could run a bath, if you get what I mean. Especially given, I mean, even Seth pokes fun at the competency of his officers that aren't with the Duats, so... Yeah, I hate to be harsh, but I do think it's warranted here, because pretty much everything going through... Well, we saw that Jin was given Laverna as a potential target. The others are probably trying to get her to join the police force as a way to get her into their protection, but I'm not sure this is going to end well for anyone, honestly. I guess it's hard to say. There's a lot of ways that this can potentially go. As we've shown, even I can't guess all the tropes when the chips are down. I guess I just don't. No, you might be giving her too much credit. You clearly put her on edge. If she's really got the police chief in her pocket like you claim, you worry too much. Besides, it's not like I'm careless. As a person of high interest, obviously I took some precautions when I came here. I don't want to be tracked either. Well, that's good to hear. Despite my best efforts of trying to make him feel things were fine, Bach looked nervous. What was getting his goat so badly? I guess things have just gotten a lot more intense than he ever expected. Anyways, the ransom plan didn't work. I gave Aija a chance to get rid of me fair and square. Well, not really. Those photos were always going to come out, obviously, but still. Token efforts, which means it's time to go forward. Look, I have to ask you again, is this really such a good idea? People are being killed now. Aija's willing to kill over this. Won't publishing those photos just agitate her? She already took a swing at me, Bach. Things aren't exactly going to get worse after this. If anything, this puts Aija on defense. She'll be busy putting out that fire. And this fire will be complete digital blitzkrieg. To start out, reach out to some Oracle journalist. Probably not Kane. He might kill a story this damaging at the past. Call it groundless speculation, but someone below him, someone more open the idea. Give him the photo and the details. Once an article is completely written, it's a lot less justifiable on Kane's part to kill it outright. When the article comes out, it's full steam ahead. Share the photos everywhere. Everyone on the online platform, we use the campaign funds to push it heavily. We control the narrative, go full conspiracy theory. I don't know what's more damning and crazy than the truth, but we find that and we say that. Dozens of sock puppets. Why to spread speculation, completely overwhelm the narrative. Then we have you on stage. Don't fully endorse these conspiracies, that's too much. Bring them up as reasonable doubt. There's a lot of supplementary material you can go in on. When Aija's direct opponent shines light up, and this, Aija can't resist. She has to address it. And then there's the fun thing about wielding the truth at someone. They don't have elegant ways to deal with it. They only have a few options. Aija can ignore it. I love this option because it lets us run wild, flaring up the speculation to 100. She can flat out deny it. That always comes across as unconvincing and often increases the backlash. You can try and counter with more lies, a high-risk gambit, but leaves her open to further attacks with the truth. Or she can accept it and downplay the reality. Kinda hate this option the most because she can actually pull this off decently. She'll probably choose this as well. But even so, that means engaging with her on our level. That lets us lobby more points at her. There's a lot of ammo that can be used against Aija. I mean, that all sounds nice, Locke, but will it really work? Huh? I was a little taken aback by this question. It was so dumb, I didn't even know where to start with it. Will photographic evidence work? Locke, I know you think it looks obvious because you know the truth, but Governor Aija employing an assassin, it's actually too crazy. People straight up won't buy it. It's so crazy people can't not talk about it. It's so crazy that people will dismiss it. Normally, sure, but we have the photos. Those look bad. Really bad. They do, sure. And if you would release them immediately, with no forewarning, you probably would have had a decent shot of convincing people. Aija would be caught off guard. You could work up fervor. It would be good. But then you did this stupid ransom thing. If it worked, you might have had more capital used against her. It's a worthwhile risk. Maybe, but it also lost you the element of surprise. The assassination might have failed. Do you really think that that's Aija's only plan? This is a person who uses assassins in election. Fox going to breathe. This is a woman who uses assassins in landslide elections. She's paranoid. She is thorough. Yeah, that's right. She openly admitted the thing was a landslide, and yet she's still employed an assassin. And the time you've given her, she almost certainly accounted for these photos coming out. And how's she gonna do that? They're just pictures, Locke. They don't prove nearly as much as you think they do. Sure, she's seen talking with a random assassin guy. Maybe they look close. That far from proves they're working together. Aija could back thoughts. You could say the chief of police is in her pocket. Yeah. You got the first photo by getting people to harass and vandalize Aija, in so many words. Why'd I tell Bach about that again? Well, what if the police chief altered the report to that harassment? What if they pinned the harassment on the guy in the picture? This meeting wasn't intimate. Aija was scared, and this guy was caught outside her house. He tried to talk his way out, later on ended up going to rampage at another house in the forest. He looks unkempt, maybe he has a grudge against anyone living in that forest, maybe he's violent against all perceived elite. Suddenly, Aija looks sympathetic. Really, that photo does not give off that vibe. The corroborating evidence, I'm not saying it makes perfect sense, I'm saying it sounds plausible enough for people to dismiss the far more absurd-looking claim without looking into those fine details, especially while Aija has the finances to put people who would spin this narrative in overdrive. Face it, Locke, these photos aren't the smoking gun you think they are. Part of me wanted to fight with this more, to bring up the last little piece of the puzzle. Camera stuck in Aija's office. Conversation she was caught having. Maybe my memory is bad, but it felt like it'd be a lot harder for her to talk her way out of some of the things she was caught for saying there. If I really wanted to bring Aija down, I totally could, but... breathe. Let cooler heads prevail. Let's not let that little tidbit out to anyone. That camera's more important than it initially seemed. In fact, that became my last card up my sleeve. I thought of ways to use that card... that were too important for a dumb argument like this, so no need to tip it for anyway, not even Bach. I'd be sitting on that until the time was right. Instead, I shrugged my shoulders. Were you always such a pessimist, Box? No. Hard to tell. Feels like you're always a buzzkill when we talk. You know, there might be a correlation there you're not seeing. Nope, didn't see it. Anyways, why do you always have to go to the worst cases? Smile, be happy, this is gonna work. Sure, the effectiveness is up in the air, but it's definitely gonna get people talking. The more people talk about you, the more leverage we have. But the more damage your talking points against Aija will hold, and the more chance of an upset we have. So hold fast, hold strong. We can and will still win the election. Yay. Bach was thoroughly unenthused by my speech. In fact, he sounded almost scared by it, poor guy. He really didn't have the temperament of this occupation. Oh well, that's why I'm here. I decided to kill a bit more time. To Kamapa I go. I want to pat myself on the back for some more by looking at Bach hype. Scrolling through Bach-related posts. Uh-oh. This wasn't right. This was just some flash-in-the-pan drama, except that ratio was pretty good. Lots of comments. This was an Oracle article. People were taking this seriously. Uh-oh, this could be a problem. Better try and nip this in the bud. Post title, Governor candidate Bach caught on tape, calling supporters losers. That's ridiculous. Instantly I went to the post. The comments were pretty intensely toxic. Huge shocker. I really believed in Bach. He always seemed so genuine. He spoke to me in a way few politicians did. I even met him in person. Super nice. First time I was excited. For it to come out, he was just like any other. Pretty heartbreaking. Duh, I just already fought for the city. People are seriously falling for this guy's crap. A good reporting article, and now people see the truth. Told you. Just kidding is actually pretty good. I wonder if some of these Scream names are references. I mean, I could probably guess some, but this is a toxic turn. Not any debate about it. Just how this is. Bach is scum. End of story. What was? I saw a comment that transcribed the audio clip. No way. This couldn't be right. Bullshit, Bach said this. It's an audio fake, clearly. He never would say something like this. I click on the direct link. I was hearing it for myself. No way this is legit. Oh, can you really believe people are following me? Crazy, I know. What a bunch of suckers. I mean, they seriously believe I'm just somehow different from other politicians? She's doing her job. I'd be doing the same. A bunch of losers can't get their shit together and look for a scapegoat to blame. Enter me. I knew it'd work. I guess just didn't think it'd work to this extent. People would be a little smart is all. That was Bach. In no uncertain terms, that was Bach's voice. No way to mistake it. No way to bullshit it. Incredibly clean audio of Bach, too. Spoken with such contempt. There's no getting around this. This is damning. This is a campaign ending. This betrayed everything Bach stood for. I looked up. Bach, standing near me, had a defeated look on his face. He couldn't even work up a surprised look. He obviously heard me play the clip. Bach, what the hell? Did you just hear that? I did. You know about this? How would I? How are you not freaking out? You seem to be doing that for me. Not the time, Bach. Not remotely the time. Bach, how on earth did they get this clip? When did you say this? Why? Bach couldn't meet my eyes. Instead, his gaze went on the floor. Pale grimace covered his face. Bach, what an idiot. Whatever. I couldn't worry about him right now. I stood up and began to pace. My head went to overdrive. Alright, fine. We're dealing with this. We can deal with this. We can get ahead of this. We can spin this. There's a way to spin this. We have to get a counter-narrative available. What? You have to attack the source. That's it. You just have to say it was taken out of context. Context what? So you're making a joke, a dumb joke, of course. You were in the middle of parodying yourself, parodying the conspiracy theorists how you were like. I was saying, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if I was like this? You don't believe any of that. Lock. I mean, we got a lot of ground to stand on. What's the audio quality, huh? That wasn't the sound of someone with a hidden recorder. That was someone on the phone. It sounded like someone was willingly being recorded. Why would you willingly let that be recorded, huh? Did that matter? What was the way you talked? It's obvious you're putting on a character. That's what you're playing. Fuck. You get your family tested by your friends. Normal people say that's not how you normally talk. It'd be crazy to be talking like that all the time. Furthermore, the Oracle is frankly disgusting for not thoroughly fact-checking the source. This is a smear campaign orchestrated by Aija. We can turn this around. In fact, this could even be a good thing. Need more eyes on our campaign? Lock. There's more. What? There are more clips than that one. Worse ones. They're, sure to come out if you push more. What? Why, where are all these clips? You don't get it, Locke. You're right. I really don't. The thing is, I was never supposed to win this campaign. Never supposed to win? What sort of defeatist attitude is that? What's the point in that? That is the point. The point is for me to lose. Locke, you're not making sense. Did you just talk straight? Can't work with you. You're like this. I don't think that's what this is. You're smart. You know exactly what this is. You just don't want to acknowledge it. You're giving way too much credit. Just explain yourself. Very straightforward. I'm a plant. What? A plant? Surely you know what that means, right? A spoiler candidate? A patsy? I was to put on... Up the spy, Aija. I was never going to win. I was just here to make sure nobody else did. Of course. Of course Bach was a plant. That shouldn't have been a surprise. It's actually kind of obvious now that I think about it some more. All the signs were there. There were like a dozen red flags. Little things that didn't make sense. Clues I'd file in the back of my mind. Clues I'd push back more like. I collapsed on the couch. How hadn't I put this together? Was I dumb? Was I in some sort of denial? As tempting as that explanation was, I didn't care enough about Bach to go in denial about him. Part of me wanted to get outraged, start shouting out, throwing a fit, but I couldn't get there. Emotionally, I didn't have the energy for that, because I wasn't upset with Bach. No, I was not the most upset with him anyways. It's not like I ever really trusted him. He was always a piece in my eyes, someone I was extorting, not an actual partner. No, the person to blame for not catching this earlier was none other than myself. Catching this information ahead of time was part of my job. A critical part. A critical part I completely passed by. He was a piece I hadn't researched how to operate. He was a con I hadn't properly thought through. I totally could have figured it out. I should have. I just didn't. Felt like laying my head down in shame and disgrace, but no, that wasn't how I operated. That wasn't how I reacted to setbacks. I was resourceful, adaptable, quick-witted. I've been hit with the worst. I'd survived harder blows, and I survived because just as soon as I put my head down, I raised it back up. Oh well, forget self-anger. I made a mistake. Fine, everybody makes mistakes. That's the problem with being human. Honestly, you have to account for the possibility of your own slip-ups when creating plans. Kind of random variable. Not everyone could do what I'd done. Not everyone could recover from mistakes. I was still a cut above, and I prove it here now. Okay, explain. Huh? I'm a plant isn't enough. If you're gonna pull that on me, you have to be prepared to answer for yourself. So just that. Explain it all. Bach just looked down a moment, considering who knows what. After a couple more seconds, he nodded, just to himself, I guess. Then he looked back up at me with a steely look. Well, you're right. As an explanation, after everything, you deserve that much, at least. Let me try and sum it up. I crossed my arms and stepped back. Alright, have at it. Making this declaration confident, Bach began to look, and the determination is waning. Well, looks like this is another bet I've lost, but I guess that's on me for trying to jump for the more well, it wasn't the more interesting one, it's more the one that would make Ez more annoyed if I'd won it. She'd have been all, aw, man. No, why couldn't he have had something a lot more juicy? He looked around, nervous, began pacing, a bit impatient, and I wanted to utilize his guilt, so I decided to push him some. Well, oh, sorry, I'm just thinking how to put this. There's kind of a lot to explain, you know, but alright. Just to be clear, I've been honest with you. I raised an eyebrow at this. Mostly. About what I've said, what I believe in, my history, moving forward for Stag Bluff, my job, all that. All of that is true, to be honest. As you probably already know, I'm not the best liar or anything. So I figured the best policy was to, leave details out, starting with the detail that led to this mess. I said I like to blow off steam by gambling. Uh-huh. Alright, I can guess where this is going. Yeah, well, I had a lot of steam to blow off. Spent a lot of time in Noise Nest. Yep. Given your skill set in your job, you probably couldn't spend very long gambling before running into a loss that actually affected your life. No offense. Well, some offense. At this point, I think you're owed some offense. That's probably fair, and you're not wrong. I was never a great gambler. And let's just say you weren't the first to get one over on me in that den. It's pretty sad. All my life I've been a step behind, never able to reach my dreams. Never able to advance further in my job. I'm always the sucker that got the short end of things. Anyways, you were the first to make such a huge swing on my finances, at least. Before that, I was never totally wiped out. But my gambling problem was a serious damage to my wallet. I knew when I had to quit, so I did. Even still, my debts weren't that easily forgiven. The damage was done. I just needed money. Not like my life depends on it money, but practically no savings. You need to justify yourself. Everybody wants money. You don't need a special reason for it, just move on. Right. It makes sense you understand that. So anyways, my life was pretty normal. It obviously came as a surprise when I was put in contact with Governor Aija. Met her in person. Just once. She appeared in my apartment without warning. It was late at night. I get the feeling she made it a priority to make sure no one would trace her to coming to visit me, and well, she proposed pretty much this. And what exactly is this? I was to act as a spoiler in the upcoming election. Apparently I fit the criteria she was looking for. The right blend of manly people and political outsider. According to her, my background as a limpo worker gave me a sympathetic edge, but not too sympathetic. I was the exact level of electable she'd been looking for, somewhat but not too threatening. I mean, not that me being electable was a problem. Like as I mentioned, before the arrangement was made, she made sure I got a lot of insurance. Audio files, videos, etc. It's a wide range. I mean, it puts your little photo session to shame, honestly. Exposing positions made under duress are one thing. But some of the stuff she got as insurance on me, well, it would be life-ruining. Alright, first up, not a competition. You agreed this that easily? What if it was some sort of trick? I was at a pretty low point in my life. Even if there was a chance it was some sort of scheme, I was willing to take that gamble. Plus, in my mind, I figured it would be easiest for Aija to go along with the deal as described. She could clearly afford it. Why make a bigger deal of it than it needed to be? I see. I wonder how accurate that would be normally. Forget that. I had made a lot to worry about in random hypotheticals. From what you could tell, was this normal practice? Like, did she regularly fix elections? Bach thought for a moment, then he shook his head. I couldn't tell you for sure, but if I had to guess, it didn't feel that rehearsed. I could almost sense vulnerability from Aija's part during the negotiations, like she was out of her comfort zone. If I had to guess, this was her first instance of doing something like this. She was testing the waters, seeing if she could actually pull it off. I thought about this for a second. I guess that was plausible. Perhaps a sign of her ever-growing influence, now that she felt the easiest way to handle elections was something like this. I wonder, had things gone differently, would Aija have decided to use Bach as a spoiler in future elections as well? It seemed entirely possible. Anyways, the arrangement was fairly simple. I would rally my hardest during the preliminaries. Secretly, this campaign would be financed by Aija herself. Behind the scenes, she worked to boost my visibility and sabotage my opponents. Again, all in ways that couldn't be traced back to her, obviously. Then come finals, I'd just ease off the gas. Aija's already a campaign veteran. She'd be able to defeat me without need for the insurance. After all is said and done, I'd be given a very generous payout afterwards for my part in all this and my silence. I mean a very generous payout. More money than I could ever hope to make on my own. When I heard this, I was conflicted. Obviously, the entire deal felt shifty. I didn't like the underhandedness of it all. Like I said, I never really had a problem with Aija. More importantly than that, the pay was good. That's what it comes down to, doesn't it? I guess, yes, I don't know. I was just tired of living without meaning. I wanted to do something with my life. The idea of running for governor appealed, even if it was like playing pretend. At the end of the night, I shook hands. I was in. And we got to work. I played my part. Wasn't half bad, if you don't mind me saying so. I was a better politician than I thought I would have been. Thought I could be. Things were progressing nicely. I won the primary. I was well on the way of losing the main election, getting paid. Then I came in the picture, huh? Bach just sighed. That night at Nahoi's nest, what a mess. I really am a wreck. When you made that ultimatum, I can't tell you what was going through my head. I couldn't exactly tell you the truth, could I? If I did that, he'd turn around to Ulsa and rat on me, so I figured, what the hell, I'd go along with it. Not like you could actually turn things around, so if you want to be campaign manager of a sunk ship, go ahead. Then you start making campaign moves, you begin to piss her off. Hey, wait a second, you were the one who gave my information to Aija, wasn't you? That almost got me killed. At this, Bach just dropped his gaze, he couldn't meet my eyes. Locke, trust me, I did not know. I did not know Aija would go that far. I didn't know she was like that. I mean, obviously I knew she was a little sketchy, but to go as far as hiring an assassin. If I did, I promise, I wouldn't have said anything. But after that happened, I knew I definitely couldn't say anything. I couldn't stop working for her, knowing how she dealt with problems. It was terrifying. I'd gotten way more than I was bargaining for. On one hand, despite my best efforts, you continued to push the campaign that was already dead in the water. On the other hand, I had to answer the shadowy figure who apparently had connections with an assassin. So I don't know, I panicked. I did nothing. Again, a bit of anger flared up in me. Bach was very nearly responsible for the death of me, but with his explanation, I couldn't rightfully get mad at him. He didn't know better, and I believe this version of events. After all, if he didn't mean it, he shouldn't have warned Aija about my plans. After all, if he didn't really mean it, wouldn't he have warned Aija about my plans with the photos? I mean, true enough, I didn't let him in on a number of the details, but he knew I wanted to get a picture of Aija and Mystery Man together. He could have reported this to Aija. Probably would have been safer for him to do that. Instead, he didn't, and likely just reported that I'd been acting on my own. That said something. Anyways, that's all I have to say for myself. I get if you're pissed off at me. I can't say I'm awfully proud of how I've been acting throughout all this either. But that is how it is. I don't know how your plan was, but it's dead in the water now, so do what you wish. Post those photos if it'll make you feel better. It'll suck for me, but I can't help it. Maybe I deserve it. Or maybe wait for the election from the over. I'll get my payment from Aija, hopefully. If you wait for that, I'll pay what I originally owed you for the bet, but that's it. It's over. Just throw in the towel. Okay. Okay. So the explanation was pretty good. Basically in line with what I thought when Bach first said he was a plant. So what did that mean? Was it as Bach had diagnosed? Hopeless? Time to throw in the towel? Well, it didn't look good. For sure. If I pushed more on Aija directly, this would just result in more insurance being released. Photos too are probably not the smoking gun I'd hoped for. Not after Aija's had time to prepare against it. Now when Aija has far more concrete evidence against Bach. I mean, I could damage Aija's images, but not enough to win the election, so it was hopeless? Was it hopeless? Oh, no, of course not. Maybe for the average person, but I was better than that. I was better than Aija. I hadn't faltered until now. I'd always managed to stay ahead of everyone else, and when I didn't, I managed to get out alive anyway. This case is no different. This wasn't good, but it wasn't bad. I could work with this. There's still a line of play to threaten Aija's position. Threatening Aija's position felt very necessary, but to do that, there was one person I'd need on my side. No. What? You're wrong, Bach. It's not over. Nothing's over till I say it is. What? How are you? What can I say, Bach? I'm an optimist. This whole thing is a step back to be sure. I don't even want to imagine what the insurance means for us. What sort of campaign manager would be if I backed down now? Said I was giving you that governorship, and I mean it. You just need an outlook. Really, are you serious right now, Locke? Are you really going forwards with this shit? All of a sudden, Bach's voice was raised. There was anger in his tone. Look of indignation across his face. He was actually angry. Hey, wait, Bach, listen. No, you listen, Locke. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know what you're thinking, and frankly, I don't want to know. Fact of the matter is, you've got no skin in this game. I do. I don't know what you're thinking. Frankly, I don't want to know. Fact of the matter is, you've got no skin. I do. And the day you can slink off to whatever hole you came from. I'm staying in Panthea, my home. If you release that phone, Ija releases that insurance, and that's my reputation's getting damaged. I'm the one who has to keep living. I'm the one who has to get a job after all this all blows over. I'm gonna be very mindful of your reputation, Bach. Why would I believe that? Why would I think you keep my safety in mind? From the start, I'm just a tool for you, right? A pawn, someone you got leverage over through trickery and extortion. Just like everyone else, just like Ija, I was another sucker for you to use. A tool in some bigger proxy war. Well, I'm sick of it. You just what, Locke? What is your problem? Why can't you accept this as a lost cause? Why do you want this so badly? Did you go this far? Is it really the money? Is it really whatever you plan to do that profitable that you go through all this shit? Bach, do you really think money's my main motivation in all this? You're saying it's not? Okay, I might have clearly given every indication that it was. And yes, money is kind of a big thing with me. Sue me. Money's nice. If I can get you in the governorship, I'm definitely going to exploit that, but Bach, that's not it. Or at least it's not all of it. I don't do things without thinking out the repercussions. If I just want cash, there's easier ways, believe me. I mean, targeting Olimpo seems the way to go for that. Maybe scan the Duats, so that feels a bit risky. Point is, my only method for my actions would be what would make the most money. I'm sorry, Bach, I wouldn't be wasting my time with you. Then, what are you trying to do, exactly? Well, let's just say I got a chip on my shoulder. I don't like bullies, and Ija, she seems like the biggest bully of them all. You're against bullies, really? Is that so hard to believe? Bach, do you think this is the type of person I want to grow up to be? My past, well, it's pretty fucked up if I'm being real for a second. I don't like a lot of the things that made me the way I was. I'd like it if a lot of the things that made me the way I was couldn't happen again. But the way I see it, if it's anything, I just way of going about things more like to make people like me than not. Perhaps a lowlife like me doesn't get to play this card. But as much as I want to make money, I also want to make Panthea a better place. I'm pretty sure you feel just like me. That's... Bach looked down more unsure than ever. You know I'm right, Bach. Not at all. Not the slightest bit. No. You said you were mostly being honest with me, Bach. Was that a lie? No. So then what about you believe? Panthea being a place where the diversity is a strength? About creating a city of actual fairness, not this faux mockery of one? You claim to love the city, don't want to help it? It's not that easy, okay? Isn't it? You just said you're sick of being a tool. Here's your chance to break free. I'm not saying our relationship is great, but it seems to me like you're really a tool of Ija. That's... You said you were fine with Ija. Can you really say that now that you know the truth? Ija fixes these elections. She assassinates people she views as threats. She collaborates with Duat members. She's not a governor. She's a dictator in disguise. She's a shadowy ruler that's keeping the city under her thumb. Holy crap, that's like textbook levels of evil. That's the type of villainy you have to look into fiction to find. And it's right here, and you can stop it. And only you. You also said you wanted your life to have more meaning. Well, this is it, Bach. This is your chance at something more. Honestly, I do think Locke might still be trying to... Honestly, I'm not sure if Locke is being entirely truthful, but then again, maybe he's not entirely lying either. He might not have been able to reach your... We made established before Oh crap, another bot. There we are. We were able to make a change. A real one. By pure chance, you've been put in a position where you're paired up against someone who needs to be stopped. Are you going to back down? Are you going to give up this one chance? Bach looked down. Doubt and confusion circled his face. He was giving what I sincerest thought. But I mean, even if I wanted to do something, it doesn't matter. Like I said, we've already lost. Ija's insurance makes me unelectable. And I've no doubt she's made copies of that insurance and hid it away. The moment we do anything that looks threatening to her, she'll release it. So we're done for. Show's over. Even if I wanted to make a change, even if I was willing to put my neck on the line, throw away the cash I was promised, and go up against someone proven to use assassins, it wouldn't change it. It's a fight I can't win. Oh, Bach, always such a Debbie Downer. You need to have faith. How can I have faith? It's simple. Have faith in me. Oh, goody. Hey, I haven't failed yet. That feels very much up for debate. It's time to show you what a real campaign manager can do. So what are you suggesting? I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. From the very start, I've told you there's a surefire way to win the election. It just requires a large amount of capital up front. Okay, so how are we supposed to get a ton of cash on short notice? Took a second to stop and think, scanning everything I knew. What vulnerabilities were in the city? I could do it. And it's not going to be easy. It'll probably take everything I got, but I can get us the cash. And then we can really show Ija how to really get elected. Bach decided. If you say so, if you really think you can get your hands on that money, please, by all means, go for it. Oh, Bach. Why are you talking about this so passively? For this to work, I'm going to need your help. Me? Don't sound so nervous. This is going to be fun. For once, I agree with Locke. I don't know why I said for once there. I actually agree with Locke a lot of the time. More than most of these idiots. But yeah, this is going to be fun. Locke needs a handicap like this to make... thing with Bach to make things more interesting. If you didn't stunt his obviously overpowered cunning, this would be a cakewalk. So maybe I should revise that thought about his cunning. I mean, you already beat himself about it, and even then, come on, Locke. Not realizing Bach was an Ija plant? That's some sucker shit. That should have been seen a while ago. What idiot couldn't put the pieces together? Actually, since you bet he didn't have a big secret, guess you're that kind of idiot. Ah, chips for you. Ah well, them's the breaks. I suppose this was going to be extremely embarrassing for whoever lost regardless. Well, the whole point of this game is to make bets. Say, you have to think of Ija plans to have Bach killed or like die of natural causes. It's a little brutal, but living a loose end like Bach could ruin her plans. Then again, so long as Ija properly covers the tracks, there'd be no proof. It sounds like the ramblings of a sore loser. Then again, the random accusation might be too much shade. Likely stop her from doing the same move again, or at least make it exponentially harder. Still, her once political rival dying mysterious may be the bigger headline. It's not like Bach would have a good reason to say anything, unless he tried to extort her for money down the road. A very Bach thing to do, or very not Bach thing. Oh, I'm torn. Thoughts? Probably not. Oh, and why do you think that? Because it's not the logical thing to do. You think so? I can see an argument for that. I can. It's just the thought experiment, though. Think about what would have happened had Locke not come to town. Now, though, all bets are off. I suspect we'll see an election unlike anything Panthea's seen before, and I can't wait. Now, I should have one more, and that's only a gold lock. Keyword being only. And I do have a key for it, but we're going to be doing some others. Alright, we're going to be continuing the detectives, using a silver key. One-armed bandit. However, this is where we're going to leave it for tonight. Well, at least we managed to get some embarrassment. It may have been mine instead of hers, but hey, yeah. I got some pretty easy ones with stuff like Yi actually being evil, so win some, lose some. But until next time, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time, and I'll see you later.